and South Korea pulling ahead in the kills right now. Going back onto the Ana, sleep dart misses. Flower has a good angle to take down Schlepaistos. Grenades himself, will it be enough? Maybe, maybe not. Flower gets the kill. Meanwhile, though, Danya pulling out the Dragon Blade to eliminate a few members of South Korea, but not enough to stop them from gaining some control meter here on point A.
And also the respawn timers really in favor of South Korea right there, trading more or less evenly with the Polish defense. Looks like they are rushing back to the point right now, but will not make it. They are going to set up for a defense around this choke point instead.
Yeah. All right. So, good start for South Korea. 5 minutes, of course, on the clock right now. Flower with the barrage. Oh boy! Comes in from behind and he takes out two before Danya takes him out. Mono has that Earth Shatter ready to go. Pretty successful barrage. They would have preferred to keep Flower alive, of course, but the payload will move.
Yeah, bumped back a little bit there.
Oh.
There's the shatter coming through, but not gonna hit anything.
Dude, that was another sleep dart into the Reinhardt from Jaehong to set up a great Earth Shatter. We saw it yesterday. We're seeing it again right now. Pretty clean team wipe in favor of South Korea.
And it's been so long since we've seen some of these Earth Shatter mind games, Noah.
Yeah.
But one of the reasons why Mono was picked for this roster instead of last year's World Cup MVP Miro was that he can pull out this Reinhardt. He is a more effective Reinhardt player, and showing it right there, really winning the mind game battle and getting the big shatter to launch this card a little bit further forward.
It's so sick to see the Anas hitting those sleep darts again. That's something that Chips Hyan from Sweden is really good at doing too. Dragon Blade again coming out on the side of Poland. Gets two already. Danya's been great with the Dragon Blade so far today, and Zunba trying to kind of put this game on his back and carry it here, but it may not quite be enough as Schlepaistos finishes him off. It was a valuable effort. There's another sleep dart from Jaehong, just kind of making Moth wait a little bit on the payload.
Yeah, it's trying to wait for the team to get there. They can't actually have enough damage right now to kill the D.Va. They were trying to zone out the Ana instead.
Yeah.
Montvoy did hit a very nice Graviton Surge to start off that fight, coupled with the Dragon Blade. Stalled the card out for a little bit, but it's not enough to keep them there. Flower healed up.
Jaehong's accuracy is just insane to watch. I love watching this guy's point of view. No support bias, of course. Reinhardt's charging into each other there. Danya gets the kill on the Mano in the response here in Poland, pushing back South Korea again. So a really strong start for Poland today. I think South Korea is running into a bit more resistance than they expected.
Yeah, couldn't actually get the payload down. 3 minutes remaining, but Montvoy and Danya have showed up. Those combinations of ultimates from the Zarya and the Genji have been effective so far. They're going to be building up to another pair in the next minute or so.
I gotta say, I am pretty impressed by Poland so far, especially, like you mentioned, Danya on that Genji. Been really finding some great ultimates. Here we go again, Flower with the barrage, getting aggressive. Gotta watch out for that sleep dart. I think I heard it go out, but he's not quite convinced. Danya again going in, lighting up the kill feed as Flower tries to fight for his life here, but it's already over. His team has lost the fight. He's gotta try to stay alive somehow, waiting for that help back. The sneakiest Pharah in Overwatch history.
His team already pushed back up. Pushing back up rather to the cart right now, and we didn't see it, but that was actually a nano boosted Dragon Blade for Danya, so not going to bring that nano boost to try and get Montvoy up to the Graviton Surge faster. They invest some big kills, but they will have a bigger bang available depending on if Moth waits to use that self-destruct.
Yeah, South Korea still some ults to use. Self-destruct thrown in by Poland just to try to zone South Korea back a little bit here. That's a sleep dart onto Cetrox, sets up a kill there. Earth Shatter comes in. Some Zarya shields helping out, but Flower gets two with the barrage. So South Korea able to finally push forward, and this may be their ticket to take point B. Yeah, looks like it will be.
Yeah, this defense has finally been broken, and South Korea, they didn't really have to use much. 2 ultimates from Mono and Flower, all that was necessary. So now they will be trying to get another big nano-boosted Graviton Surge, probably onto Zunba right here if he can get enough Zarya charge up. Sabielby in the wings right now, waiting for the pulse bomb. Can he get onto the end? He's going to maybe big bang it.
Graviton Surge! Tried to wait out those Zarya shields, got one with it, but the sound barrier preventing some of that damage as well. South Korea with their own as they go back in, and they will crush Poland. Got to get that payload moving though. Tank able to delay that quite a bit.
Yeah, but the nice thing for Poland is that they got all of the ultimates from South Korea there. So they forced everything, the Graviton Surge, the Sound Barrier, the Pulse Bomb. So they will be able to hold better as it gets closer to point C.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough, I think, for Korea to push this one in for a little bit.
They don't have a ton of time right now, and they don't have the ults to work with as well. Sibilby really needs to kind of get some picks on the outside. He dodges that sleep dart. Tank getting a bit low. Nice kill there. That's a great pick for South Korea.
Danya with the sleep dart
from Jaehong, taking him out of the fight. And now the road is open. Even Moth popped out of the Diva suit and taken down.
Oh my, that sleep dart was so clutch to Danya. Got his ultimate while he was dead. Schlebistos was trying to nano boost him into a Dragon Blade, and that's just gonna be it.
Well, they got to take down Moth and a few stragglers, but that will be it. South Korea with 1:30 on the clock at the end of their attack round, and that was a pretty sick move from Jaehong at the end. But what do you expect from this guy? Like, that's the kind of play you honestly expect from him, and he makes it every time.
Yeah, it was just so precise. Getting the Genji as he was dashing in. If he had managed to hit any of his dash or any more damage, he would have then gotten the Dragon Blade, pulled it out, and tried to wipe the back line. But that one sleep dart shuts down the defense from Poland and allows Korea to push all the way to the end of the map.
And that's like, in its core, in a nutshell, the really terrifying thing about South Korea as a team is that every single member on that team has the talent to make a play of that caliber, right? Everybody's got opportunities to do that. It's a scary stare from Sibilby there as well. I was getting chills. Very distracting.
Well, Poland on the other side does look a little bit more cohesive than we saw them playing yesterday.
Yeah.
And Danye coming up with some nice Genji work. Matvoy looking comfortable on the Zarya in particular. So they were having issues yesterday playing against the dive and trying to stop the flankers from killing their supports. But, playing Reinhardt Zarya versus Reinhardt Zarya does seem to suit their more poking style a little bit better, where they can all back up behind a shield. And they are looking like they're having a bit of an easier time with that teamwork.
Right. So here we go. South Korea now on the defense. And it looks like Flower may be pulling out the Junkrat yet again. We saw him use it yesterday. It worked very well, actually. And Poland mulling over the Pharmacy. We did see that a little bit yesterday in their match against the Netherlands. They did get 4-0'd in this match here, but so far today, giving South Korea more trouble than Austria did by quite a bit.
I think we're definitely going to see the Pharmacy. They know that Korea likes to play the Tracer and the Junkrat on the defense on King's Row.
Yeah.
So there's not really going to be an answer with the nerfs to Ana damage. becomes a little more dicey to play this. There's making sure right now with the Sonic arrow that there's not going to be any surprises, and a few arrows to force them back off the point before we see the switch for Danye back over to the Tracer.
Yeah, I'm a big Junkrat fan, but I admit he's not the greatest pick against Pharah, that's for sure. They do get the kill on Tank early on, so South Korea fighting this one with a man advantage here. Although, of course, Poland has those quick respawns. Moth having to back up just a little bit here, so Poland will regroup as Tank comes back.
And the only thing you can really do here if you're Korea is play around the hotel and the terrain and back off, right?
Yeah.
Sabielby tries to get some shots off on the high ground, but you're just not going to deal enough damage to take this far out, so you have to focus on taking the teammates out and preventing people from actually capping the point by spamming it with those Junkrat grenades instead.
That's right. Now, Moth did a pretty good job of separating the members of South Korea with that concussion grenade, but you can see the kill feed right now. South Korea, the team picking up all the kills here, and it's mostly on the back of Sabielby's Tracer. They're kind of just ignoring the Pharah, right? I mean, they're saying, all right, well, whatever, you can't take the point with it, and we can avoid the damage.
Yeah, they're avoiding the damage just by falling back around the corner and playing around the Reinhardt shield. When it goes down, they can head back into the hotel, and a little bit of harassment from the Tracer on the high ground. But
yeah.
You know, Poland is getting a lot of these shots in, but they're not actually finding targets right now because of how well Korea's playing around this terrain.
Danya trying to get into the back lines there, but it's not working yet. Moth does take down Mono, so no Reinhardt. Maybe an opportunity here for Poland. They've got South Korea bottled up in the back corner here, but they need a bit more. They're not able to quite get the kills, and now South Korea comes storming back in again. A lot else to work with, and they don't even need to use them. It looked like Poland had an opportunity, but you know, with that one not working out, things are starting to get a little bit worrisome. They really need to make these next couple fights count.
Well, with the nano boost and the graviton surge there, if things had started to go badly, Zunba had an opportunity just to lay it down onto the point and get the necessary damage. He had a high amount of charge. Pulse bomb not going to hit for Danya.
That was a pretty optimistic one, just kind of lobbing it in there, but didn't end up finding the damage he was hoping for. Graviton surge now for South Korea, and there's a big bang, but a bigger res comes in from Schlepaistos. They need to make something happen afterwards, so sound barrier immediately for South Korea, and Flower picks up 2 with the rip tire. That's another hold for South Korea.
But look at that use of the rip tire, Doa.
Yeah.
They knew that the resurrection was up. They knew it was going to be coming after the ult combo, so they delayed the rip tire. Flower gets it and kills 2 immediately after the resurrection. So South Korea reading these team fights very well so far, and Poland not having very many opportunities. Moth going to be switching to the Soldier 76 right now, trying to get that poke down onto Flower.
It's a scary concept to consider Riptire is actually a pretty good answer to Resurrection on points like this.
Oh, it definitely is.
It's kind of funny. Ooh, Sabielby getting very low, has to run away there. Moth coming in again now on the Soldier 76.
Nice shot.
There's the Earth Shatter used by Mono. What can they get with it? Yeah, Moth did take down Sabielby, but Zunba following up on that Earth Shatter, helping South Korea take people down. Mano does fall, though. Another grab. He gets so many of those. Oh, 3-man Riptire from Flower.
Well, that was not going to end well, though. As soon as I saw them walking into that hotel, the Graviton easily able to grab 3 members in there.
He may be named Flower, but he's making Poland push up daisies right now.
Nicely put.
Thank you. Poland's got a couple ults to work with as they come in for what's going to be their last push here. Jaehong nearly has that nano boost. Sabielby, Toby very close to his ultimate as well. Oh, there's a stick. Did he get it? No, it didn't stick. I thought for sure Danya was going to be able to get that one. But now there's desperation. Moth has the tack visor, but South Korea again on the back of that sound barrier, able to stay strong in the fight. And with the nano boost on Zunba, it looks like that's going to be enough. Danya, the last man standing for his team here. He'll get taken down, and they don't even get to the point. That's a map win for South Korea.
Yeah, the combos that we've seen from the South Korean roster so far, just chaining those ultimates together and having very effective, conservative use of their ultimate economy. And top tier so far here in Poland. And struggled a little bit at first. We saw the Polish team give them a fight on that attack run, but they could never crack the defense. They had the compositional answer with the Pharah.
Yeah.
It was good to see that come in, but the Korean team played around the terrain so well, it made it very difficult for the Polish squad to actually have that make the big difference and get enough damage down, not on Reinhardt shields and not on walls of buildings in order to finish off some of those kills.
Well, I mean, no doubt we're seeing Poland come out a little bit stronger than Austria did yesterday. That was did push South Korea a little bit, but still not even a single point. for the opponents of South Korea. But we're seeing all this stuff that, you know, you very seldom even have to think about. Like, when you get this big res, you're not ever really considering the fact that there's going to be a Junkrat tire coming in to catch those people coming out of it at the end. It's like, who prepares for that, you know?
It's true, but also there is value in that, too, because you did force the Korean side to use 3 ults, and you used 1.
True.
So,
Very true.
You know, they did actually get something out of that scenario, and sometimes you want to use res in that manner because the trade that you're making for your next push can be improved as a result. But there wasn't a capitalization that we saw coming out of that trade by Poland, unfortunately, for them.
All right, well, we'll see what map Poland chooses for the control map going forward. Looks like from our screen it may be Nepal. We will see if that goes through. Either way, it's a strong start for South Korea, and, you know, not a huge shock. Everybody expecting South Korea to come in come in very strong into this one. And a lot of people ask, you know, are they going to be able to repeat last year where they won the World Cup without dropping a single map in the entire tournament? And it's, you know, even harder to do that this time around because you've got more matches to play, but so far so good. You know, they have not let an opponent take a single point yet in this tournament.
I think the hardest part is that because of the committees selecting the World Cup rosters this year, we do have many teams comprised entirely of pro players, which is especially if they make BlizzCon, which we all predict that they will.
You'd think so.
It will be a harder run, I think, through the top 8 teams.
Yeah, I think it's going to get pretty competitive for South Korea later on. I mean, if you remember how China was looking when we were at the Shanghai stop, that was probably, I think, the second strongest team behind South Korea we've seen so far. Australia looked good, but they did struggle a bit against Japan, who kind of came out with this really surprising amount of talent that we weren't expecting. But yeah, I'm already getting psyched about BlizzCon, man. I'm looking ahead. I mean, we've got a lot more great matches this weekend, but
and next weekend,
already,
and several months.
Yeah, exactly. But like already, I'm getting super hyped for BlizzCon.
Me too.
Well, here we are on Nepal, guys, starting things off on Village. South Korea in the blue this time, Poland in the red. As we go for that high ground battle, looks like Flower back on the Pharah,
we're
ready to catch him.
Reaper and a Mei on the Polish side. This composition is great if you cap first, but you have to be able to get the first cap.
Shabaiso's in a little bit of trouble. He goes down early. Sabi will be following up on that damage from Flower's Pharah, and Cetrok's not going to last too much longer. This Pharah just went completely untouched. And because of that, Poland, I think they're going to need to make some swaps. Because it's like you said, Monte Cristo, you really have a hard time assaulting the point, and we already see them making some changes.
So they were not anticipating the Pharah coming out because they made a composition that had no damage to the Pharah whatsoever and couldn't even reposition against the Pharah. So if you win that first fight, though, and you get the Mei and Reaper on the point and force the enemy to come to you, it can be very strong. So I like the idea, and I'm glad we're seeing Poland as well make that adjustment immediately once they realize that their composition is not going to work out.
Yep. On board with Jaehyung once again.
And Poland did flip the point right there.
Yeah, they did manage to sneak in and take it, gaining a little bit of percentage now. So South Korea on the outside looking in. Oh, I didn't even notice that. That was really quick, really subtle. South Korea coming back now. They pushed Poland away for the moment. Moth, though, does take down the opposing Pharah, and it looks like Poland may be able to hold on to this for a bit longer.
Wow, they just snuck right in there, actually. Capped it right under
I was kind of surprised.
Team Korea's nose, and then Moth winning that Pharah battle.
Run, Shabaisos!
Trying to get out of the way of the Primal Rage. It looks like it will heal up, but not going to be enough. Does fall.
All right, South Korea trying to flip the point back right now. Mano manages to dodge the pulse bomb from Matt Boy, and that's going to be a reverse flip again. South Korea gaining the point. A little bit of an uncharacteristic move there, allowing Poland to come in and grab that, but we'll see if they're a bit more attentive now. And whoa, Flower, did you just pick him off air to air?
Yep, same thing. We've seen a lot of good Pharah battles so far on this point.
Yeah.
That's going to delay the respawn. Moth was trying to get back over the top of the buildings and toward his team. And will be staggered now, Flower. Taking a few optimistic shots. Towards the Pharah in the distance.
Pretty accurate, optimistic shots, man. Those are not missing by a whole lot. Oh, there's one. All right, there's another one. He needs one more. So close. Air to air. Moth gets a bit of healing. There's a barrage. Whoa, what in the what? Somehow Flower survived
he got
through that.
Far enough away, looked like.
I guess so.
Missing some of those rockets, so we're just going to keep watching that one. Flower gets one. Can he get Moth as well?
It's pretty good. I mean, taking out the Mercy already basically does the job. Pharah. Meanwhile, other stuff is happening, but that was pretty impressive. Wow.
Some fun in disguise there
I guess
from
so.
Flower and Moth. Always entertaining to see those kind of duels. And
Now the agony of the Danya.
trying to just boot
Anyang.
it back, stagger him as much as possible.
In Korean, you can say Anyang for hello or goodbye if you're friends with someone. So we'll assume that
works.
Danya was saying goodbye. I don't know if he's friends with the person about to beat him to death, but you know, it's a thought that counts. There's a language lesson with Doa. That's the important thing.
Well, indeed.
That's right. You can learn more about it from Arrested Development. All right. Oh, Matvoy comes in, gets killed off immediately. There's a Graviton surge from South Korea. They managed to keep them out of the point long enough.
Didn't get in there
Seriously?
fast enough.
Wow.
With his Primal Rage, looked like he was going to be able to stall for overtime. I guess it was just a hair too late.
I mean, that was one of those things where I wasn't even looking at the score, and I was like, well, that Graviton surge, there's not really a whole lot of follow-up for that. But yeah, they just kept him from even getting in there and forcing the OT.
I mean, it did look like, oddly, Setrox did get in there, but it's not going to be actually registering on the point in time.
Guess not.
So we are going to head to our second point on Nepal now, which will be Sanctum. And are we going to see more Pharah play in this one?
Well, I mean, you get so many good opportunities for environmental kills, but at the same time, you just don't have the range to stay safe with the Pharah as much, so it's kind of a toss-up. Flower's going to play it, so it looks like South Korea is going to go for it. Poland swapping things up. They're going back on the Reaper. This time, Danya going to be playing that one.
Another composition that will have a tough time actually handling the Pharah, even though the Pharah will be closer
Sneaky
in this point. Danya going to get mono immediately as they charge towards South Korea's spawn.
Yeah, the battering ram coming in here. Danya has to Wraith form away, though, nearly taken down by Flower. And Poland, somebody needs to get to the point here, but they have managed to kind of scatter South Korea for the moment. And he, no objective kills. He nearly got Shapaistos, actually, with that concussion grenade. Looks like he might get the follow-up with the rocket. That is a kill for Sabielby. And Sabielby is so good at following up on the damage from Pharah. Apparently they are. Oh, goodbye. Oh, not goodbye.
Actually sticking on there right now, but has high charge, not the proximity to do the necessary damage, though.
Merely delaying the inevitable.
Yeah, they just ignored the Pharah as she fired into that room. Yeah. They were trying to take the forward position to prevent any kind of reinforcements from coming through, but a lot of damage going to Flower.
That was really smart by South Korea because they allowed Poland to take the point early. And yeah, we do see Danya swapping over to the McCree, but they knew they could get a couple picks and then take the respawns as they come in and split up the team enough to retake it. There's a Graviton surge as South Korea tries to get a bit more damage onto Poland. Didn't work out. They had the sound barrier, but Barrage comes in from Flower. No kills with that, though. And Poland coming out ahead in this fight.
Yeah, a tad bit greedy there from Korea. You saw Zunba, we were in his perspective, take
Toby.
the peek around the corner.
Toby able to knock Matvoy off the point there before it's finally going to be flipped back here. Sabielby can't delay forever. But 37% for South Korea. Poland, though, keeping this one competitive.
Yeah, we saw the point as they were coming through. Zunba took the peek around the corner, saw the defensive matrix, so he grabbed the wall instead, but they couldn't get any damage around that corner.
Yeah.
And that kept Poland pushing forward.
All right, South Korea using the sound barrier just to kind of come in here. Setrox with the kill on the Sabielby, though. And it doesn't look like that Earth Shatter did a whole lot. In fact, well, it did a lot for Poland anyway.
Definitely did. And
Thought
Flower
that was Manos, no.
Has been forced to flip over to the Soldier 76 now that he sees the McCree on the other side.
Yeah.
So South Korea forced to make certain adjustments right now. Mono will be coming up with an Earth Shatter, but Poland has some good zoning here. They can hold this choke point for a while.
Wow, that was actually a good sleep dart on Mono. South Korea getting a taste of their own medicine. Danya walking up with the Deadeye, but he wasn't able to find any kills with that. Poland just holding the spawn extremely well. And they're up to about 66% right now, man. Poland may win this one, although South Korea coming back from some kills. I don't know. Poland may have overstepped a bit here.
Well, the problem was that they dropped the Deadeye and the self-destruct at the same time. They should have been able to create a lengthy zone so that nobody was going to be able to come into that choke point for quite a long time.
Yeah.
But the self-destruct went off in the back line, so they weren't able to extend it as much as they would have liked. And that was a lot of ult charge gained from the South Korean side as well from healing off of the poke.
Yeah, one does kind of wonder if a bit safer of a defense would have gained Poland perhaps this round. That said, Poland on the attack once again, coming in, getting caught in that Graviton surge zone. Flower, he's got the attack visor ready to go. May not even need it. No, he definitely did not need that. Definitely did not need that. Oh well, it gets one out of it. There we go. Yeah, you got the mech. Good job, buddy.
Wow.
Good job.
Yeah, definitely an overcommitment there.
A little bit, yeah.
Saw that everybody was caught in that grab. The Reinhardt twisted his shield towards Flower.
Yeah.
And decided to pull out the tactical visor, but it was already too late. Everybody down on the Polish side.
South Korea's still got some good ults to use on the defense here, nearing 90% now. Poland going in hard. They put the nano boost down onto Mob. Szlapaisos goes down very early. There's reverse Earth Shatter from Mono. A little bit more damage out of that one, but he's going to get taken out. No, he won't. South Korea actually pulling ahead in this fight, and it looks like they're going to hold and take Nepal.
Yeah, Poland had some interesting strategic changes there. They switched Moth over to the Winston so that they had a good nano boost target, and they could dive that back line. But unfortunately, we see South Korea once again winning the Earth Shatter war. The mind games have been real as Mono taking out Setrox there, just having his shatter delayed a little bit longer and counter-shattering yet again.
I mean, Poland absolutely making it competitive. It's with that one, especially with that second round, it was relatively minor things that ended up getting South Korea the win. And so we'll see if maybe they can tighten it up a little bit for the next map.
Well, they played the choke point pretty well overall, and you know, is more of a classic style of Sanctum that we're used to seeing, or we had seen in previous meta games. And holding that 1 point can prove effective, but you have to be able to stall out as long as possible if you have that Deadeye and you have that self-destruct.
Yeah, that's right. So, South Korea coming out strong, but looking vulnerable. Well, maybe not vulnerable. Looking
That's
more
not the word
mortal.
I would use.
Maybe mortal? is mortal okay?
No.
Looking semi-godlike. Not godlike, but they're like demi-godlike, right?
Okay, there we'll go with that one.
Heroes never die, that's true. Unless there's a Junkrat Riptide right after they come back. And they die twice. Yeah. All right, so we will send it back to the desk and see what they've got to say about those two maps.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. All right, and here we are right back at the desk in halftime. And I have to say, Poland, they are showing up in this match against South Korea. And also, huge shout out to the crowd out there. It sucks that we can't be with them, but we are there in spirit, and we appreciate your energy. So keep it colorful. Love it. Anyway, so wow, and there you go. I hear you guys. Wow. I hear you guys. That's what's up. Awesome. So let's talk about this first matchup here because, I think a lot of people were really caught off guard. I mean, South Korea is a very strong team, but the Polish, they are not looking to just keel over,
They made this competitive. And that's something which, based on the performance we saw of them yesterday, I almost didn't expect because they're going up against such well-coordinated teams such as South Korea. And yesterday they did struggle with coordination, adaptation, and flexibility. And that's exactly what they did right today. In both games we saw, they did adapt. They made the right adjustments in terms of hero picks. They tried to deal with the Junkrat, with that pharmacy, and also on Nepal, we just saw them really making the appropriate picks to deal with what Korea is throwing at them. And I gotta say, they forced Korea to make adjustments, and that's something which is really, really hard. And Canada was really proud of managing them themselves, and now Poland just, does it. They might have overstepped a little bit on that last round, but I can't blame them for them. That's like looking at your present right there and not unpacking it. Like I would have thrown myself at them.
Yeah, but okay.
Okay.
Calm down. Story by herself, just reapering. I like that gif. Yeah, great.
No, but it's something we highlighted before, that they have some problem with shot calling. And it's something that a lot of professional teams, including us as Misfits, has struggled with, that you don't have that authoritative voice to be like, guys, we need to pull back. We need to set up a proper fight. So, I mean, they just went into spawn. I don't blame them necessarily. I mean, but hey, you should have pulled back and set up a proper fight. They were up to like 60, 70%, and I mean, that's quite a lot. They didn't cap a single point, but they were halfway there, at least.
Yeah. Hey. It seemed like the adrenaline got to them at that point, right? They're fragging out on Korea. They're actually forcing them back into spawn. They're winning these team fights, which Austria had a lot of difficulty with. And speaking of fragging out, Danya, Oh my gosh, on King's Road, did you see what he was doing with Genji? He was taking the aggression to them instead of playing scared. You can't play passive against a team like that. If you play passive against a team like South Korea, they're just going to walk all over you. They're going to be able to get the positional advantage and everything like that. So that's why I loved seeing the aggression coming out from Danya.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday we mainly saw him on Soldier, so I was really happy to see him on Genji now, really making that swaps and finding those kills.
And even the McCree, I think, was perfect on Sanctum versus the Pharah Mercy. They played triple tank McCree. And it's not something we see really often, but it was really fun to see.
It was something.
Yeah, it was something.
Speaking of fun, I hope you guys are ready for it.
I'm so ready.
Because it's time for a T-Mobile Unlimited gaming break. Okay, guys. So, how dare you? Okay. All right. Well, the player in discussion here is Flower, but you know, one of the things about the T-Mobile Unlimited gaming break is we are looking to see who are the potential MVPs? Who are the guys who are really going to shine, especially come BlizzCon? We saw Mira last year be the MVP, and who knows? Maybe it could be his friend over here, Flower, potentially being they're friends. I'm assuming they would be okay. I'm assuming Miro and Flower are chill.
Miro and Flower, it sounds like a wonderful duo.
Yeah.
I mean, there used
like
to be a
the names really
rivalry
were.
between Lunatic High and LW Red.
LW
Flower
Blue.
was on LW Red before he swapped on over to LW Blue, and Flower was one of the main reasons why that Lunatic High did struggle up against him. His Genji was fantastic, which we really haven't seen because, well, he's pulled out his 6th hero, even bringing the Pharah.
Yeah, he's pulled out. Like, it's funny that graphic had like heroes, but in reality it should just be every hero. And look at that coordination. I remember watching when Overwatch first came out, watching guys like Tailspin do that with the tracking with Pharah missiles. It's a really cool thing to see, but we actually did get an opportunity to catch up with Flower, and I think you guys would be very impressed with Malik's Korean, so let's just go ahead and jump right into it.
All right, here with the new kid on the block, Flower, representing Team South Korea. And I gotta know, man, you being a young gun, and this year being your first Overwatch World Cup, do you feel any pressure going in with the vets?
긴장이라기보단 저희가 같이 이번에 또 우승을 시켜야 된다는 그런 부담감이 있잖아, 없어요? 오히려 없어요.
Okay. Well, all right, we got to talk about this Junkrat meta, this Junkrat, agenda that you've been pushing, because you are saying that you weren't trolling me when you said Junkrat is the way to go. Is this really true? Like, is Junkrat the future of Overwatch?
왜냐하면 정크렛은 정말 한 방 한 방이 다 강하고 궁도 하이 리스크 하이 리턴이지만 왜냐하면 600 데미지가 모든 것을 폭발시켜버릴 수 있기 때문에 저는 정말 정크렛을 좋아합니다.
I somehow feel like if I tried the Junkrat strategies you try, it just wouldn't pan out as well as you guys make it look. But anyways, man, I'm going to be watching everything that you do. Keep it up, Flower. It's good seeing you grow as a pro gamer. And on that note, guys, this has been another T-Mobile Unlimited Gaming Break.
And there you have it. Malik's Korean.
Flawless.
Flower's English. You know what I mean?
They
Barriers have been broken, people. Here we are. The future is now.
Why didn't they talk the same language?
No, because why not?
Because this looks way more multicultural.
Yeah,
It was impressive. It was the best.
Yeah, it was great.
It was great.
And also hearing Flower talk about Junkrat. Again, I do agree with Malik that it's just, no, it wouldn't work out for any of us. Yeah, I was actually talking to Mr. X out there, and he was like, oh, I'm just going to go and rank and play Junkrat now. I was like, and then you realize that
Seems
it's
like
going to
something
be
you would
terrible.
do. Yeah.
It seems like something X would do. So in any case, though, guys, let's talk about this upcoming matchup here. This is going to be Poland's pick, and yesterday we saw Austria go with Volskaya. I would like I don't want them to do that. I would like Poland to kind of go about it a different way. Real quick, just do you think we're going to see Volskaya reinforced? No. Okay.
No.
There you go. Keep it simple. All right, guys. Well, it's time to get into the action one more time, and let's see if Poland's going to be able to bounce back, or can South Korea continue their run of dominance here in Katowice, Poland. Send it over to your casters, Monte Cristo and Doan.
All right, thank you, Golden Boy Doan Monte Cristo, back for the second half of Poland versus South Korea. South Korea, perhaps unsurprisingly, ahead 2-0, but Poland showing a bit of life, certainly.
Well, certainly better than yesterday. And Danya, as an individual performer, has been excelling. some of these heroes. Back to the Reinhardt for Mono. Flower will be playing the Reaper. So they should be speed boosting very quickly around the side to try and get to the point.
Yep.
Poland needs to dive them as they're coming through some of these chokes. Here it comes.
Yeah, they're coming in hot. And Flower having to back away a little bit. Reinhardt swinging. Flower staying alive, though, for the moment. Man, that passive on his left click, the healing is so good now. Oh, he gets the kill on to Shapaistos in South Korea with a good start here, rolling into point A.
Well, the big difference maker there, Doa, was that Ryu Jae-hong had the biotic grenade, and as they dove in, he hit everybody, so there just wasn't healing from Poland onto their tank line. And that meant that Reaper was doing a lot of work, dealing so much damage in the front, and that's going to be a point A take.
It's going to be a very quick point A take, and point B can be very difficult to crack no matter what team you are, but South Korea is going to have about as much time as you could possibly have to do it. 7 minutes and 5 seconds to work with here on point B.
It's difficult. I like the fact that Mott switched over to the Pharah again.
Yep.
And was a major success for them on this point. They clearly know how to play around the girders.
And they swapped it back. Tank on the Ana again as well. Danya around that 76.
Yeah, not going to stick with the soldiers. So they do get a kill, and they're going to force a retreat here from Korea as they wait for the respawn.
Oh, and Flower swapping to the 76 himself. Okay. It's a natural pick for this one, obviously much better than the Reaper positionally on this point.
Yeah, it's also a poke composition, right? You want to get 5 people on that high ground behind the Reinhardt shield and have Sabiel be flank and see if he can get anybody picked off with the pulse bomb. So he'll be harassing and harrying the enemy from the side.
Yeah. Oh, Satrok's getting very low, gonna get taken down. Not a good start for Poland here as they go in. Zunba with 3 already off of that Graviton Surge and the following damage. Ooh boy, South Korea is rocking Poland right now.
Satrok's still alive, but he's the only one on his team. He's gonna have to get back there. The timer is ticking up. Somebody has to get back to this point. He's waiting. He's waiting.
Nope.
He was alive. He was waiting for his teammates. I don't know. Didn't make an attempt.
Samuel looks kind of confused there. He's like, all right.
To get back to the point.
Win?
I mean, they knew the win. Winston was up.
All right, well, interesting. But that means South Korea does take the match 2-1, but we do have that last map to play, of course, because maps matter, Monte Cristo.
They certainly will.
Especially when South Korea is 4-0ing everybody. You know, if you can get that one map, that might actually put you ahead of your opponent.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And well, I think it's going to be more impactful in the other group that we have here in Katowice because of how tight I think the race between Canada and Russia is likely to be.
I agree. So whoever, you know, it's a fight for second place here in Group E. The second place team looking at probably facing Canada or Russia in the other group. I think that's reasonable to expect after what we saw yesterday. Yeah. South Korea just having a ton of fun there.
Well, at least for Poland, they have taken points now from Korea, nearly finished out that entire map, and they have forced strategic adaptations from the South Korean side, which we didn't really see yesterday. They ran rampant with whichever picks they wanted.
Well, they're certainly doing a good job of forcing Korea to play things a bit more seriously today. I mean, we only saw the Junkrat once so far. That's all we got. That's all I got, guys. Sorry.
It's okay. We've seen some other interesting picks, at least, you know, maybe some things that are off meta or out of meta for, you know, specific reasons. Obviously, well, the Poland has gotten a good read on them running the Pharah, especially on that point A.
Yeah.
And I think on King's Row, too, Korea played well against it, but they have the compositional answers here, and they're not afraid to run them.
I was a bit surprised to see Poland play the dive on a Lunar Colony defense because when you talk to those guys, again, they told us they really felt the most comfortable playing sort of poke compositions. Yeah. And that's what we saw for most of their other rounds yesterday against Netherlands as well. So to see them go for that, you know, it seemed like they were a little bit outside their comfort zone, and I think that showed a bit too. Korea fans coming a long way to support these guys.
That's right.
Yang Jinmo, I forget who that is. That's one of the players on the team.
Yeah,
I can't remember which one it is. I only know IDs, Monte Cristo. I don't know real names. This is esports. I know that's one of their names. I don't know which one it is.
Well, thank you for telling us what you don't know.
You're welcome. Hey, you know, I think it's very important that we all admit in life what we don't know. Nothing's worse than somebody pretending they know something they don't, Monte Cristo.
That's very true.
Yeah.
That's very true. That can cause a lot of harm.
That's right. So it's better to admit you just don't know and move on. And then find out. I'm sure somebody will tweet it at me, see?
Now you'll know for all time after this.
That's right. Twitter is my personal Google.
We do know that it's not Ryu Jae-hong.
Yeah, that's true. We do know that. That's literally his name as his ID. Yeah. I'm not going to make guesses. I saw it this morning, but I can't remember now. It's okay. They don't know my real name either. None of the South Korean players do.
All right, well, we are going to be looking at Dorado. We've seen a lot of Dorado here in Poland. It has been primarily Route 66 for most of the Overwatch World Cup to this point, but interesting to see a little bit more attention paid to that map. I prefer this map, actually.
Me too, actually. I like Dorado. I think it's a great map to look at, and it's a fun map to play, too. And the cool thing about Dorado, the thing I really like most about this map, is that every single point on this map requires a very different approach. It's not like some of the other maps where you can kind of, just roll through with the same comp and adapt to the terrain a bit. I really feel like you can benefit as a team from changing things up substantially from point A to B to C, and we see that a bit on this map. So I love Dorado. I think it's a great map.
Indeed.
Interesting.
And
Sneaky Tracer. Well. Death to railings. Death to all railings.
Not so sneaky anymore.
No. All right, here we go. Poland on the offense. Danya with the Widowmaker looking for some shots.
I like that we're seeing the Widowmaker Pharah and Mercy right away. You have two choices of targets that are effective to damage boost, depending on the angles, and you can play a lot of these longer sight lines. We are going to see the Pharah going over the back right now and trying to disrupt the lines. Flower is on the Soldier this time.
Danya picked off Sabiel B2. That's huge.
That's huge.
Very big, especially with Moth harassing from the back lines. Great attack from Poland so far. I like it. Conceptually, South Korea certainly on the defense now.
This Widowmaker, normally on Dorado, we'll see her covering the front entrance, but this is actually a very interesting composition because they flanked both the Pharah and the Widowmaker all the way around to the other side of the truck.
Ooh, nice shot from Danya again. And I don't think South Korea was expecting this kind of attack. I mean, we haven't seen these kind of long-ranging strategies since I feel like we watched Meta Athena play back in Apex.
I've never seen Widowmaker and Pharah on attack on Dorado before simultaneously, and especially not played in this fashion.
I'm surprised, actually, that South Korea was able to stop the payload where they were. Because we saw some of those early picks come through, and it was just the rest of Poland. Well, unfortunately, they only had 3 people to push the payload then, and when you've got a Reinhardt on the other side and a Zarya, that can be a bit tough to make work.
Well, especially because the Widowmaker and the Pharah had to go in to push, and Flower was actually just ducking on the opposite side of the cart, and he delayed it long enough for the rest of his teammates to respawn.
Yeah, the triple tank defense is hard to break with this kind of damage. Now Earthshatter comes in for Mono. See if there's any follow-up. Meanwhile, Moth trying to get something done with the Barrage, but there's the sleep dart. And there's the pin. Oh, insult to injury. That's painful.
That's just great target selection.
Never wake up from that match.
Yeah, you don't. That's just great target selection from the Korean side. They manage to get everything, call the barrage, they hide on the side, then the defensive matrix comes in, sleep dart right into the charge. No chance for the barrage to do damage.
South Korea with a good amount of ults to use at this point as well. Danya over onto the 76 now. Swapping off of that Widowmaker. South Korea playing this one old school.
Yeah, there's a lot of poking through this choke point into Reinhardt shields. We've seen this many times before, but not recently.
All right, Mano taking some damage. But there's Sabiel B to take the pressure off the Reinhardt. Graviton Surge used. Sabiel B gets 2, including 1 with the Pulse Bomb, and Poland just getting picked apart here.
Just going to force Motboy right now to resuit. If he wants to actually get it back, he's going to have to go into spawn and sacrifice his ult charge if he wants to come back up. Switches to Orisa and now resets his ultimate on the D.Va. So
that's a pretty bad punish there. That hurts. Have to give up that ult charge on the D.Va. Moth in the way back lines again.
Almost with the barrage once more, but Shlevaistos has that res as well. So 2 ults up now. Are they going to be able to do anything with his attack? He's looking for a barrage angle.
All right, he found it. Gets absorbed, though.
Sunba's there right every time.
Flower was right there to absorb that with the D.Va. There's the res again. But Sabiel B, oh man, already with the Earthshatter. They have been handling these resurrections extremely well.
Yes, they have. Instantly locking down the enemy with further crowd control. Self-destruct is there now. 30 short seconds remaining for Poland on the attack. And they haven't figured out a way to crack the choke point into the market square.
Yeah, it's looking like a full hold in quite the devastating way in favor of South Korea. Poland this is their last chance. They've got no ults to use.
I think you just need to go for the dive right now. Setrox should be back on that Winston, play the Genji, and go into the backline, because you need a pick right now. The Zenyatta, I think, was a better answer.
I agree. Here we go. Moth trying to get in the back lines. There's another Graviton Surge, 2 with the Pulse Bomb already. And there's Reinhardt swinging away. And it's T-Ball, man. Setting him up, and Mano knocking him down. Celebratory sound barrier. And that is it. Poland gets full held, and South Korea pretty much has this one wrapped up.
They just have to get into the gateway area. You could see how fast Zunba was getting those Graviton Surges throughout that map. They executed Big Bang time and time again. But I think that if you're Poland and you're coming into that 30-second scenario, they briefly switched over to the Zenyatta, and I think that's the way you go. You don't have time to sit there and play Reinhardt Shield Wars at a choke point, especially when you know that some of these big CC ults are going to be available for the enemy team. I think you just go commit to the Genji again, try and get into the backline and pick somebody off with the Discord Orb, and do not group up in that choke.
Yeah. You know what I've decided? From now on, I want a screen that shows me standing in an imposing stance behind me. At my desk.
Are you gonna put that in your house? Just have, you know, you're gonna record like a 24-hour loop video of you standing there?
Yeah, every time, like dinner chair, desk, couch, I want like a giant me, arms folded, scowling from behind. I feel like it's very intimidating.
Would you have like a different outfit in every one of them?
Yeah, like in the den, I'd have like, you know, a nice comfortable bathrobe perhaps.
I'd have a smoking jacket, you know, like a velvet smoking jacket.
I could see that. In the kitchen, I'd have a chef's hat.
Is it like the Iron Chef angry pose?
Yep, that's right.
All right, that sounds great.
Well, is there any other pose for an Iron Chef? You don't call yourself Iron Chef by being a happy person. I loved Iron Chef. That was a great show.
It was a great show. Yeah.
Let's stop casting and go watch Iron Chef.
All right.
All right. So I'm taking off my headset. Oh, no, wait, it's not over yet. Okay, hold on. We got to wait a little bit for South Korea to push the payload through to just a little bit through that tunnel, and then they will win this match 4-0. I mean, from the Poland side, it's so tough to stop a team here.
I like what they're doing. They're going to play a 3 DPS dive defense because they have to play this as aggressively as possible. Any room on the payload is a problem for them. Flower is on Bastion, and it's going to, I guess this is happening.
I've said this a lot, but this is another pick we've seen him play in the past. He actually has played a decent amount of Bastion. Trying to keep him healed. Run! Oh, denied. Setrox comes in for the finishing blow, and South Korea's Bastion comp just doesn't work out. I can't believe I said that sentence.
Well, it is tough against these dive compositions. Easy to get on top of that Bastion and deny the damage. Also, Tank did a nice biotic grenade there, so no healing possible.
Anybody going to stop Sabil B from pushing the payload there? He's Tracer pushing the payload, guys. Well, there we go. Finally stops Flower.
On Widowmaker now, you know.
Oh, yeah. Dude, well, his Widowmaker is awesome. He was actually known for his Widowmaker play in some of the early Korean frag videos. So it's fun to see him grab this pick again. Trying to take out Danya. Doesn't need to. Zimba's got it. Just more damage layered on there. Yeah, I don't think you want to be that close to
That's not where, it's not where you want to be right now. He's going to get a damage boost, though, from Toby on the Mercy. Trying to hit those huge headshots with the multipliers, and Tactical Visor forced to be popped by Moth there is on the low ground, and that's going to be a nano-boosted Winston.
All right, Toby gets the res onto Zunba. A little bit of tempo res going. Mano with the nano boost. He's just going to cruise through, man. I guess, there we go. Danya, what are you doing? Oh, you. All right, this has gotten a bit silly, guys, this match here. This is Transcendence from Poland trying to keep the payload stopped where it is.
That's going to be Korea just pushing forward right now. Mono waiting out that biotic grenade so he can get the heals. And they're going to have to push back slightly as Poland is going to respawn and get back onto the cart right now. So let's continue to delay this. 2 minutes they've shaved off of this push from Korea.
Yeah. Oh, well, okay. Well, Mano just decides to go in the back and kill everybody. Meanwhile, Danya grabbing some kills for Poland on the other side here, taking out Jaeong and Zunba. But is it going to be enough? Mano with the Primal Rage. Can he push Poland back long enough to just barely get the payload in there?
Does get the kill onto the Genji. That's the first big one that he needs. Trying to delay this as much as he can. Only the tank left, and that's going to be it. Payload should be moving through.
The Mano with the Plano. And the Plano is to win 4-0. South Korea takes it. Poland, though, making them play honest.
Yeah, they definitely did. and showing a bigger flexibility of style. Certainly having them come into the match tomorrow against Austria is a likely favorite, but we'll see if Austria has also improved overnight compared to what we had seen them play in day one.
Well, we are now at the point where South Korea is 8-0 in the group as far as map score goes, but they did give up a point. It's not a perfect tournament for them anymore.
It's not. It's over. The dream is dead.
That's right. And it certainly wasn't a tiny low-kill affair. And the fans here in Poland on their feet for the home team, putting up a really respectable showing against South Korea, no doubt.
Overnight, changing so much of their play and looking a lot better today.
Yeah, this Poland team, I think, would have had a really good shot at beating Netherlands if we would have seen them yesterday.
Definitely would have put on a stronger showing, I think. But it's nice to see them gain some ground and fix a lot of their issues.
That's right. Well, let's send it back to the desk to see what Golden Boy and the crew have to say about this match.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. All right. Well, that certainly was quite the run here for the South Korean roster. Sebiobi really just looking chilled. He's really enjoying
having a good time. Feels good time.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome stuff there. But I do want to say a huge shout out to Poland for an incredible performance. Honestly, like that was a strong showing from the Polish squad.
Absolutely. And again, like everything we pointed out yesterday, they cleaned it up and they made this so competitive. And I'm just generally impressed. I didn't expect this at all, which is bad because I was the one picking Poland for this match. But you know, no, I was just, I don't know. Someone had to, all right? No, but I'm happy I did because I'm proud of those guys. I am generally proud. The switches they made, the adjustments they made throughout the games were absolutely incredible. They had an answer to the composition of Korea and switched accordingly to actually deal with what is thrown at them. And yeah, they forced Korea off their Junkrat into real picks. That's an achievement.
Yeah, ultimately, I would say that one of the major things that came up in this matchup was Setrox versus Mono on the Reinhardt. We see here on King's Row, Setrox looked a little uneasy and didn't quite know how to read Mono. What do you think, Reinforce?
Yeah, for sure. I think that Setrox put up a good fight, especially because for a large part of the Reinhardt battles, Poland went with the D.Va instead. That D.Va shuts down Ri Jahong's heals when he's playing Diana, unlike when you're playing as Zenyatta, where your heal is constant from an orb. And Sunba was, of course, always on the Zarya. So I think that Setrox had an easier time because he got those constant heals while Mono struggled a bit with not as much support.
Yeah, and when you think about what we saw in the Horizon game as well, something that I was really appreciative of Poland was they showed no fear. They showed no fear against the South Korean team. They went right in. Even on defense, they dived right in and challenged them. And, I don't think many teams, especially in this event, would have thought about doing that. So.
No, really. I mean, for the second point, like Danya switched to the McCree to trying to deal with the flanking opportunities from Korea with the Sombra, with the Tracer. Didn't really work out, but they did make the necessary adjustments, and that was absolutely perfect to watch. And generally, I was also impressed to see the hero pool of both of those teams, because there were a lot of switches on the Polish team as well, mostly in terms of who's playing the D.Va. Matboy played her, Danya played her, Matt played her. Like literally everyone took a turn depending on their actual composition, and no one of them did a necessarily bad job. I was still questioning some self-destructs from Matt in certain situations, but overall I think it really came together there.
By the way, I just want, speaking of self-destructs, I
have no idea where this is going.
No, Flower. When he basically teleported out of the self-destruct on Sombra.
That was really
man, like the timing of that and the overhead view was like the perfect thing at that very moment. It was so sick.
Yeah, it was kind of sad though, because Poland deserved to cap that. There was some real 2 CP
But that
action.
shows how well Korea can stagger you and stall you. Like you think you're winning this fight, but you have no idea.
Yeah, but it's not something I want to highlight. I'm bad at Poland. They deserve that second capture.
That's true.
They fought with their hearts.
They played hard there. And you guys saw the group there, updated South Korea. They are unscathed here, 8-0.
But a bit bruised.
They got a lost point.
A bit bruised.
A bit bruised. They got a point.
But that's a bit of a bruise.
Yes. And this, you know what? If it bleeds, you can kill it.
Okay.
That's a little brutal. It's a little brutal.
Optimistic.
But we'll just go ahead and roll with that there. In any case, guys, that's going to do it for us here for the post game of Poland versus South Korea. But You don't want to miss the next game because we have plenty more Group E action coming at you. It's going to be Austria facing off against the Netherlands. Let's see if the Netherlands can keep their consistency going forward with a potential 8-0 victory, or can Austria strike? We'll see. Don't go anywhere.
We are hope.
We are honor.
We are courage.
We are justice.
We are compassion. We are determination.
We are harmony. We are Overwatch.
The Overwatch World Cup 2017 is brought to you by Omen by HP, T-Mobile, and Blizzard Entertainment.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the 2017 Overwatch World Cup Katowice group stage as we get ready for our second matchup of the day. It's going to be the Netherlands facing off against Austria. Now, let's talk about the Netherlands here because this team is looking pretty good, James.
Oh, definitely. They had a really strong showing against Poland yesterday. It was a little bit of a slow start on Numbani. I was a little worried for them, but then towards the latter end of that map, they just got stronger and stronger. We saw Too Easy. He also had a slower start, but once he started getting comfortable on that Tracer, he looked amazing.
Yeah, always good to see Too Easy performing and playing at his top of the game. I've always been a Too Easy fan. I will forever be a Too Easy fan. So Austria on the other side.
Austria.
They're
also showing up with a very strong Tracer player. Kabachi unfortunately didn't really get to show all of his potential. They had the pleasure of going up against South Korea yesterday, and it was
pleasure.
It was a pleasure. It was fun for the whole family. All right. No, it wasn't pretty.
It wasn't PG.
It was not. It was. I felt
16.
No, it was none of that.
Yeah, I don't know what the ratings are in Europe.
It was like above 21. That's what it was.
Is that even a rating?
It was hard to watch, but what I really enjoyed was that the whole team Austria, they kept their spirits up. They were giggling. They were like, we kind of expected that, whatever. But I do feel like we're going to see a completely different team showing up today against the Netherlands, and I think they can make it competitive.
Yeah, you brought up Kabaji, and I definitely think that he has a good chance of actually outskilling Too Easy here on the Tracer. Too Easy is just I consider him a very solid player. He's not this kind of star player that I often consider someone that just fills his role correctly, while Kabaji is this guy that actually has...
plays.
Yeah, he actually makes some plays. When he's not playing South Korea, that is. But it's actually very high on the ladder ranked, so I expect good things from Kabaji in this series.
Yeah, it was great to see Kabachi try and, get in there in the South Korea game. He was one of the players that was picking up kills. So we know that this player has the potential. He has the skill. I do want to discuss on the Netherlands side here, though, because they have one of my favorite players in Morta. And Morta.
He became Spanish overnight to Morte.
Yeah, he became Morta. What is it about this guy that just really helps this team?
I mean, he brings a wealth of experience, right? In the earlier days, he did used to play like DPS and Flex and stuff like that, so he does know how to position properly. Like when you move those DPS players into these support roles, you know how the DPS players play. You can outread them and try to figure out how I should position to make sure I'm not vulnerable. So he's just staying alive.
Yeah, Netherlands was one of those teams that played pretty passively yesterday, only comparing them to Canada, I believe. But I think that Netherlands overall looked a bit smoother with their shot calling, and Morte is just one of those guys who you can trust, who really knows this meta well. I mean, obviously the one contenders over in Europe with United, which he plays for day to day. So Morte, yeah, really solid shot caller, and it's just pretty to look at Netherlands play with their engages.
Yeah, and we had an opportunity, as a matter of fact, to catch up with the committee members and the players from the Netherlands roster. Let's go ahead and check that out.
I think the strength of our team is that we have a really good dive and also a really solid backline, because we have like our backline is really experienced, while our dive is not that experienced because we have Visibility. He's like a really unknown player, but I think he's like probably he could be the strongest member of our team.
I definitely think Facility is a secret weapon right now. He's a relatively unknown player, especially in the pro scene. And he's an incredible Genji, and I really think he's going to surprise a lot of players in this tournament. Guys, I hope you support us as much as possible during this tournament. And I think we're definitely going to make it to BlizzCon then. Go Oranje!
And there you hear from the Netherlands roster. But to shift our focus on the Austrian side here, we've been highlighting Kabachi a lot, but the other DPS player that we haven't really had a chance to talk about was Icky as well.
Oh, yeah, Icky. So, I know a lot of players like coming into these tournaments were a bit smirking, you know. But whenever we brought up Austria, they were like, "Yeah, Icky, that dude who always like locks on Widowmaker."
He played a lot of it yesterday.
They did play a lot of it yesterday as well against South Korea. I mean, Icky kind of played everything. He was even on Bastion at one point, I think on Dorado. I mean, why not, right? Might as well try it against South Korea.
Why
not? Yeah, he has been picking up Widow yesterday, as well as in the majority of their scrims. And he did say that it worked pretty well against Turkey and Poland. What were your thoughts on it?
Well, I think it's a good alternative to Soldier. I mean, we see even Envious do this back in Korea for Apex Season 3, pardon me, where Time often picks the Widowmaker. And it feels a kind of similar role to the Soldier 76. You have someone with suppression fire in the back line, you know, something that the enemy team has to worry about, and something that they often have to dive. So I think the Widowmaker is a more passive pick compared to the Soldier. A Soldier obviously has to run back and retreat, but a Widowmaker can grapple, hook away. But still has a lot of impact. So the Widowmaker is a pretty smart pick. Obviously, it's hard to get value because not a lot of maps suit the Widowmaker as well as the Soldier. But I think it's a good pick that can work out versus inexperienced teams.
Yeah, because you can see like the Widow really coming into play on like Ruins on Ilios, for example. It's like a really good place because you get some wide sight lines. But I do agree with that sentiment. And who knows, maybe it'll work for them in this particular instance, right?
Yeah,
maybe he's just not that good with the 76, and he prefers the just high damage output that a Widowmaker can put, especially if you're nailing those shots.
Yeah, they even said it themselves in Netherlands that their dive is probably the most inexperienced part about this roster. So, you know, if they pull out the Widowmaker from the side of Austria here, how do Netherlands respond? Morte maybe can't handle the shot calling as well, or well, I think Morte will handle the shot calling, but will Jonah and Visility pull off the dives correctly versus this Widowmaker? I think that's the big question, and maybe Widowmaker can get some huge payoff.
Yeah, I mean, even if he's not going to like hit the shots, just the constant threat of a Widowmaker on a map really changes. It just changes the whole like positioning from the other team. And if like you going in aggressively, you do need to know where to step onto, you know, like the position needs to be on spot when you're actually diving in. So it could really work for them. Also, I think the whole team, Austria, in a, I don't want to say attempt, but to defend Icky's like constant Widow picks, they were also like, yeah, but because he's so experienced as a Widow player, he's also a great McCree, Soldier, like general hit scan, like just it gives him a good like sense for those heroes as well. So yeah. That's Icky.
The matchup against Korea yesterday definitely was not what they wanted to show. I feel like they played very restrained up against Korea, which is what Poland didn't do today, right? You do have to give a team like South Korea a certain level of respect, but you can't give them too much respect, which is what happened. So I think they can display a lot more skill in this matchup. Yeah,
and I believe we had an opportunity as well to catch up with the Austrian team, and very similar to what we have with the Netherlands there, getting to hear from the players and the committee. We did manage to do the same thing with Austria, so let's go ahead and check that out. Or we'll just,
Hello, I'm Chantal Semanas-Frey, and I'm representing Austria. It's an honor to be part of the Overwatch World Cup, and I'm really proud to represent my country. Yeah, I think the team strength of Austria is the team spirit for sure, because they're all friends and I think in a team game, it's really important to like each other. And the weakness might be that we are not as good individually as lots of the other teams. So our secret weapon could be the Widowmaker of Icky, because he's a really good Widowmaker and he could like kill a lot.
See the res? Did you see that? All the players are on the ground and then they rezzed them. That was great. That was just top quality memeing there.
Yeah, they're not just good players; they're also very good at charades.
Yeah, what is it? It's Zeru, right? Itzeru is a clown. He is a funny
He's
dude.
super funny.
His auto impression, oh my god.
Yeah.
But he even did that. Okay, so when we met him and his team for the first time, they came in, we were all sitting there like with our notepads, like being ready to take them notes. And then the first thing he says, like, I play Zenyatta, pew, pew, pew. So
Yeah.
I was like, is he for real? Yeah, he's for real.
Yeah,
That
like
was-
he came in
awesome.
straight up with the shenanigans right
Yeah.
away. It was
He said-
great.
Yeah, he said like his signature moves are headshotting as Zenyatta or insta-dying. So I can't wait to see either.
That's a good description.
Your signature moves.
But he was definitely pulling off his signature move yesterday
Yeah.
against South Korea. So
Yeah,
Oh man.
I had to bring the fire.
And he wasn't popping heads.
No. Oh man! All right. Well, while we're waiting for the players, and just to give you guys a heads up, we're waiting for the players to get ready to go and get settled. So that's why we're here memeing and chatting. So big thank you to everyone for sticking with us. We want to make sure the players are comfortable, right? That's very important, right? Reinforcement. You're a player. You take forever, right?
No. What? What are these flames? What have I done?
Hey, if we want to talk about like players getting comfortable, did you see Ryu Jae-hung's setup?
How comfortable did he get?
He needs like his mouse at like chest level, right? So the desk wasn't quite there, so they put a box underneath his mouse pad. So I'm just imagining all these players at home like, oh yeah, I have to do that now. I need to put a box under my underneath my mouse pad.
Just like playing Junkrat in ranked, it won't work. Okay, it's just
You don't know that.
you know.
You don't
Okay,
know, all right, you don't know that.
find out. So he
I
does
mean,
that with a box
I see a lot
as
of players like taking their shoes off. That's what I do. Also, my pants usually when I'm playing games, but I don't think that's appropriate on the stage.
Oh no, I'm a
yeah, just
pants are gone all the time.
Yeah,
My
you
wife
have
walks
to.
into the room and
like,
she's
what's
just
that?
like,
Oh,
"Could
he's
you
playing
please put on some pants?" It tells me that all the time.
but they hold you back.
They do. I need.
They're restraining
I have
you when you
fans
play
going
games.
on. It's hot in my gaming room, so I just
Yeah,
have
right.
fans going everywhere.
They gotta get comfortable.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
play
You
the
have to
games.
get comfortable.
I need to try this out for my next LAN tournament. Pantless, let's go.
That would make a great team name, by the way.
Let's
Just
go.
see you at BlizzCon. You just go up to the stage. You just go, all right, let's play. Let's go. Let's make it happen.
You get those tearaway sweats, right?
Yeah.
Boom.
My goodness
What do you think?
gracious. All right, well, the good news is the match is ready to go.
That's
so
fantastic news.
Because we were definitely going off of the deep end, but luckily we didn't wear any pants, so it would have been okay.
No one knows.
In any case, though, guys, it is time for our second matchup of the day. It's going to be the Netherlands facing off against Austria. And there they are coming out here, and there's the Netherlands and Austria. Gotta love. By the way, I want a Netherlands jersey. Just saying, that
Anya?
orange is too fly.
It's pretty fly.
Why don't you want a Swedish jersey?
Because it's
Only
not
if it
as
has your
fly
name in the back of
as-
it.
Oh,
There you go.
That's your name.
There you go. Look at that. Nailed it.
nailed it.
And there
Your
is the
name.
squad.
See what you did there.
Wait, what did you do?
It's your name.
It's your
He did that
on
one.
a big
that's your
monkey
name.
check.
Yeah, that's right. Call me Serena
Get
Williams.
good.
All
Like,
right. So, Jamerson, the Netherlands here, they are feeling pretty confident going into this matchup.
I mean, we covered it yesterday, right? Team full of rock stars. We did have to have True State swap on over onto that diva role, but it looked like he took to it fairly well. He was flexing well onto it. He even pulled out the Zarya at some points, and it seems like, you know, he really did mean to prove a point. I'm not just a Lucio player. I can frag with the best of them also and play the diva role in a really defensive manner. So I was really excited to see him do that, and I think they could succeed.
And then, on the other side of the stage, it's the boys from Austria. And Zoe, you have high hopes for this team.
I really do. I mean, not just because they have Kobachi and 7, the two experienced and very, very well-known players internationally. However, on a national basis, the rest of the team is also very well-known. They've been playing together in teams and against each other as well, competing on the highest level in their own country. And they're ready to show what Austria has in store for the rest of the world. So I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, bringing it all out there. Reinforce, how do you feel about this Austrian team against the Netherlands? Can you see an upset here?
Yeah, I feel pretty good. Well, pretty good is
strong words.
Yeah,
here.
strong words I'm using here. If 7 pulls out the Winston, maybe they have a bigger chance than they had versus South Korea yesterday. I'm looking forward to that. This is pretty much going to be the group decider in many ways, because if Austria stages a win here over Netherlands, they have a really good shot tomorrow to secure their second place in the group. So I think they can definitely do it. Maybe take 1 or 2, maybe even 3 maps.
Really?
Depending on how Netherlands show up, of course. I mean, Netherlands should have this in the bag, but you never know with Overwatch.
They should have.
So,
yeah.
Should have.
I mean, hey,
well,
we
I mean,
saw
South
Poland
Korea,
today, you know, take it to South Korea.
Yeah, I mean, they took a point, and that shouldn't happen. So maybe what happens in this series?
They were very firm that they were not going to lose any points or anything like that, and you know, hey, they made it happen. So anything is possible, Jamerson. Are you worried for your Netherlands boys over there?
No, I think Netherlands are going to be great. Too easy, should be warmed up properly, so we'll see him go off.
All right, guys. Well, it is time for our second matchup of the day. It's going to be Austria versus the Netherlands. Let's send it over to your casters, Uber and Mr. X.
Hey guys, welcome back to the casting booth. Yes, Uber here with Mr. X, and again, a clash that, at least for me personally, hits a bit closer to home now. Very much a Central European stoush, the Netherlands versus Österreich.
Yeah, and I think the Netherlands, they're going to take this, obviously, you know, very serious. They're one of the teams we've seen warm up a lot, you know, coming in. You know, Morta comes back into the room. He's talking to all the talent. He's even confident, you know, going against South Korea tomorrow. He's like, hey, don't count us out in that series. I think here against Austria, we'll kind of find out what they learned about, you know, their team from that South Korea match yesterday. Maybe they can make some improvements here against the Netherlands.
Kobachi as well, you might not know too much about him, but he's actually quite a popular streamer if memory serves. And like I said, I think top 10 EU still, as far as ranking is concerned, so definitely a strong player. All right, I'm going to put this to bed now. Yeah. This whole Widowmaker's secret weapon thing, we need to move past this, okay? I understand that it's a strong pick for Iki, but any team that's worth their salt is going to know how to punish a Widowmaker. It's less about the Widowmaker's positioning, more about if you can dive. We've seen that Netherlands are able to do that. Austria need to respect that fact going into this. They will punish, or they will be punished, for overusing that Widowmaker pick.
Well, I also think for it to be a secret weapon, it has to also be a secret. I mean, when you scrim everybody and you use the Widowmaker,
guys, we're ready to Widowmaker.
Every interview, secret weapon's going to be the Widowmaker. Don't tell nobody. It's like, well, like, the cat's out of the bag a little bit. So I think you're going to have a lot of teams who are going to be more prepared for the Widowmaker. At this point, they should have told everybody they were going to run Widowmaker and then not run Widowmaker. Maybe you could have thrown some teams off that way. But I know yesterday when they ran the Widow, they just didn't have enough space against South Korea. Maybe they can make it work today against Netherlands.
It's literally a worse kept secret than the last few of 2Easy's roster pickups, I'm going to be honest with you.
That one burned.
Lumbani, going to be our first map of this series here, a hybrid of course. And we saw a little bit of this from Austria earlier on, actually, against South Korea yesterday, and it was, yeah, not really a stellar performance. Oh, no, sorry, that was Kings Road, who was in the second match of the day. Not a stellar performance, I think, that we saw from Austria in their matches yesterday. Again, there's ability on this team. Wat7, of course, is a player with a pedigree that could be considered a professional level. The Netherlands, of course, bristling with talent.
Yeah, they have a lot of very talented players. 2Easy would make the joke, but he's been on a lot of teams, you know, in the past.
I love
very
the benching
talented player
in their clip.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
It's fantastic. Everyone waving over at him as he sits.
Well, hey, there's two ways to go about it. You can be super salty and get upset, or you can just kind of joke around about it and move on. Know that, I mean, use this as kind of a tryout tape, right? Noah's going forward.
Yeah, I mean, look, Too Easy specifically, I mean, these two players have a long history, by the way. Too Easy and Mortar used to be on the same team back in a completely different game under the roster of Fnatic. They were world champions in Battlefield over many seasons. These guys know each other really well. They're not on the same team anymore. They're sort of broken, splintered as Overwatch came around, but they know each other's tendencies. And who better to have as the caller, you know, for a player like Too Easy who can get emotional sometimes is Mort.
We'll see how Austria starts off their attack, and it looks like they're going to get pinned in the corner, and right away, they are falling. Too Easy running through with the Tracer, able to take out Icky. There's Zenyatta falls as well. It's going to end their entire push right before it really even started.
It's interesting, actually, to see a team that wants to meet their opponents so far out of that first point. The Netherlands just wanted to get a bit of information. They realized Austria were maybe overextended or not grouped correctly. So they said, instead of this being a reconnaissance mission, we'll make it a seek and destroy.
Well, now it puts a lot of no pressure on Austria, right? Because you get that attack right up close. You're going to be very careful about the angles you push. You're always going to expect a presence from Netherlands around each corner.
Icky getting a lot of damage onto him from the Tesla rifle. They're forced to back away, and that was Yoda right in the doorway, spreading a bit of damage here. And there's been no egress found by Austria thus far. Crusade was a bastion up on the top ground, not an actual bastion, but a stronghold for the Netherlands there, getting a lot of healing and getting those finishes off there. Kabaja just throws himself into the abyss and gets it over and done with.
Yeah, when Austria's trying to push, when you lose that Winston and Diva right at the beginning of the fight, there's nothing the 76 can do from that position, right? I mean, he's trying to put down a lot of damage, trying to get Diva out of the mech. When both of your tanks fall, it's going to be very hard to push forward. They all disengage. Now going to have to wait for everybody to spawn up. Try it again.
Again, Crusade trying to get a little bit of early information, give as much time for Netherlands to respond as possible. Now, what's 7? He's putting his foot down. There was a Discord all put over on towards Jonah, but no real damage has been applied. The healing's been excellent, and the defense matrix from Crusade has been used nicely. Austria still clumped up here. If there's any moment that Netherlands want to come forward with this pulse bomb for Too Easy, this could be devastating for the Austrians.
Even the Dragon Blade in this small vicinity, everybody from Austria just kind of clumped up in this small room trying to push through the choke. And here they come with Diva flying forward.
That's the pulse bomb. It's Rui's claim, but it's just the one kill, and the responding fight is actually not bad from Austria. Vizildi and Jonah goes down. Vizildi still has his Dragon Blade, but didn't have a chance to properly use it. And now Austria are streaming on towards the point. The attack visor is not quite enough to claim Dante's life, but What 7 is there with the follow-up, cleans up the Zenyatta, and now Austria set up on this point. There is a chance that Netherlands could go for something here. Too Easy sitting off towards the back. He's posturing from a flanking position, and the Dragon Blade and Primal Rage from Jonah should be enough for the Netherlands to go.
Yeah, Jonah's going to come over the top with the Primal Rage. He gets stuck there with a Pulse Bomb, able to live through it. Facility still with that Dragon Blade. They're going to force the Transcendence out early, but Facility going to fall there before he can even get the Blade off. That's a huge pick.
Yeah, and he wanted to use the Blade, and you can tell that because there's other ultimates being committed to this fight by the Netherlands, but without the cutting power, I guess, of the Dragon Blade from Facility, there's nothing to follow up that Transcendence.
Yeah, now you're going to see the stall coming in from the Netherlands. They're all going to get wiped. It'll be Austria taking the first point here. It's a good push through the top. That was well executed, right? Their first 3 pushes, they get picked at the beginning. They can't really get anything. You can make an argument that's really their first good attempt they're able to break.
The Netherlands committed ultimates to that fight, quite a lot of them. In fact, Dante did use the Transcendence earlier on. Vizildi still has the Dragon Blade, but now there's very little to back it up in terms of the Netherlands ult bank. It's actually more likely that Vizildi has to hold on to that until the next wave of ultimates start appearing for the Netherlands. So it becomes a bit of a moot force at this stage, or he's going to use it right now. So he's going to use it unassisted off-screen right now. It's What 7 now. He's going to be able to clean up Dante pretty comfortably. The rest of the Netherlands are trying to group up here on the payload.
Yeah, they're just trying to push a little bit further back, not get picked off. So one of their members dropped. You see Crusade, they're knocked out of mech. Now you're going to see Austria pushing on forward. You see Wat 7, he's been very aggressive with that Winston today. It's something Reinforced talked about on the desk. Maybe he brings that Winston out, makes an impact. He has definitely had a good start to this match.
Yeah, initially picked up as a Reinhardt player for Team Dignitas. He's obviously had no problems transitioning over to the more aggressive role. And, okay, so Vizildi went for their Dragon Blade. We didn't see it because we were watching What 7 just pummeling the heck out of Dante, but Vizildi got nothing from it. And that's the problem with Dragon Blade at the moment, where you're not running an Ana. It can be very, very hard to cut through some of the front lines here of your opponents when there's not a nano boost or something else to assist you in getting those kills.
Yeah, it's very difficult now. I mean, when obviously you have the Transcendence or the Sound Barrier up to get anything with the Dragon Blade. And you see Jonah, he's going to hop in, just trying to contest the payload here. The Sound Barrier comes in from Netherlands as well. And now it's going to be Icky using the tack visor, just trying to find anything. He's going to find Dante all the way in the back, not able to finish him off, but backs him up just enough. And here comes the Primal Rage.
self-destruct over on the point there. Quick resuit from Crusade. He's going to get back in his mech. Visibility is over the point there, but he's not close to another ultimate. Too Easy's pulse bomb could be big here. He gets the D-suit on Sensonic, so no risk of that getting eaten up. In fact, Too Easy just goes with the pulse pistols and finds Uber Bingo, and the Netherlands do recover at just the right time. This is annoying to play from this position as Austria. I think we always say it just before the second point on escort maps. It's painful to try and push through because the walking distance is just so damn long.
And you remember yesterday in their first match of the Netherlands against Poland, Poland was able to take that first point. They took the second one right away, and then once Netherlands got a good hold, they were able to just stop them from completing the map. So right now, it's kind of reminding me of that game where Netherlands is getting these good holds, building up ults, may stop Austria right in their tracks.
And once they set their feet, they seem to be good, but Too Easy, they double the pulse bomb. Both supports have fallen. Perfect opening to the fight for the Netherlands, and this is going to take all of the bite away from Austria. Only the bark, and even that is starting to be silenced as they are cleared off the payload. Perfect opening for Too Easy. You literally can't get too much better without a Graviton than two supports killed with a pulse bomb. Lovely.
This next fight, though, is huge for Austria. I mean, you see they have a pulse bomb of their own. They have a sound barrier in the Primal Rage. The side of the Netherlands, they have nothing right now. They need to win this fight, Austria. They got to advance the payload to that final stage. They have a great opportunity to do it with a lot of ults in their favor.
And this may well be their last chance to do so as well, Matt. Given the distance as well to the payload, Austria now, it's now whatever, and it's a perfect opening for them. Quite fortuitous timing even, but they need to execute this fight correctly. Kabaji will be lurking with a pulse bomb here. He's no Too Easy, but doesn't necessarily want to take him head-to-head right now.
We'll see what he gets with this pulse bomb. Right now, it just seems like he's surveying for information, but Watt7's able to take out Dante in the back. That's a huge kill into one of the supports. Netherlands players are falling like crazy here as Kabaji gets that little extra barrier from the sound barrier. It's going to be Austria wiping through the Netherlands. They should be able to advance the payload, unlock that final stage.
And for Netherlands, this isn't too concerning right now.
No.
Mortar had a sound barrier come online about midway through that fight after we lost 3 players, and he said, look, we could use it here to try and stagger and stall and make something happen, but instead I'm going to save it and make sure that Austria can't snowball off the back of that second checkpoint. That's going to give the Netherlands a very important opportunity to set up and get ready to prevent Austria multiple times. They've only got 1 minute and 20 seconds left, Matt.
Yeah, but Kabaji does hold on to the pulse bomb as well. It's a lot of pressure on Dante. Gonna back him up a little bit. Facility, though, able to take out Zero. See, though, Kabaji needs to make this pulse bomb worth it.
A trade out, at least, for the Genji there. And now Too Easy also is going to trade himself out for Uber Bingo. He's taken down by arguably his own pulse bomb there. A little bit overextension from the flanking defenders from Netherlands, but they still managed to keep most of their front line back towards this corner, which is definitely going to cause Austria to take some pause for thought. They still can't barrel in.
Well, look at Austria's ultimates right now. I mean, you have the pulse bomb. Here comes the Diva ultimate from the side of the Netherlands, and it looks like a few players get caught, and it's going to be Icky falling, and he had the tack visor as well. That's a huge first pick. You see the Dragon Blade coming out for a facility. We'll see if he can get anything with it. There's going to be one searching for more, but look how far Austria is backed up. Just trying to stay alive here, Mitch. They don't want to get staggered out.
Yeah, it looks like they probably will, at least to a degree. Icky now respawning back in. I want to point out there as well, Icky would not have died to that self-destruct if Jonah had not landed on him with the rocket boost and actually knocked him back into the blast zone. That's quite frustrating for Austria, and for Netherlands, that's just a little piece of some very good coordination.
Oh, look at this. The Netherlands are going to be very aggressive. They use the Transcendence. They push all the way on forward. Austria cannot get anywhere near the point. No use of their ultimates at the beginning. Kabaji just trying to stay alive with Sensonics. Sensonics drops that Diva ultimate on the point. Kabaji solo, using the recall, just trying to stay up. Hiding behind the payload here. He's going to have to back out. The overtime bar is moving downward, though. Kabaji getting some help. Here comes Watt7, though, with Primal Rage. The sound barrier as well from Austria trying to extend this game.
Yeah, Austria playing with a 5-man roster right now, but it's not been too bad. Dante finds Itzeru, though, with a self-destruct in through the back. There's a bubble there that's going to defend Austria from a lot of the blast damage. Crusade, though, what a key part of this fight. He's up on his feet. He's giving Visibility the space to get these kills, as is Too Easy now. Overtime is there, but Sensonics is not long for this world. He's going to be cut up in a nice, manageable package. And the Netherlands do put a halt to the run of Austria before that third point. And Matt, these kind of maps, we see this very often. The goal is not necessarily to stop your enemy team in their tracks on the first point or the second point. It's a bonus if you do, but the best thing you can do is to make it very, very costly for the enemy team to advance and stop them at that last point. There's a big defender's advantage there. It can be frustrating to try and flank them properly or get them out of position. And that's where many teams, much like on maps of Route 66, for example, put up their big stand as defenders.
Yeah, and I mean, trying to get this last point on Nubani proves to be very difficult, especially when you're trying to get through that small choke. You're trying to, maybe you send guys up top, but then you're kind of split off, and then you got to work your way back towards the payload. proves to be very difficult. I actually think, to be honest, from the game we saw yesterday with Austria, right, and we watched a lot of the Netherlands game, it's like almost weird. Like you would say, like, oh yeah, you know, one team had a great half, one team had a bad half. Like I would say that was actually pretty decent from both teams, right? Netherlands gets a hold. Austria, they show some improvement from yesterday where they're able to take that first point and advance the payload reasonably far.
Yeah, and I'd say, look, you know, probably one of the biggest things that people are wondering looking at this matchup is how, if a skill gulf exists between the two teams, how big is it? A lot of people expected Netherlands to be the hot favourites coming into this match, and I think, again, the Netherlands, much like yesterday, have repeated a performance where they've been able to find their feet on that last point of the map. Teams have not been able to undo them. However, it didn't take Austria too long to take that first point. The Netherlands did a very, very good job of just making sure the transactions in terms of, you know, distance for damage were in their favor as much as possible.
Yeah, I feel like when you watch like South Korea, Russia, or even Canada, right, they're like these explosive teams, right? They just make these highlight plays. I feel like the Netherlands is like just a very rock-solid team. Like they're never going to have those like superstar crazy explosive plays. They just play rock-solid. They're very structured Overwatch.
Yeah, we heard Too Easy even mention, and this is comes from Too Easy, this is incredibly high praise, saying that Vizildi may well be the best player on the Netherlands roster on this Genji. We've already seen him be highly impactful in a couple of fights. Again, the unassisted Dragon Blade is always going to struggle to find its mark, but he's been very, very solid. I'm interested to see how he navigates his first point. He's going to be going for the dive in, followed up by Jonah and Crusade here, but needs to be very careful of what's 7, respect the damage.
Yeah, it looks like just poking for damage now. Just trying to get a view on where all the members of Austria is, but that's a big first pick. Too Easy, trying to get up to that high ground. Icky is able to take him out. It's going to force Netherlands to back all the way up.
And look, the hallmark of a team that's paying a lot of attention, is listening to each other, is that they can flip the switch as soon as they have that man advantage. We talked about it yesterday a lot, Matt. Having the first pick in a fight is more important than having an ultimate advantage. So when you know you're in a position to exacerbate that further in your favor, it's important to go as quickly as you can.
Yeah, now you're seeing Austria. I mean, look, they talked a lot about the Widowmaker as a secret weapon. We have not seen it this far. They look a lot more comfortable playing without it right now. Icky's playing pretty good on the 76, but here comes the dive from the Netherlands.
Yeah, Vizildi trying to find his target there. Itsuru's still caught up on the high ground for a little bit too long, but he's managed to get back to the safety of his D.Va though. Sensodic's protecting. Now Austria can actually come back on towards this point. I like this. Give a bit of ground, then come back. We saw it yesterday as well. But Vizildi now is going to come forward. The Dragon Blade could be pretty nasty. He's going to find the targets, but Itsu shuts him down. It's a Cossack kick right to the breadbasket.
He saw how much damage he got with that reflect, and as soon as the blade came up, he just saw 3 targets in front of him. He's like, I'm going to cut them all up. And he goes right in. The tack visor comes out from Icky, a boot to the face from Itsuru, and it takes him out. And that actually ends up, I don't want to say losing the fight for the Netherlands, but it kind of all goes downhill from there.
This is something that I think that South Korea did very, very well yesterday when we covered that match is, giving ground, getting off the point, making sure that, if you're Zenyatta's up on the high ground to start with, you can usher him back to the back line of your team, get him under the protection of your D.Va, and then slowly advance back to the point as defenders. Knowing how to give ground and then take it back is more important than getting in the enemy's face and making the first move as defenders. Oh, that's nasty. Too Easy picks Bingo off across the map.
Yeah, dodges the pulse bomb as well. He's got a 1v1 on this side of the map against Kabaji. He's going to back all the way up. Does not want to take that fight as his teammates are fighting on some points. To be Watt7, propping that primal rage, just knocking players around, trying to stall this out. But Morta comes in with the sound barrier, trying to keep everybody from the Netherlands up.
The cracks are starting to appear here of the armor of the Netherlands so far. Not so much success on the attack here. And let's remind you of the stakes. A minute 40 remains for these attackers, and if they're unsuccessful, they're going to lose the entire map, and that's not how the boys in orange would like to start off this campaign against the Austrians. It's a solid hold so far. There's a sound barrier here for Austria. Morta and Dante do not have their ultimates available. Those defensive ultimates aren't going to be a factor for the Netherlands, so the odds of them winning these fights are exceedingly low.
You will have Vizildi with the Dragon Blade, though, so maybe this time he gets a better use of it. The last time we saw him dive in was Icky and Itsuru, did a nice job handling him. He gets him a Discord Orb from Zenyatta, still pushing on forward. They get to Zenyatta, that's a big pick.
Yeah, one thing Vizildi did better this time was actually make sure he shut down Itsuru before he could get back onto the point. Now, he's going to move back with the rest of the Netherlands. They're going to stand up, they're going to post themselves here. Sensonic's moving forward, and Uberbingo's kind of caught out. Kabaji's being forced at the back. You're a flanker, but you're in your own backline. That's not where you want to be. Jonah and Too Easy combining for 4 collectively, and the Netherlands will win that fight despite being at a considerable ult disadvantage.
It got dangerous there for the Netherlands a little bit. You see it's going to be Vizildi pushing up, trying to get some of these players off spawn. You see Uberbingo with Watt7 trying to get all the way back. towards their teammates who are spawning a little bit further out. Gonna get together, come fight this next fight as a team. They do have, they're gonna have a pulse bomb, they're gonna have the D.Va ultimate, the bomb, and then you're also going to have Icky with the tac visor as well. So they have some ultimates here going into the next fight. But Facility still has not used this Dragon Blade, waiting for that perfect time.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay for him waiting for a couple of ultimates. The self-destruct's not going to dictate to the positioning, an opportunity for Facility to get under the skin of Austria. So far, he hasn't been successful in this. Crusade's still forced to hold the front line, and too easy. You can see him trying to flank around the corner. A self-destruct coming in from Austria now will force the Netherlands back, but just for a moment. It's a breath of fresh air. Now to come forward again. A 1-for-1 trade, but Crusade finds Icky.
And now the Dragon Blade comes in with the Transcendence, trying to keep him up. D.Va, she'll be demexed shortly as Sensonic now trying to fly through the air, trying to stay alive. Watt 7 with Primal Rage, he's going to fall as well. It'll be Netherlands winning this fight. And look, they're letting Uber Bingo stay alive a little bit longer. Now he's going to be a little bit slower to come off the spawn.
That's a good example of the role of Genji right now when it's hard for him to find kills without being backed up by Ana. Just get damage done. Facility used all of his Dragon Blade on getting Sensonics desuited because the Netherlands correctly identified that that was the priority target. Get rid of that defense matrix and they could snowball the rest of the fight.
Well, defense matrix is so big, right? If you have the opportunity, we see a lot of Tracers. They'll try and demech D.Va or the Genjis, obviously, with the Blade. 2 AC in the back line, throws a pulse bomb on the ground. Not going to get anything with that. Put a lot of pressure on Uber Bingo, though, getting him a little bit pushed up further than he would have liked. And the sound barrier comes in for Netherlands. Jonah just trying to stay up. Too easy. Takes out Icky in the back line, so that's going to be a big kill there for the Netherlands.
Far too much free reign from Too Easy in that fight for Austria's liking. He was sitting up behind him. We saw him there. He was able to do exactly what he wanted, and now he can clean this fight up. Tracer can clean up fights, but you don't want her to be able to do that from the very beginning. That's not ideal at all. Second checkpoint picked up for the Netherlands now. You can see that's the yellow box of victory here. This is very dangerous for Austria. The Netherlands can push a little bit ahead of their position right now and prevent Austria from even getting access to one last fight to stop the Netherlands.
And I love that decision from the Netherlands. Instead of just playing a little bit more passive in that choke, they're going to push a little bit on forward. Just trying to put some more pressure, maybe force Austria in a position they don't want to be in.
Now the jump in, you see Jonah going forward very quickly. Vasily, the Dragon Blade was there, but he's not found anything yet. Uber Bingo goes down. Now back in to deal with the front line of Austria. They've already had the soft core of them gutted from them, shucked like an oyster, as it were. And it looks like the Dutch are going to come clutch in this fight now. Comfortable cleanups for all and sundry. And the payloader's going to roll forward. And that's going to do the job there. A shaky start from the Dutch. But they recover nicely in the last stages of this map. It's 1-0.
Such a nice decision there at the end from the Netherlands to push on forward. No, you saw Austria. They did not push on forward. They got kind of stalled out underneath the bridge. Netherlands, they push on through before even thinking about moving the payload. Gives themselves some more space to operate. Then goes back, works towards the payload, brings it in easy.
There's temptation if you're Austria. You're running from spawn. You want to try and get to the yellow box of victory as fast as you possibly can. And what that does, it actually causes Austria to willingly split themselves a little bit. They did try to flank a couple players around that building. And the Netherlands identified this immediately. We saw Jonah jump in on half of the pincer of the Austrian team as they emerged. So essentially the Dutch have caught Austria mid-step before they've set up for the fight, before they've got all their elements in place. And it was rather easy. The divide and conquer strategy still works today.
Yeah, I mean, when those games are coming down to the wire like that, it's such a tense situation, right? The tanks are in the front. They're thinking about that payload, right? Just getting towards the golden box. They're not really kind of worried about everything else. Like, they're just diving forward, just trying to get on the point. I believe it was Facility going all the way through the back with a Dragon Blade. He's able to get 1 or 2 kills with it. And then the tanks, I mean, you're just on the payload, just trying to stay alive. I mean, you don't have any support because they're not coming anymore. You just have players attacking you from the front, attacking you from the back. Just puts you in a tough spot.
Yeah, I mean, that's the worst thing that can happen if you're being subjected to a dive when you're not ready for it, or when you can't call it, or when you can't say, we need to peel for our backline, because that's what happened in that fight. It was good target calling from the Netherlands, because I believe it was a Zenyatta, a Lucio, and a Soldier 76 were the first 3 to die in that fight for Austria. You've lost your healing, you've lost the majority of your damage, and now the Netherlands just turned onto the front line and said, well, here we go. Austria, okay, so they tried to reactively dive in as well, but this can happen. Their comp was split in half. Their team was literally split over 2 halves of that area. So it's never really a great way to make a fight that you must win in those scenarios.
Yeah, and I think overall from the Netherlands offense, I think, Too Easy, you see him on your screen here. I think Austria just gave him way too much space to operate. I mean, how many times do we jump on with Too Easy? And you see him just putting a lot of damage in the Lucio, in the Zenyatta, even the 76. And there's nobody there to really kind of peel back, help those guys deal with the Tracer play.
Yeah, that was an interesting point. Before that second checkpoint, we were on board with Too Easy. And we noticed that because the sound barrier was in effect, Austria didn't really bother to turn around and deal with Too Easy at the time. They said, we've actually got a bit of a health buffer here, this is fine. But then when that expired, they were so preoccupied dealing with the targets they were already focusing that Too Easy's like, I'll take you, I'll take you, I'll take you.
Yeah, I mean, they never, once the sound barrier wears off, right? You can do it while the sound barrier is active, But then once the sound barrier wears off, you got to turn around and deal with Too Easy. You can't let him just pick everybody apart.
And that's Overwatch in a nutshell. Your priorities are constantly being shuffled, and that's why calling in this game is so important, because you need to constantly reassess and inform your teammates of the priorities as they change. The flow of the game is incredibly dynamic. You need to be on top of it.
Well, that's like the conversation we were having before this match even started. We were like, oh, well, do you really need like an in-game strategist or somebody that just kind of like shot calls? And I feel like, just calling out targets is just so much more important. Like, if you have, very talented mechanical players, you're able to call out targets well and have good team coordination to jump on them, you're going to be a very successful team.
I would agree with that, Matt. We're going to be on to Lijiang Tower here, Night Market. It's 1-0 so far in the series, but Austria have started very well. Kabaji turning on towards Dante, and Too Easy getting nothing done with his first foray into the flanks.
So exactly what we didn't like about Austria's first part on Numbani, where they didn't peel, trying to deal with Too Easy. You saw a perfect example there. He dives in, goes for the Zenyatta, and you had Jonah and Crusade able to turn, it was actually, sorry, it's Watts 7 and Sensonic able to turn around and pick him up.
That was Iki and Yaki on the Widowmaker there. Standing on the point, makes himself very subject to dives. He is picked up pretty quickly. The Netherlands have been able to quickly do their way back on towards this point. Kabaji, his recall's forced out, which means he needs to run back to the rest of his team. Look how split he was. You can see Austria through the wireframe. Kabaji was on his own against the entirety of the Netherlands, while Austria had already backpedaled considerably.
Yeah, and I don't know if I really love the Widow pick off the start here as well. I mean, now you're going to get the 76, but with the way that the Netherlands is playing, they're being so aggressive, I don't really know what you were going to get with that Widowmaker.
Again, if you don't have control of the point, there's a case to be made for it. When you do have the point, you need to stand on the point quite often, or at least have some protection from your team. You literally force your team to split to protect you. Too Easy goes very low, and Watts 7 finds him though. He tried to get back to the solace and healing of Morte, but it wasn't enough. Now the sound barrier for Netherlands, and Vizildi almost has his Dragon Blade. One more tick and he'll be there.
He doesn't even need it for this fight, Mitch. You see the players falling from Austria. Kabaji does earn his pulse bomb, not going to use it. You saw Too Easy at the beginning use his pulse bomb, just went right into the defense matrix, but that doesn't really matter. It's a great fight there from the Netherlands. They hold on to the Primal Rage. They hold on to the Dragon Blade for this next fight coming up.
Yeah, quick couple kills for Austria, though. It looks like they're going to try and push or force the issue. And this has actually forced the Transcendence out from Dante. He's thinking, we're in control. We just lost a couple players. We need to cover our weaknesses for now. Vizildi, he springs forth at just when he's required. 2 kills coming from him. Crusade found Watts 7 with a nicely placed self-destruct. Vizildi needs to play this carefully, and he does. That's nicely done. Discord orbs were perfect there as well. The backup from Dante was evident.
Yeah, perfect use of the Dragon Blade and the self-destruct there, and I feel so bad for Itsuru, right? He's on the point, and he's just got, the reflecting Genji in front of him. You have such low health, you don't really have many options but to die there.
Zenyatta does a lot of damage, but has very little health. So your orbs can be very lethal to yourself if they're being reflected. Like, it's not a fun situation to be in. Transcendence from Austria. They're using it just to try and get some ground here, but Too Easy taken down by Iki. Nice work with the Helix Rocket to claim the Dutch Tracer. Now it's a 5v6 scenario favoring Austria, and they're going to make it work for them here. They found 4 kills. The sound barrier, though, was also committed in this fight. That's a huge commitment of resources, but for Austria, it was a necessity.
Yeah, you do have the tack visor as well, and it will be Austria taking the point here. It's going to back the Netherlands up. The Netherlands, though, very close, Mitch, to closing out this game, 97%. Too Easy does have the pulse bomb. See if he can get something with it. Last time we saw him use it, threw it right into the defense matrix. Maybe he can make a play here coming around the backside of the point.
Too Easy, again, it's just poking and prodding right now. We're just trying to find a couple of the weaknesses here in Austria. If he can get onto an easy target like a Zen on the back, he's trying to force his way through the defense matrix and drop a pulse bomb. It doesn't look like it connected, but Vizildi, you better believe he did. Uberbingo drops, Iki's down. So many important targets being claimed by Vizildi's Dragon Blade. This man, he's been talked up a lot by Too Easy, and now we can see why.
Oh, and he pops the Dragon Blade. He's able to take out Iki on the 76. The self-destruct comes in from the side of Austria. He just plays right around that corner. He's able to get some Sonics when he's out of the mech. Comes on through. A few to the face for Kabaji, and this is not looking good for Austria.
Vizildi just needs to be connecting all of his shurikens as well. That was quite nicely done at long range with a right click. It's actually quite hard to get much damage done. Sensonics is purely just stalling out here. It's a matter of time, and on this day, Austria realized the streets is real. 1-0 here on Lijiang Tower.
No, you never want to take Golden Boy lines. Anybody but Golden Boy. He's been saying the streets is real.
I thought it
30 times a day.
Streets is real though, man.
I've just blocked it out completely. But I heard it from your voice, and it just sounded vastly different, so I paid attention that time.
I tried to give it a little bit more.
I regret it as well. Yeah, that was a good attempt.
You shouldn't listen to me, you know that, right?
I mean, I try. I mean, that's kind of my job to listen to you.
Jeez, that must be painful. I'm sorry.
That's pretty good. It's pretty good.
So, it's 1-0. Obviously, this is the best of 3, ladies and gentlemen. So, already Austria found themselves on the precipice of giving up a second map here. And on virtue of just how much they've been able to match Netherlands in a lot of aspects, not all, but most, they wouldn't want to give this one up so cheaply.
Yeah, I mean, this is a series where, look, Austria, I mean, you obviously say Netherlands is the favorite. They've looked much better than they did yesterday. Obviously, going against South Korea, it's going to be extremely tough for anybody, but we'll see if Austria can get anything with the Widowmaker off the rip here. Next with a shot. Too easy trying to play out. I mean, here's the difficult part, right?
Let it die. This Widowmaker stuff, please.
Well, because now you're split off for the rest of your team, right? And it forces players back to try and help you, but you know, it just puts your team in a very difficult position because you're so spread out.
Yeah, I mean, what Iki did there, though, as well, he did force the Netherlands to drive on it. But look at Jonah now. Last man standing in the fight. I believe he found like 3 or 4 kills there. So, I mean, it's not... Look, this team doesn't live or die in the back of the Widowmaker pick. It's not like necessarily a problem, right? Iki, if he's set up well, especially if they have control of the point, he can do so much with Widowmaker.
I was just about to say that. If they had control of the point, he would probably be able to cause a lot of damage. But actually trying to push in, get control of the point. Look, I mean, if they just put a little pressure on this corner, right, and don't let him get in position, he's really a non-factor in these fights.
I feel like that's true, especially if he eats a volley of Orbs of Destruction coming from Dante, which is the player is known to do. Iki has to be very, very careful. He can't pick properly on it. What's the point? He's about to. He's walked straight in there. That's a good opening. That might be all he needs to do, and he knows it. He's going to back up.
Yeah, he can pick off too easy as the Tracer. That is a big kill. May open things up for Austria, but now the push needs to come in. It's going to be Crusade getting demeched here by Kabaji. Kabaji's going to finish him off. Dante trying to stay alive. Going to use that Tranquility on the point. I believe it's just him and Mort right now. The Pulse Bomb comes in. It's going to be just eaten up there by the Primal Rage. Winston just staying alive there for the Netherlands.
Yeah, that Pulse Bomb still could have been nasty, actually, because the Transcendence, well, can't really heal through Pulse Bomb damage. It's burst, but no one else from the Netherlands was caught by that. It was 2 supports and a Winston, and they managed to hold the point against the onslaught of the Austrians, and they're getting percentage every second as a result.
Yeah, the longer the Netherlands stalls this out, the better. Kabaji's going to be able to pick up one more on the point. But Austria, for all the good they have done, they do not have control of the point. It's going to be Crusade dropping that self-destruct inside of the point. Mortek, Crusade, Jonah off the spawn. They're getting back here, trying to make this a fight that the Netherlands turns in their favor.
Kabaji's second Pulse Bomb over the course of this fight, and this time he's hit pay dirt with it. At least getting rid of Jonah, who's been such a threat to him, especially now. Netherlands move up the point. They leave Sensonics there for whatever reason. They're still trying to keep the rest of Austria away from being able to contest this, but Kabaji comes back in. Now the man's starting to find his feet a little bit more, but more! It's a double boot pop, it's through an Iki off the edge. That's gotta hurt. It happened off camera, but you don't really need to see it to know exactly how painful that is for Austria.
You can just imagine Kabaji's on the point. He's got 2 Pulse Bombs during that fight, putting down tons of damage. It's like, where's my teammates? Where's my teammates? Mort boots him off the side of the map. They never make it back to help. And look at this. The Netherlands has pushed so far forward that Austria is not even going to get back towards the point. It'll be Netherlands taking map number 2.
Grim scenes. Safe to say for the Austrians right now, the Netherlands are looking well drilled. That's the most important part here for them. After their performance yesterday, they definitely had to go from strength to strength, especially considering that their final opponent in the regular group stage will be South Korea. They're going to build up to that game and get the experience they need before they have a chance at least to try and see if gods really do bleed. 2-0 so far, Matt. Can't really complain about that if you're in the Netherlands position. We're going to head to a break as we're in half-time, and when we return, it will be all about Golden Boy and the desk to break down what we've seen so far.
Always remember that power is a double-edged blade. One side light, the other dark. It calls to you when you are most desperate. When victory seems worth any sacrifice. There is a price to be paid for such a gift. And many eagerly accept the bargain. The righteous and the meek may recoil at its cost. But they have no vision. Alone is not to be feared. Fear instead those who wield it.
The Overwatch World Cup 2017 is brought to you by Omen by HP, T-Mobile, and Blizzard Entertainment.
Welcome back, everyone, here for the halftime show between Austria and the Netherlands. The Netherlands up 2-0 after a dominating performance in Lijiang Tower. So not bad for the Dutch here, as they have a pretty good start. So
Yeah. Well, I was rooting for Austria here, so
Yeah.
way to rub it in.
Yeah.
I'm a bit confused if I generally look at the way Austria has been approaching that game. They've not really been coming together, not really playing as a unit. I felt like they got split up so often by the Netherlands, allowing Too Easy to just go in and pick one off after the other. So I felt like some sort of confusion in terms of positioning and like what generally is going on. It just didn't come together at all.
Yeah, well, they gave Too Easy a lot of room, but they didn't do a lot with it. I think Facility was a true danger of this Netherlands lineup here, and maybe what 7 should focus him a bit more. They're playing the soldier composition on the side of Austria, which is generally more passive, right? You're sitting back, you want your soldier to do work, you want to focus on the diva primarily. But what 7 needs to keep the Genji in mind and shut down Facility, because Facility got a lot of highlights throughout that game.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, James, Facility on Nubani was a beast. Like, he was just, I mean, to really put it lightly, he was doing everything that you could possibly want, right? And it was super impressive to see.
Yeah, before coming to the World Cup here, I was watching a lot of the Team Netherlands scrims, and he looked really impressive yesterday. He did falter a bit, but today he just turned that right back around. He was getting blades left and right. Initially, some of the blades were a bit hopeful, but then he brought it back around, and he was just able to get reset after reset coming on in. And yeah, I think the Netherlands are in a good spot right now, currently up 2-0, and they are looking in form.
I'm kind of just generally wondering, mostly on Lijiang, like what 7? He's been one of the players I definitely was watching out for on top of Kabachi for the Austrian team. However, I felt like the way what 7 is utilized on his Winston kind of made him a non-factor in literally every single team fight we saw there. I know Austria might have some issues like pulling off their strat, which they want to do, because they do not have a Genji player, right? And the way they're playing around the Winston and their diva, it's just, it doesn't seem to work out.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty big problem. They're playing around Icky, and I think playing around Icky is fine, especially if he brings out that Widowmaker. But now it's on the Soldier 76. I think that Kabaji should help out his team more. We've seen him go for the flanks a bit more in the supports of Netherlands, but Morte has really been phenomenal in protecting Dante from Kabaji's Tracer. So he's done a really good job. And I think Kabaji needs to change up his playstyle a bit more. He needs to focus on the diva to make it easier for Austria to focus on the diva and also focus down Facility on the Genji.
Yeah, they're having a hard time shutting that down, and it was very evident in that Lijiang Tower game. So now we look forward to Game 3 here, and what are we feeling here? Are we thinking that that the Austrian team is going to take it to Horizon, or
I think so, yeah.
Yeah?
I would say they are going to Horizon.
Yeah, I would be surprised if they didn't, honestly, even though they did pick Volskaya against South Korea yesterday. So anything is possible.
I would like to see the Sombra pick again from Austria. I mean, it's very exciting to see the Sombra, and they've been one of the few teams that have actually pulled it out. So I would like to see Volskaya, but I'm not gonna vote for it. I'm not gonna vote for it. This is not an official vote for it.
This is
It's just it's a suggestion, not a...
This is not my final bet.
So if you have to vote, what do you pick?
Don't ask me. Don't put pressure on me, Golden Boy.
Too late.
Yeah.
You already
It's hard.
I know, right? Like,
it's just happened.
James,
I'm not a betting man.
You're not, clearly. James, your perspective on this. Could we see the Netherlands be, taken to a Horizon here? Would that be smart against this team?
I feel like Austria is more than likely going to go to Volskaya. It is a map where you can bring out both the Widowmaker and that Sombra play. You can even use them in conjunction on attack. Defense, it's going to be much more difficult to run with the style that Austria has been playing. So I only want to see them use it on offense, but I don't really
but they
have
will
faith
use it
in
on
Lunar
defense too.
Horizon
That's
Colony.
the issue.
Yeah, I think that Austria might be comfortable picking the Volskaya Industries, but you have to be wary about Dante's Sombra as well. Dante really likes playing the Sombra, and it's actually quite a good one, despite not having the full confidence of his team.
They really didn't.
No,
they didn't.
Well, Dante played for Movistar Riders, or ex-Movistar Riders, before that lineup broke up, and Neptuno was the main Sombra in that team, so Dante really didn't have time to show off his Sombra play, but he's really confident, and he is a really good Sombra player. So if they were to go to Volskaya Industries here on Austria, I think that Dante could be a real threat. Yeah, it's going to be rough. I'm going to go with Lunar Horizon Colony anyway, because I think it will suit Austria better.
Yeah, but James isn't wrong. Like, it does make sense.
There is no right and wrong here.
No, James isn't wrong in that, like, for them to, because they obviously want Icky on the Widow, you know, so they,
yeah,
and
but
they busted it on Li Zhang.
Icky would pick the Widow no matter where they go.
That's true.
That's just
That is true. When you go full Widow.
And we've seen good Widow
Widow
plays on Horizon also. So it can be a game changer on Horizon.
And we also
just as
saw
much
good
as
Sombra
Volskaya.
play on Horizon. It just happens to be that, like, that person
yesterday Sombra that was from Netherlands, right? Like aggressive defensive dive with Sombra, like that was the Netherlands yesterday.
You don't want to go versus that, but
you really don't after what happened there at that spawn point.
Well, it's pretty easy to play around if you know what's up, right? But Poland
do they
definitely
know that the
didn't
streets
know.
is real?
If you know the streets is real, you know how to play around it. No, but I think if you saw the Netherlands game yesterday.
Well, yeah. Well, for one, I mean, I don't care about Matt's feelings, and also, you know, Uber over here stealing my lines. Like, yeah, homie don't like that.
I don't blame
him.
you.
Homie don't play that. It's basically what I'm trying to get at here.
Look at that hair.
That honestly, Jonah's hair.
It's good.
I truly wish I could grow hair. Like
right.
that, like you know, because if I do it just becomes like this disaster. You know, my wife makes me cut it like all the time.
Wink.
Yeah, they
love the camera.
Yeah, he really does.
He winked.
He's a wink. He's a winker.
Play it. You got to play it. I mean,
gotta play
it's
it
an asset.
It's like a look at James' hair. Yeah, James, you have this, you know, these flowing locks. You know, reinforced over here.
Hey.
You know, AKA Taimu. You know,
to that one guy on Reddit, I'm not Taimu. I want to make that very clear.
Very clear. Very clear.
Potato. Come on now.
No,
I've had a lot of potatoes.
not at all. Like, one's DPS, one's tank. One's like 8 feet tall. The other one not. You know.
The camera is just confusing people.
One's Finnish, one's Swedish. Like it's you know like. It's just,
I do watch it.
Don't wave me off. How dare you? Oh, my goodness. Yeah, so just to clarify for that one guy on Reddit.
It's really important.
It's Taimu.
Yeah.
So he's so confused now.
I wish I could pop heads like Taimu on Widowmaker.
That's very true.
Yeah.
That's very true.
He's very
I'm sure
strong.
Icky's
going to need a channel.
He wants that as well. Because it wasn't working out on Li Zhang.
Well, one day.
Come
on, he got on Li Zhang the first pickup he got onto the too easy. That could have been a fantastic opening.
Going into this series, I sugar-coated Austria, but Netherlands caramelized that, so I wouldn't recommend it, Zoe.
I'm trying to silver linings here. I'm grasping for things, so I hope Austria.
Grasping for straws. So
anything.
Yeah.
Anything which is in reach, I'm grasping it now.
All right, guys. Well, it's time to get into the matchup here. Hopefully, Uber doesn't steal any more of my lines because I know the swag is real. But in any case, though, we're going to send it over to Uber and Mr. X.
You know, Golden Boy, I'm not going to lie, I'll own that. I definitely did steal your line. The difference between you and me, though, is that I make this look good. Sorry. Netherlands and Austria. A couple more maps to run here, and Horizon Lunar Colony, I believe, is what has been queued up here between these two.
We'll see what Austria comes out and plays, if we see the Widow. Well, we were talking, the issue for them seems to be they just don't have a projectile player, right? And they don't have anybody who can, you know, mix it up, run the Genji, run something like a Pharah. So it'll be Horizon coming up next, and they'll like reinforce that, you know, expect to maybe see Dante on that Sombra. At least at the beginning, looks like that's what you might see.
All right, the defensive setup here for the Netherlands. Really nothing notable. Okay, so the Sombra Dante sort of, you know, situation there is like, he actually thinks that, you know, he's okay, maybe not great. A lot of his team is like, oh, look, you know, we don't want him to play it in scrims, or it always goes wrong or something like that. The guy is a sick flex support. He was on a team with another sick flex support, right? I don't think that's going to be the issue with the Netherlands here if Dante's playing Sombra or not. He's sick.
The easiest way to look good is to tell other people you're not going to be good and then come out and play decent, and then you're amazing.
player against a team that's running Widowmaker whenever they can. That's also a thing. To be fair, though, in this situation, I actually don't mind Widowmaker. The attacking team doesn't have the best sight lines at the top left balcony, though. That's the problem. Iki can't really aim up to the top left at all. So if the Netherlands know how to keep themselves scarce, it's going to be very, very hard for the Widow to find picks here.
Yeah, and also, I mean, if you get that Widowmaker ultimate, it keeps you, on track of Sombra a little bit more, right?
Absolutely. She can't hide from you at all.
So I think maybe you see them stick on the Widow a little bit longer than we have, but I also really liked Iki on the 76. Like you've seen when Austria is at their best, they're most successful, it's when he's playing that Soldier 76.
And look, it's a weakness for Austria that they do not have a projectile player, but that in the current meta right now is something you can get around. I don't mind a Widow here, but look, Iki, if he wants to go up on high ground, he won't be able to see around that corner. So he's literally got to sit and try and hope that someone peeks out and faces him. So far, the Netherlands have been caught up in close quarters, and Itzeroog's found a quick double. It was Crusade getting desuited and then getting taken down by the Orbs, but the Netherlands recover yet again.
Yeah, but you see the Netherlands are winning these fights fairly convincingly. It's because Austria is moving in. You have Iki just trying to play a little bit further back, maybe wait for some players that just kind of get low health, come around the corner, pick players off coming out of the door. But Netherlands, they're so disciplined. They play inside of that area. They don't give him any sight lines available for pickoffs. And he doesn't really get anything for the Widow. You see him switch over to the Reaper now. I like this pick a little bit more.
And no shade on Iki at all. It's totally fine to play Widowmaker to open this map up, especially if the team are up the top right, but they weren't. Now he's been hacked though as well. Still, you can do a Lions Reaper when you're hacked. Unfortunately, there's not much to stop the damage coming through. Get very little support. And the Netherlands open that fight pretty comfortably there with the EMP from Dante. Austria are forced to submit.
And you do like the Reaper pick here because when he does get EMP'd, obviously, you lose his abilities, but he just deals a ton of just brute damage.
He just can't get away, that's the problem.
Yeah, there's not really a way for him to escape. But at that point, you're already committing to the fight. When you're EMP'd, you're just kind of trying to run in through.
Exactly, he's not the most useful hero while EMP'd, I'd say. There might be some others, you could make a case for McCree, but either way, Transcendence by Maud, that's been forced by the fact that Dante's fallen early in the fight. The only pick from Austria was good. Essentially, it's forced the ultimate out, and Too Easy had no protection from Transcendence for the Pulse Bomb. Nothing could be done there. Kabaji's also found more. This fight is occurring out in the open field. It's difficult for the Netherlands to protect their backline. But now, Jonah and Facility are right together here in the low ground, at least trying to regroup, get a bit of health, and also giving a lot of ultimate percentage to Dante from this health pack.
Yeah, they're going to get healed up by Dante's health pack. You see Crusade using that just a little bit, but it's Kabaji able to take him out before he's able to get right back in his mech. And here comes the Transcendence from Itzeroog. He's going to use that to keep his teammates alive. The EMP comes through here from Dante, just trying to locate players, but his teammates are falling. It's all up to Dante. Get here on the point, just trying to stay alive for as long as possible. Well, not much longer than what we were talking about. Watt 7 picks it up. It'll be Austria taking point A.
Yeah, sorry, Dante. The tire swing is not made for you, my friend. And frustrating stuff for Crusade there. Now, normally, if you're desuited and resuiting up, you want Jonah to pop a bubble over you so you can actually, stay alive before you do that. The fact that he got burst down by Austria before he could get back in the suit made a huge difference in that fight because it would have meant that Iki would have struggled to do the damage. But then he had free reign pretty much after the fact, and the EMP was kind of wasted there, unfortunately.
Well, I think if you're going to switch maybe over to the Ana, then you just pop the EMP. Facility comes in with the Dragon Blade. Iki, though, able to get a pick onto Jonah, so you see him having success with the 76. The Blade comes through, though. It's going to be Facility able to get one. Been extremely impressed with his Genji play. Sensotix, he's going to get D-Max. Watt 7 going to back all the way up. Netherlands will take this fight.
Yeah, and guess what? There's no option for Sensotix here to end his life early, unfortunately.
He's stuck in a very difficult spot here, Mitch.
Yeah, I mean, he gets the D-suit here, so, this is something, but he'll get burst down just as quickly. So this stall is now going far longer than it should have. Sensotix really had no reason to resuit himself there. He probably should have just hung around. It's very, very hard to be sort of staggered out there as a diva. They've lost a lot of time as a result, too.
Now they're going to have to wait an eternity, it's going to feel like, for him to get back off the spawn there. It's a very smart play there from the Netherlands. Kabaji with the pulse pump. Maybe he can find a support all the way in the back. Now, on the side of the Netherlands, you only have that pulse bomb as well. It's going to be a Primal Rage coming up soon here for Jonah. So we'll see how Austria plans this attack.
Yeah, Too Easy's been flanking here as well. Got to keep an eye for that. Netherlands are playing on the high ground. They don't know what to let Austria get too close to the point. They're making them pay sorely for every meter that they gain pushing forward. And Austria get nothing in that fight. Completely decimated here. And the Netherlands didn't use any ultimates. That is so big. Austria tried to junk rush. It didn't work out. The Netherlands maintained their 5 ultimates. And Iki is back to the Widowmaker.
If there was one thing you wanted to do is maybe try and force a support ult out or force the Blade out, but you don't force anything out if you're Austria. Now Netherlands has everything to work with in this next fight. You have the Widowmaker again. And I don't know how you're going to use the Widowmaker here because you couldn't give 76 any space up top. Going to be much harder for the Widow. Maybe you just plan to play much further back. But that's not really going to help you get forward, take that point.
Now, it could be that the Austria are hoping to use Icky as a tasty morsel to bait a dive in from the Netherlands here. Dragon Maid for Facility. He's now going to get the nano boost. We don't see this often for him, and now he makes the most of it. So much damage coming through. Sensonic's going to get de-seated and picked up. Facility with an easy 3 in that fight. We see he has success even without nano boost in many fights where the Dragon Blade is required to be the equalizer. And well, he just gets so much more potential for decimation. But Dante backing him up with that ultimate.
You just see when you get that nano boost onto the Dragon Blade, the chaos it can cause. See 3 kills there for Facility. We'll see Morton does have that Transcendence, so if you see the Primal Rage or some picks start to go down for Austria, you'll see that support all come out. Crusade on the point, using that defense matrix, trying to keep his teammates alive. 2EC gets a pick there on Watt7, and it looks like Watt7's almost on the point alone. Like his teammates were there, and then like before he even fought, they backed all the way out.
That's why it's not even a pick, you know? Watt7 was... Okay, well, I don't really know, to be fair, because I would have liked to have seen Sensotics follow Watt7. I think Sensotics had to go back to the high ground to peel for his supports and backline because 2EC and Co were threatening them. And what happens there is that Watt7 doesn't exactly have a rewind button. He can't just go, I'm going to go back up on the high ground now. So Austria were caught again mid-step. It's something the Netherlands are very good at doing, is sort of interrupting and staggering their advance and finding targets that don't have the protection they normally would have.
So you try about 2 or 3 pushes if you're Austria with the Widow. Now you go back to the 76. You should have almost just stayed with the 76, right? Because now you don't have that ultimate build that you had earlier, so you may miss out on, what, 1 extra attack visor here, which could have been huge.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, I don't know what Icky was sitting on ultimate-wise when he switched, but Pulse Bomb's going to hurt, though, surely! It's a Falls, but Kabaji found one at the same time. Both teams claim enemy support with Pulse Bombs. Jonah and Kabaji now as well, still getting themselves on this kill feed. Watt7 goes low, drops the bubble. Great timing on that one, but Uberbingo was knocked through it. Jonah gets the Primal Rage, and this guy, anger management, definitely not a thing he's familiar with. Nicely done, though. And Netherlands again, deflect Austria. Maybe 1, maybe 2 more chances to go. Austria need to make the most of this sound barrier and Primal Rage of their own. Transcendence is there. That's going to be very, very important.
You can see Jonah when he was on the point, he was getting pretty weak, getting low, pops that Primal Rage, stays alive, helps wipe out the rest of the members of Austria. We'll see if the sound barrier from Uberbingo maybe use that to lead the push in. I think with the way that Austria hasn't really been able to create space up top, you almost have to use that sound barrier to almost initiate this next fight.
Yeah, and that's kind of annoying when you have to do it and not reactively sometimes because the enemy can disengage. But on this point, it's harder for the Netherlands to give too much ground. They need to stand and deliver. Nice little sleep dart going forward. Oh, Watt7 didn't make it to his target, unfortunately. He may be on the moon, but the home ground advantage is not present for him. Facility to the Dragon Blade. Icky's cut down. He got a little bit too close to the ramp at Genji. And the last chance for Austria seems to be fizzling out. Sensotics now, it's a shocking reception as soon as he's leapt from his suit. And a Primal Rage here for Watt7 now. It's just a stall, it's just a pleasantry, it's just a matter of formality, Matt. Overtime is done, and that is going to be the hold from the Netherlands. Only 1 checkpoint offered over to the Austrians.
Yeah, and you saw when Watt7 popped the Primal Rage, Jonah was on the point with the nano boost. Instead of standing there just kind of give damage to Watt7, he sees Kabaji just trying to mess with Dante on the left-hand side of the screen. He jumps right, forces him all the way back, keeps Dante alive, able to heal the rest of the members on the point. It's a smart play there from Jonah in the end as Netherlands gets a hold.
And remember, Winston's capable of offloading a lot of damage in a very short period of time. You land on a foe, you know the one, still got the scars. You land on a foe, a melee attack, and then start getting damage done. All of a sudden, you're bursting pretty hard. When you're nano boosted, of course, you're doing even extra damage. So, especially as a Tracer, maybe you've blinked, maybe you've taken some damage, maybe your recall's down. It can be very, very hard to respond to. So I'm talking about this. We talk about this so much, how the priority is always changing for teams like the Netherlands. Their target they need to go for often switches. And if Jonah himself can make that decision himself, he didn't ask anyone what to do. He made the correct call in that fight. And that's that individual game sense that Netherlands seem to be touting so much of.
Yeah, just great in-game sense on who to target, what to prioritize at the right time. The Netherlands, a very rock-solid team, may not have the explosion of, a combination like Shadowburn and Mistakes has on the side of Russia, or, Surefour with agilities on Canada, but just a very rock-solid team, definitely a threat. So we do see Kabaji, so I was going to actually ask you, if we just, last night we saw Singapore, they ran May Reaper, did not expect to see May Reaper, but you're actually going to see Kabaji opt to go away from the Tracer. They're going to go with the Reaper here, and they're actually going to bring in Ryan and Zarya as well.
This comp says a lot of things to me. Firstly, as well, Zarya doesn't operate very well when she's trying to interact with an enemy that's on a different level to her. What I mean by that is like higher or lower, for example. Your left click is limited in range and your right click can be a little bit hard to judge over those kind of differences in height. So this composition, Austria wants to stay on the point and not leave it. They've got the Reinhardt and the Zarya there. They've got the Reaper, of course, so they probably want to keep hidden for as long as possible. They want to force the Netherlands to come crashing in, and they just want to be this unstoppable force on the point to stop it from being captured.
And Too Easy, obviously motivated by Icky, Widowmaker. He's going to bring out the Widow of his own. And with that Ryan shield, yep, he's going to go right on back.
It's going to be a Tracer.
Pretty quick.
It's going to be a Tracer here for Too Easy. He sees the Reinhardt. He should be grinning from ear to ear now as well. This is a position where he can do a heck of a lot of damage, and we have seen the Tracer, also the Sombra as well, because don't forget, if you hack a Zarya, she's essentially useless. She can't get any extra damage from his shield. She can't shield anyone at all, and the Reinhardt has his shield completely removed when being hacked. So many susceptible targets here to Sombra.
Yeah, I was going to say, if Sombra could get a hack on Orion, I mean, he's just a standing meat shield, just waiting to just be pummeled down by Tracer. So we'll see who the target is of Sombra. So you see some damage coming in here at the beginning, just trying to back up Austria a little bit. Both teams just poking, trying to figure out the best course of attack. You see Too Easy, though, coming all the way around to that outside, trying to get a flank going.
Yeah, and not just Too Easy, but Dante. So they're behind Austria right now. So Netherlands are going for a two-pronged attack. Dante's here. Oh, he's hacked the Reinhardt. The shield's not going to be there. He also has an EMP. That's devastating. Everyone from Austria is caught in that one. There's no chance to even reach for their weapons, but they're fighting back well. Kabaji in 7. These guys can still do damage when hacked, and they have been doing so. Nano boost used on a Kabaji there, even during the EMP, so perhaps just maybe Itzaru avoided getting hacked in the first place. That's a nice little hold.
When I saw him hack the Rhine and pop the EMP, I was like, everyone's gonna die. I was like, it's gonna be so bad. And somehow they're able to just stay alive through it. You saw the nano boost come in on a Kabaji. No, actually, when Ryan gets hacked, I mean, and you're just kind of running into him, obviously the hammer extremely powerful.
Exactly.
And obviously you have Kabaji, you know, with the damage that Reaper puts out, and they're
still
able
fighting
to live through
close quarters. You're still fighting them on their home ground, essentially, right? So even without those abilities, they can spread a lot of that basic damage, I guess, that comes from their, their Mouse 1 abilities, and that's sufficient in that case.
Now you see the Dragon Blade come through, 4 facilities. Gonna get a lot of damage on the Reflect, but it's gonna force all the players of Austria into this back corner, and they're sustaining in these fights, Mitch, but the positioning is gonna get very scary one time. Now maybe Too Easy lands a big pulse bomb here.
Oh, on the front of the shield, he dropped the shield! Oh, I don't think that was what he intended at all. He took so much damage that Itzaru falls down. Ubabingo is going to be picked up straight afterwards, and Sensonics is forced to back off the point or offer his life. Either one is fine by the Netherlands. Austria, it's been an admirable hold thus far. This point will be captured as Kabaji is going to be running low on options here to avoid his ultimate demise. And now the Netherlands are on the road, they're on the board. They just need 1/3. 1/3 of this second point to take this map as well.
They have 5 minutes to do it. See, it's going to be Dante hacking these health packs, giving that extra health to his teammates. You're going to see Too Easy go back now to the Widowmaker as well. So a little bit of a change up.
Just really quickly there as well. If a Reinhardt shield gets stuck by a pulse bomb, I believe you can drop the shield and the pulse bomb drops to the ground and then you quickly put your shield back up. I think the timing was a little bit off there. What7 was a little bit slow on putting his shield back up. He didn't get taken down by it, but of course he lost his Adam.
You're going to see Morte, he's going to engage here with the sound barrier. Dante gets one, Crusade with another. Now they're going to work their way back towards the point, and EMP came in as well. Kabaji's able to take down 2. I feel like that's what we say in a lot of these fights. Kabaji is able to pick up some kills. Everybody else falls. Netherlands will take the point. They will take the 3rd map as well.
Austria in pretty much utter disarray when it came to that second point hold. It's insane how quickly they got divided and conquered, if I'm honest with you. The first point fight was where a heck of a lot of those ultimates for Austria were ultimately invested. Come by the second fight, they were not in position to receive, and that is something that the Netherlands keep doing. They're making the most of positioning errors on the side of Austria. They're very good at identifying players that are not where they should be and making an informed decision about where to make the first incision in the team composition of Austria to ultimately take them down. I've said ultimate about 72 times so far in these last few sentences. That's just the fact of the matter. It is the Netherlands making very, very good use of their prediction.
And Austria, I feel like, if they're going to be kind of bummed with that 3rd map, I really think it's that first point hold. They withstand that big EMP at the beginning. They're able to fight back, hold on to that first push. And then it just kind of falls apart. They just kept getting pushed back, and then there was nowhere to go. They were just trapped in that corner. And I feel like they had the right idea, just maybe not as aggressive. I mean, you saw, in the Poland-South Korea match, where Poland, when they would get a little bit aggressive, they would make things happen. I feel like if you are Austria, Kabaji, he's been doing a very nice job in this series, picking up some kills at the beginning of these fights. Maybe if you were a little bit more aggressive, you can swing things in your favor more.
Yeah, it can be tricky as well on that first point. I mean, Horizon Lunar Colony can be really difficult for defenders to play in general. The first reason being, of course, that first point, there are 3, even 4 ways to access that point from multiple height levels as well. So a defending team, if they want to fight on the point, they need to very much stay together. But in Overwatch, we always use the term zoning, sometimes ironically about ultimates that don't do any damage but just force people back. But in that case, you saw the Visility Dragon Blade force the entirety of Austria to the very back of the point. Then the Crusade self-destruct was thrown at the back of the point, so all of a sudden, What7 now has to turn his shield and put him and the rest of his team in the corner of the point. And then a pulse bomb is applied to the shield of What7. We saw what happened there, it all kind of messed up. So slowly, bit by bit, the Netherlands are just sectioning off parts of the point without a no-go zones for the Austrian team, despite the Austrians having a stronger close-quarters team in theory.
And it just puts the Austrian team in such a difficult position because, so many things are happening, right? You're pushed all the way back into the corner, and then you're basically forced to make a decision between 2 pretty bad choices, like at that point, right?
Exactly.
I mean, it's like, well,
Americans know all about that, I guess, so you can tell me, man.
Another time. There's only 1 map left. I don't have enough time right now.
True. Well, no USA yet. You'll be seeing them over in the Burbank stage, of course. Santa Monica it is now. It's going to be exciting. Chinese Taipei will also be representing, so that's just going to be a 6 stage in general. But this one is definitely far from done, and there's plenty of explosions and fireworks for us to witness here over the course of today. And tomorrow, Route 66, it's going to be the last map in this 4-map series. Netherlands looking to take it 4-0. This could be very strange in this group. 2 teams at 8-0, 2 teams at 0-8.
It's set up a very good match between Netherlands and South Korea tomorrow. And a little bit of a grunge match. Now Austria versus Poland. Playing for pride there, seeing who can take the most games. So we'll see. It'll be Austria on the attack first. They're just messing around their spawn right now. They don't have to get too serious for a little bit. They still got 30 seconds before they figure it out. One thing too, in the last Horizon Lunar Colony, when 2easy is with the Widowmaker at the beginning, and as soon as he sees the Rhine, he changes right away. It's like that's something where we've seen Austria. They'll see a comp that maybe doesn't suit their comp the best, and they'll just try it out to begin with, right? 2easy, they go back to the spawn, and Dante switches over to the Sombra, they switch him onto the Tracer, and immediately, instead of playing games, trying to make it work, they switch to a comp they know they can make effective against the Austrian setup.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about knowing the value of time and knowing that you don't have any time to lose, essentially. All right. The thunder sticks around, the crowd is behind it. Austria a chance to take themselves a map here. Now they're playing Iki on this Reaper again, so they're hoping for Netherlands to get aggressive on this dive, but Kabaji's picked up. Mort just peeks out from the corridor and claims him with a headshot.
And this is what we saw in Russia versus Singapore last night. You saw Russia play in this exact position that the Netherlands is in. They were able to get control of the health pack. Hey, he got caught on the train. It's okay. Happens, everybody. He's backing all the way up. He's going to have that help now, and we'll see. Maybe he can attack, from the top, gain himself a little bit, closer towards the tanks. That's really where you want to get him in position. See him trying to get down here. He's going to put a lot of shots into Jonah, back him up.
Nicely done. 2easy's claimed there by Iki, but it's traded out. Visility actually gets all the way into the back, finds it through, and then manages to dash back out. Dante is also there as well. So much flanking going on from the Netherlands right now, putting a lot of pressure on Austria to stay together as a unit, but Iki's done well to deal with some of these bigger targets.
You see how Reaper can be very effective when the tanks jump onto your team. The Reaper, almost the mobility kind of goes out of the question, right? We worry about him. Can he be extremely mobile in like a dive comp way? But I mean, when you just play him a little bit further back, let those tanks dive into you, and you just put so much damage that now they're forced to disengage. Now you can kind of push forward.
We're going to creep from 2easy here as well. So someone that can deal both very well with Tracer and Reaper. Ideally not both at the same time. For 2easy, he doesn't really want that, but you see how much time the Netherlands have had to set up because they fought that first fight so aggressively. They can respawn in, they can come back to the rest of their team. What7 was way too deep there. We had no support. Visility wasn't, no, Sensonics wasn't sure if he wanted to join him now, and this has given the Netherlands a chance to spring forward.
Yeah, and because he's so far forward, the EMP comes out, everybody, in the back by the payload is just an easy target for Visility with the Dragon Blade. So Netherlands gets a stop here. Now Austria, all they have is the sound barrier going to this next fight.
I'm really not sure what was behind the What7 jump in there. Sensonics saw him, he was on the bridge, but he seemed like he was defense matrixing something else. And that was the one Winston versus the world, and if you ask Johnny, that doesn't really work out too well.
Well, one thing you could actually kind of see with maybe this Austrian team is Watt7. He's the player with the only professional experience. At that top level, the game is going so fast that they're able to make these decisions maybe a little bit faster than the rest of his teammates. He pops the Primal Rage, tries to push on forward. It'll be too easy. Taking out Icky there with a nice headshot as Watt7 just trying to cause damage, trying to keep his team in it. Crusade takes out its 0, and here comes another EMP here from Dante as Austria has fallen.
Yeah, this is concerning stuff for the Austrian side, and this is also reminiscent of what happened going up against North Korea as well. That payload really didn't move very far at all. Sorry, I'm breaking everything here in the caster room. I'm getting too excited. I'm all about moving the hands. But Korea held Austria to this hairpin corner as well. And it was such a short match here. Austria need to get more bang for their buck here. Since Sonics obviously is more of a Zarya aficionado, this diva must be crisp. He's got to work together with Watt7. They don't have any dive though. That's the thing. So Watt7 needs to play more of a peel role here.
Nitiki putting a lot of shots into Johnny. He does have the Primal Rage, so gonna stay alive. See, maybe use the Death Blossom. We'll see if he can track down a few of the members from the Netherlands all grouped up. You see there, force them back into a corner. It's a smart double team there from Jonah and Dante, as players from Austria have fallen yet again. Facility with another Dragon Blade here.
The first thing you do when you see a Sombra get kills, you need to check that ultimate percentage, and Dante has already filled his up yet again. We saw how devastating the EMP was. So this will be 2 EMPs for Dante over 3 fights. That's about as good as it gets for Sombra right now. I think Custer's managed to get, one every fight for a short term, but this is going to be so hard for Austria. 24 seconds remaining now. They're going to play up against this EMP. They've got to dig real deep, Matt.
It's going to be an EMP and a Transcendence here for the Netherlands in this fight. And you also have 2 easy. Pay attention to that Deadeye coming up very soon.
Icky goes in now. He's got the Death Blossom ready to go, but he needs to get past that Diva defense matrix. He's forced to back away. The Deadeye's in there. What's too easy? Going to find? He found Icky, the perfect target. The man who had the ability to break down the Netherlands is now off the map. Beautiful EMP to follow up, and everything is going right for the men in orange. Sensonic's getting desuited, the last man up on that point, and that is going to do it. That will be all. Thank you very much. And for Austria, das war nicht genug. That means that was not enough.
Yeah, I was looking at you, Clueless. I had no idea what that meant.
Yep.
It's a very strong hold there from the Netherlands. Big Deadeye there from Too Easy. We talk maybe it's like a zoning tool, but right there the Death Blossom comes in, able to take out Icky right away. After that, the EMP comes through, and then Netherlands gets aggressive, takes the fight to Austria. They win it. Now we'll see what Austria will do on defense.
Again, it was very concerning for Austria to have to play the defense in the last time they were on Route 66. The payload, to be fair, had gotten further against the Netherlands than against the Koreans, and perhaps that's not surprising. Unfortunately, it doesn't really improve the situation too much because the payload needs to get out the front of big girls, right? This means that if Austria want more than one fight to defend this, they need to jump into the spawn of the Netherlands and try and win there. If they get wiped there, they can get back here because the payload takes a little while to round that hairpin turn. But it's risky, right? If Austria want to play the safer game and fight from big Earls, they may only have the one opportunity to defend this.
Well, we've seen teams, all the teams that we've seen pull off this great hold on Route 66 at the beginning on defense have had a Sombra in it, right? They've hacked that, Mega at the bottom, the Mega under Big Earls, and you're able to just farm a lot of EMPs, stop the enemy team from their tracks. But it's a hero that Austria is not really used to playing, so they're going to have to go with the 76. And the Tracer, it's going to be even harder to pull this hold off.
I am loving this.
Again, Austria no stranger to the high pressure situation, and Uber Bingo's maybe just trying to work a little bit of that off. Again, there are a lot of notable players that use this trick very effectively to sort of stall points out. Obviously, Uber Bingo can't do that here. This is purely practice. Players like Dak as well from Team Spain was one of the first, people say DSP Stanky, I say Dak. He also believes it was him. The first to really make use of Lucio being in weird spots. But the problem is, Uber Bingo needs to be with his team. He needs to be literally on top of them.
Too Easy may be able to find something with Widow at the beginning of this fight. Would not be shocked if he gets a pick and then goes back, switches to Tracer right away, then just gets right back into the action. Trying to put this game away as fast as possible. Trying to get Netherlands another 4-0. And Austria, for me, Mitch, is playing so far back. They need to get aggressive here on the point.
Yeah, I mean, they will have a chance to come forward. They've noticed Too Easy on it. This guy's trying to go full scope all day long. I don't know if it's going to work out from there, but Too Easy's still standing for whatever reason. Watt7's fallen down already, so Austria playing at a man disadvantage. This could be curtains.
And look at the threat that Facility has. You know, he's just standing up top on top of Big Earls, just forcing the supports back here for Austria. They don't want to get closer to the card. It is Kabaji, though. He's able to pick up 2 kills, and Sodic's there trying to guard him with that defense matrix, trying to keep this fight going for Austria.
Credit to Crusade there. He's stuck right next to Facility, kept him alive with that defense matrix, and eventually at the cost of his own life, he's forced to now throw himself off the edge. So, first hurdle has been overcome by Austria. They've got ultimates that are coming up soon that will be a factor in this fight. The Transcendence and the Tac Visor and the Pulse Bomb specifically. Too easy switched off the Widowmaker now to the Tracer, so it's back to the drawing board for the Dutch.
And we'll see. Maybe the Netherlands can force that Transcendence out when it comes and then use the Dragon Blade. But the Dragon Blade comes in and they're able to get Icky before he actually gets the Tac Fire, so that's a huge kill. If that's all you get for the Dragon Blade, you're totally okay with that going into this fight.
Mate, if you just forced an ultimate for the Dragon Blade, you're probably happy enough as it is. But it was traded out regardless, so both teams lost the DPS in that ensuing fight. Jonas looking pretty healthy, drops down to What 7. He's got a Discord or one. I mean, Dante has a Transcendence ready to go. He pops that. It's going to be very, very hard to try and pull the Netherlands off this point. What 7 is felled there by a boot. It was a self-destruct, came over the top board, was taken down by it. That forced Dante away, actually, and it's going to cause him to be one-on-one against Kabaji in the background. He's going to fall to that. Yona has himself the Primal Rage, and slowly the needle tips in favor of the Netherlands.
It's going to be very difficult for Austria. They're spawning so far away. It's Zero and Kabaji trying to make it back towards the point. It will not happen. There'll be Netherlands taking game number 4, taking all 4 maps in this series.
This group it's got very interesting, perhaps for a different set of reasons that groups were interesting in Sydney, but nonetheless, we now have 2 teams, the Netherlands and South Korea, currently sitting very comfortable here at 8-0. As we see cross-group play, that's also going to be a factor. Also, the playoffs late tomorrow are going to be very interesting. Matt, it's been quite the match, my friend, a 4-0 for the Netherlands, but now we're going to head over to the desk here as they want to break this one down in just a moment. Thanks for joining us so far.
All right, and that will do it. The Netherlands are going to come out with a 4-0 victory over the Austrians, and there were some positives and negatives on both sides here, but you know, I'm very impressed overall. Let's start with the Dutch squad here with how they performed, Jamerson.
Oh yeah, definitely. I liked how we saw the Sombra Flex coming on out from Dante. You know, we did pile on him just a little bit yesterday from his Sombra play, but it was cleaned up today. But I was more impressed by Morta actually picking up the Zenyatta afterwards. We saw here on Route 66, he started off on the defense, just getting rid of Kabaji initially, and that's the thing you have to worry about out of any Zen player, just the opportunity to get that one pick and shut down an offense.
Yeah, and well, let's first talk about Horizon though, because on Horizon we had expected to go to this map. Zoe claims she was the only one who said that we were going here definitively, whereas you
bandwagoned onto my opinion. That's what happened. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah. Are you sure about that? Okay.
Yeah, they can watch it. I'm confident.
Yeah. So that being said, I'm confident. All right, so let's talk about the Austrians' pick here, because it certainly at moments it looked like it was working for them.
Yeah, let's just say everything I predicted did in fact happen. We went on to Horizon. Austria did in fact play with Widow. Icky switched to Soldier every now and then. However, he did start off on that Widow, and he stayed on her for a little too long. Up until the second point, he was still on the Widow and didn't really create the space Austria needed to get into the point, and then they just kind of missed their window. Also, some of their ults were used fairly carelessly, I would say, and Netherlands was just so good at target calling, and they always knew at any point of time where the Austrian team members are to be found and picked them off one by one. I was super impressed with Jona also. Like, I really think like he stepped his Winston game up from yesterday to today. So
yeah,
tough luck for Austria.
Yeah, indeed it is. One thing I want to mention, reinforce, as a Reinhardt player there, and you are Watt 7 in the corner, and you get knocked down with that pulse bomb.
Yeah, that was really rough.
That was rough for the Ana.
Yes, it was really rough. I think that the Rein Zarya might work on that point. I mean, it's very tight, but given that Dante played the Sombra, I mean, Dante just got all the space in the world to do whatever he wanted on that Sombra, and I think that eventually tipped in favor of the Netherlands.
I was shocked though that Dante didn't, like, there was this one moment where he hacked the Rein, popped the EMP, and Netherlands still didn't win the fight. And I give that credit to Austria for being able to like turtle up and defend themselves adequately. That was very well done on their end there. But in the end, that would be the Netherlands taking that one. Now let's go ahead and shift focus to Route 66 here. This game substantially quicker, and Jameson, you know, Netherlands exploited the weakness of Austria so well on this particular map.
I mean, we did see that swap off coming out from Icky. He went onto the Reaper there on the offensive end just because Yona, like Zoe had mentioned, was just such a major issue that they needed more fighters essentially in the front line there. It just did not work out for them. Yona was doing a great job of playing around his barriers, making sure he was able to kite away from the Reaper, not take too much damage. And of course, when you have that dive partner with you in Visility and Visility be popping off, that duo just works out so well.
Yeah, I do think the Reaper could have worked, but not alone versus a Diva. I mean, that's the struggle. Struggle is real. Struggle is real versus a Diva's Reaper. So even they could have brought out a Mei. I mean, you could have brought Mei Reaper even if you wanted to. If you wanted to play around Icky on that Reaper. But I don't think it's the most optimal way of playing the game. Yeah.
Also,
if they wanted to suit Icky on the Reaper.
They did focus down Icky like constantly. Every time I looked up, Icky was dead.
Yeah, well,
literally always.
Because you can get a hack onto the Diva and you just all the protection for the Reaper is gone. So
I mean, eventually Kabachi even switched to the McCree, but yeah, to no avail. Really, they didn't get any space to work with, and at one point also, it felt like more desperation switches than anything else. They just desperately tried to find an opening and like try out different things, but Netherlands just played together really, really well. So
it was really impressive to see how the Netherlands exploited the weakness that was there. They didn't have a Genji, and that ultimately hurt them in the end. You want to be able to have that hero that can dive in, and that is going to give Netherlands an 8-0 victory, joining their rivals over in South Korea, who also are at 8-0. These two teams will square off tomorrow, the undefeated. Someone will lose.
Yep, they're on a collision course.
Someone will win.
That's yeah.
It's
factually correct.
Games will be played. and that, my friends, is top tier analytical commentary. Thank you.
I'm
okay.
impressed. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You contributed a lot to my day.
Yes. You know, you're brutal. Okay, I have feelings.
I know.
Yeah.
That's what makes this so much more fun.
It makes it so much more rich. Anyway, guys, well, that is going to do it for this game here. The Netherlands, as I said before, come out on top with 4 points. Now they are 8-0. But it's time for us to look to Group F, as we're going to kick off our first matchup, which will be Canada versus Singapore. Don't go anywhere.
Death has ravaged our world, and the balance that sustained us has been lost. We feared this day would come, when the lands are ruined, and the champions of the light can no longer save those in need. But I will. For I wield the power they cannot. And a new army of the dead shall rise at my command. All who threaten the balance, beware.
Welcome back, everyone, to the 2017 Overwatch World Cup Katowice group stage as we get ready for some Group F action between Canada and Singapore. As go ahead and bring the panel in here now and talk about this upcoming matchup. James, start with you. Singapore had a tough matchup yesterday against the Russians. Do you think they learned from that game?
You saw them learn, actually. In the first half, in the first two maps, they were just trying to match dive for dive, and you can't do that against Russia, so they try to go for some more off-meta picks. We saw on Horizon Lunar Colony, once it got to point B, they tried to play that Pharah to some good effect. It did delay it out. I believe it was like a 6-minute time bank that Russia had when they were going into that. They were able to deplete it 4 more minutes. So I like that they're trying new things.
Yeah, and you have to appreciate that, right? Like and one thing that when we talked to the Singaporean players, they had mentioned to us like, hey, you know, they themselves believe that they are not, even though I think they are perfectly fine, but they believe themselves that they are not the most mechanically skilled players. So then they look at their intelligence, their wit, their smarts, and reinforce as a tank player, that's what you need to do. You got to be smart. You got to be on your feet.
You got to be loyal.
Yeah. What does that have to do with anything?
I don't know.
Loyal.
It sounds good.
It sounded good.
Team play,
Sounded good at the
discipline.
moment.
Oh, be loyal to your teammates. All right. These tanks ain't loyal.
No, but I think the Singaporean, she's really could like slow down Canada here. I think that Russia just outskilled them purely yesterday, and it was pretty fun to watch because I choose Russia. Yeah, it was fun. It wasn't dirty, it was fun.
Boy.
But I think versus Canada might have a bigger chance, but because I think the Canada side is a bit more unorganized, and I think they will have a bit more trouble adapting if they can't break through the defenses or different kind of comps that Singapore brings to the table. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think this will be a much more tight matchup compared to yesterday.
You mentioned something about Canada, and I'm going to get to that in a little bit because I want to hear your rebuttal. But I was informed that we actually had an opportunity to catch up with the squad over on Singapore, get their thoughts and all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and check that out.
For this group stage itself, I'm really looking forward to the players in Team Turkey. Since we have no idea or like little to no information about what Team Turkey has or who Team Turkey is, like who's the best player in Team Turkey. So I don't really know who's the best, like the underdog or like the unknown player, but I'm really looking forward to see how Team Turkey plays as well.
So in terms of helping the team get ready for the group stages, we did arrange a lot of scrims and a lot of people for them to play against. We did give a lot of back massages, some encouraging, pats on the back, and I think one of us combed one of their hairs a few times when the fringe drops into the view. But yeah, I think as a committee we just tried to make it as smooth as possible for all of the team members.
And there you hear from the Singaporean roster. Fun fact, by the way, Suki and Aphis are the committee members for Singapore, but they are also the casters in Singapore. So big shout out to them. You know, us casters, we got to stick together, right? Got to give each other love, right?
That love.
Yeah. Sure, James.
We're loyal.
I remember that from like the 90s, right?
Yeah. No one did that.
No,
that's never been a thing.
Yeah, it was
Stop
at
it
some
right
point.
there.
It was at some point, you know. I mean, it wasn't like you got the Sammy Sosa, you got the Sammy Sosa, you know.
There it is.
You know, that's what that is.
You
don't know.
I'm too European for that. That's never happened where I come from.
You don't know.
McGuire, no. Okay, that was a great era.
It was debatable, depending on who you ask.
I can't analyze this.
Yeah, you can't. You guys don't know anything about the great American pastime here. Okay? Dear Lord.
We know absolutely.
We lost
you know nothing.
Yeah, Jon Snowy, they call me.
Anyway, all right.
Jesus.
Focus up here, guys.
That's pretty good,
Canada.
actually.
Canada. Let's talk. Oh, Canada. Let's talk about my North American brethren up there in the Great North, because this team here is a fantastic team. They are really, you mentioned it yesterday, they're a star-studded lineup, but could they have some weaknesses?
All right, so if we're looking at the games they had yesterday, yeah, they're star-studded, and they're not the first star-studded team coming into the Overwatch World Cup with a very slow first day. I wouldn't say that the 4 OPLs. No, I'm just saying, all right? Spain, they had a lot of big names, but they did struggle on the very first day to really find the roles which are cut out for them, and we did think that Canada is having that. However, yesterday they still played a little bit sloppy. I felt like there were some drops in communication at one point or another, and the casters even pointed out the potential weakness of their Sombra. Rolf didn't seem comfortable on Sombra whatsoever. But I do want to go back to something you said yesterday, that you feel that the current meta doesn't, you don't need Sombra. The whole Shanghai group stage would completely disagree with that statement because it was just all about Sombra. However, so far what we've seen here, Sombra wasn't the
dominant
pick. I mean, pick. Like, it was more.
Dante showed what's up with the Sombra.
Yeah.
Very true. Okay.
Yesterday, just that one time. However, yeah. So I don't necessarily think that that's going to be like Canada's weakness. I felt like they played a little bit more sloppy, and they are going to be prepared for Singapore. I think XQC even said it yesterday, the day before yesterday. At one day, he said that Singapore is the one team he feels they could really surprise them. So with that statement, I do assume that they did their homework. They did watch Singapore play, and they probably watched some scrim and should be prepared what's coming
now,
their way.
I'm going to address the fire that was tossed on the other side of the stage here,
Right,
about teams not being prepared day one. Do you agree with that statement?
Well, I think you got to warm up a bit. You got to get in the groove. And that's what just happened to Sweden. We needed to learn, slowly, get into the groove of playing versus a crowd. So
yeah, no,
we did it. We were the only team at Sweden that didn't lose a single match.
So what you're really saying still is that I'm right with my statement. That's what I'm hearing here.
He's
paraphrasing.
It's a half
really
right. He is a half right.
Half right.
It's a half right. It's a half right.
It's
half
factual
right.
correct.
It's 51%.
I want to give it the full right.
90.
Okay, well, just like with Singapore, we had a chance to catch up with the Canadians, get their thoughts on their upcoming matches, and let's go ahead and check that out.
Being a player for Team Canada is amazing. I was nominated last year as well, but unfortunately wasn't voted in. But being able to be voted not only as a committee player, but also chosen as a player, it's just an amazing feeling. I don't really think we have a secret weapon. Everybody knows how good each person is on the team. So the thing that I believe is how our team is going to work, if you shut down one person, the other person is going to carry. I don't think you can shut down both Agilities and Sure4 or XQC at the same time. We don't have anything planned yet for if we qualify to BlizzCon. Obviously, it would be nice to have that and just go in with that confidence, but you never want to be too sure.
And there you heard from the man himself, Mangachu. And Mangachu actually playing off-role here. Or in an uncomfortable position, I should say.
Yeah, he's going to be playing the Diva for Team Canada. And going into this, he wasn't, let's just say thrilled about it, but I didn't feel like he did bad yesterday. I felt like game one, he had a bit of a slow start, but he really started to get into that diva mindset, which is a little bit of a different one to what he's used to.
Yeah, the thing is, he is able to bring in some of the experience coming in from his other teammates. Sure4 really reassuring him, hey, if you're going to play this diva, just remember, everything diva does to annoy you, just do that. Just channel.
And
like what they did to you, do it to them. That's really what it is.
Yes. And reinforce, again, you have to rely on the diva to protect you.
Exactly.
As well, right?
And we know that XQC is a very aggressive Winston. the guy just jumps in and makes plays,
Have you
but
had
it doesn't have
conversation
the Mangachu backup, and that's very important to know. So I think you can abuse a bit that XQC doesn't get that full support out of Mangachu. And maybe if you pick off XQC, maybe if you peel away Sure from the Tracer a bit, you can make some resistance.
But it did seem like Mangachu in that video, he was saying how you shut down one of us and the other person would step it up here. There are a lot of weapons on this team. We haven't even really talked about them, but Agilities is phenomenal. This guy could do anything and constantly impressing us.
Yeah, definitely. To be very honest, I wasn't super impressed on the first game they played yesterday. It felt like he needed to warm up a little bit. I think the majority of the Dragon Blades, there wasn't too much gain out of them. But as the day progressed, as the game progressed, I felt like he really stepped up his game. So I'm expecting a lot from him.
And James, how would the Singaporean roster look to shut down a player like Agilities if he is warmed up?
We did see a lot of focus actually onto Agilities yesterday in particular, and so he did look a little bit more uncomfortable. He's starting to really ramp it up with his playstyle. But once again, it's about taking them out of their comfort zone at this point, right? Go for those off-meta picks once again. Maybe just if you go for the dive, it looked like Singapore, they did have a game plan when they were going for dives. They kind of tunnel visioned a little bit too hard. They have to be able to draw that line between, you know, going for the dive and then going too far with the dive, because that's where they found themselves very vulnerable, when they went too far for the dive. So they just need to toe that line a little bit better.
Yeah, and exactly. We saw that, we heard that Singapore is playing a bit more passive. They want to rely more on strategy, and if you play the Genji, it's a bit more execute heavy, so you're forcing yourself to do errors rather than relying on the enemy team making errors. So it's a bit harder to play the Genji compared to the Soldier.
Yeah, well, you know, one would have to say that they have to gel, they have to stick together.
I like
maple syrup.
Whoa.
Oh God.
No.
Yes. Are we accepting this?
Like poutine as well?
Am I getting booed in the arena right now? I don't know. I hope I'm not getting booed.
I need this one to like sink in.
I'm glad we're not in Australia where the whole crowd.
Oh yeah.
They would have just all like facepalm right there and then.
There have been like shoes thrown at the desk.
I own my terrible dad jokes. Okay?
No, they're good. I actually,
one day I will
deep
be
down, I do enjoy them.
Yes, exactly. One day I will be a father, and on that day, my child will be just as embarrassed as all thousands of you are embarrassed of me at this very moment. But that being said, we have our matchup ready to go. So let's go ahead and jump into it. It's Canada facing off against Singapore. And here they come, and I just want to say, the videos are, they have the most hype, like, music, and then you see them just hugging. It's great.
I mean, I enjoy a hype hug.
Yeah,
Like,
hype hugs? There it is, Overwatch, where you get all the hype hugs.
Wait, where do you look for when you go in for a hug? I mean, you taught us how to do high fives yesterday.
Both elbows.
Right.
Both
you gotta say it with your chest.
Yeah.
All right, that's how you gotta do it.
So you're already
look
going
at
in
the
for a chest bump, but hug.
Oh, yeah, it's like a chest. Yeah, so similar to the way that you failed the high five yesterday and grabbed my hand, in this version, you go for the chest, and instead of bumping, you embrace.
Okay.
Exactly.
Good.
There you
I've
go.
practiced that
I feel
today.
like you guys are learning a lot of things here, but there go the
thanks.
Canadians as they make their way and sit down, getting ready for the game here. Looking forward to seeing this squad, play in this one, man. This is a phenomenal team led by the one and only Mangachu, the captain.
Yeah, now, one of the issues you obviously have with a team like that, who are all having commitments to their actual teams, they don't get to practice coming into this as much as they wanted to, whereas Singapore did put in a lot of time into their scrims and in preparing for this very tournament.
Well, I think all North American teams really take this seriously, both USA lineup and Canada lineup. These guys practiced a lot.
Yeah,
so,
but only against each other.
Only against each other,
Yeah.
sure. But USA is good at practice, right?
That's
yeah,
true.
right.
That's true.
Speaking of a team that's very practiced, though, I mean, Singapore, James, put in a lot of work coming into this event, and they're constantly learning and constantly implementing.
Yeah, definitely. After the team was announced, they were making sure that every single day they were practicing together. Once a week, they would get together at a LAN center to get that LAN practice. It is a little bit different here being inside the studio. There is a crowd, and you got the thundersticks booming, and it's much more difficult, but right now, I think they are making their adjustments. It's just difficult when you come into a 3-day event. You only have those 3 days to make the adjustments, but I'm glad they did it mid-match, and so we'll see if they have a game plan up against Canada.
Yeah, and they could look to exploit any weaknesses that Canada may have, and if they were watching yesterday, there were some moments there. But one thing I did talk about Sør-Korea with Reinforced was that Sør-Korea said that, yesterday they were just trying things. They're not really showing their hand here, so to speak.
Yeah, well, it's hard to judge what is trying things and what is sticking for today's games.
Yeah.
I mean, Sør-Korea was playing the McCree. He might bring it out today. He might stick to the Soldier. I would like to see the Soldier. Let's find out.
All right, indeed. Let's find out. It's time to send it over to your commentators for this matchup. It's going to be Monte Cristo and Doa.
That's right. Hey, guys, Doan Monte Cristo here for Singapore versus Canada, and should be an interesting one. I mean, going into today, or yesterday rather, we heard a lot of teams say that Singapore was a team to kind of watch out for in this tournament. I guess their scrim results were looking pretty good, and a lot of the teams here seem kind of impressed by them, but we haven't really seen that come to light thus far.
No, and we did see Russia play a lot of standard dive compositions in this meta against them and do very, very well. So Canada, although they did win 4-0 yesterday, they weren't the tightest of teams. We saw a lot of mistakes in terms of managing their ult economy, and they were allowing multiple overtime pushes that they had the opportunity to shut down. So certainly on an individual level, this Canadian team has been good, but the synergy just hasn't been there. So there are opportunities for Singapore maybe to take a map or two.
Yeah, the other kind of concern that stood out to me yesterday, and it was mentioned on the desk too, was Rolf Sombra didn't look quite as good as some of his other heroes. And you know, he's a great Ana and he's a great Zenyatta, but the Sombra so far seems to, at least in this event anyway, have eluded him.
Yeah, I think that comes down to their teamwork too, because we saw a lot of those EMPs coming through, and like the Zenyatta would kill him somehow. So I'm not exactly sure that's something that you never expect to see in those circumstances.
I mean, as the world's best Zen, I see this all the time in my own games, of course, but I'm just
rarely
not used
at
to
the
seeing
professional
it
level.
in the pro scene. That's right. Yeah, you know, it threw me a bit. Threw me off a bit.
Well, Canada going to be selecting Hollywood here to start things off on. Yeah. Looking pretty standard, of course, with the Ana here instead of the Zenyatta, trying to control the high ground of the cafe. We saw this from them when they played yesterday.
Yep.
So not too surprising, and Singapore will probably be moving over to, well, it looks like that's probably going to be their lineup actually, and we may see the Pharah Mercy here.
Huh, yeah, Neon Tears on the McCree here.
Well, I mean, they are adapting to what they saw from Canada yesterday, maybe assuming that there wasn't going to be a Soldier 76 run by Sure4 or Agilities.
Sure.
So definitely opportunities here to get the long-range pickoff, and the Neon Tears will switch over to the Tracer, but that's the only other adjustment that they are going to be making.
All right, well, here we go. Singapore on the attack as they come out. The crowd getting into it, as I always like to hear. Neon Tears sneaking around the back. I love that ID, by the way.
That's a very cool ID.
Oh, yeah. Sounds like a great 80s band, too. Here comes Jungin-ji. And they're on the point right now. Canada hold up in the cafe. They're going to try to come out now, but it's all about holding that door and then creating some space.
Yeah, they're not going
to high ground as well.
Yeah, Singapore's not going to dive them here, right? This is all about poking and making sure those choke points are filled with rockets. So very deliberate, Joe Meister, the first to fall here. Jungin-ji on the top, and this has been a good push so far.
Yeah, those Mercy damage boosted rockets are really tough to deal with if you're Canada. Canada, though, striking back, grabbing some kills here as they come out of the cafe. And Jungin-ji suddenly finds himself a bit on his own, gets taken out. XQC grabbing a couple of those kills, and looks like despite the rough start losing Joe Meister, Canada's going to hold pretty easily. They do give up one tick, though.
I mean, Singapore didn't have to go that deep, right? Because they had already eliminated the Lucio on the side of Canada, which meant that they were relying on Rolf for the heals. You see how much healing Rolf got done, already has the nano boost.
Yeah.
But there's no reason they had to segment like that and go around the backside of the point. They could have just continued to poke at the point and force Canada to engage onto them. Neon Tears now sneaking around the back.
He doesn't have ult yet, but he's just going to try to take out Rolf that way, at least be a bit disruptive anyway. Building that up anyway. Dragon Blade comes out, Agilities cuts down Cup immediately, dives deep. Singapore responding though, they kind of pulled back. Ooh, Sure4 gets the kill into Zest actually. Yeah, I'm not so sure about that Dragon Blade, but Canada's kind of making it work.
Well, we haven't seen from Agilities a lot of very good Dragon Blades in Canada's games yet, and mostly it seems to be an issue of him not having the same amount of protection that he's used to on Immortals when he dives in with his Winston player Fate. And here, he didn't have any kind of coverage for him. No nano boost either, so.
That's what I was going to say. I'm not sure where the nano boost was on that one, if that was just kind of a miscommunication. It's kind of hard to say. Singapore comes in, sound barriers on both sides. As Canada tries to push back Singapore here, Jungin-ji does have that barrage to use. Looks like he's trying to get set up for it. There's a nano boost down on the bottom, though.
Yeah, on to Sure4, who switched over to the Soldier 76, and gonna try and fall onto that point, keep the percent coming, but they're not going to get it. It is going to go back down to that first tick now. So Canada doing a good job of holding, and Agility's working his way back up to another Dragon Blade, but no ults. And Singapore is going to come back with a res. So this should be the push for them.
Canada's looked a little bit tighter with their defense since that first one where they lost Joe Meister, but like you mentioned, Monty, this is Singapore's moment. This is where they really need to get it done, and Agility's nearly up to that Dragon Blade again.
But he hasn't had that coverage, hasn't had that protection. Mangachu needs to make sure that he's there with the defense matrix to protect this Dragon Blade. Nice sleep dart there on the Neon Tears. And
oh, he couldn't finish him out. That's a bit of a problem. Does zone Neon Tears anyway, but didn't get the kill here. Barrage goes down. Ajin goes ahead and uses the res to bring someone up. Tempo, Agility, there's the Dragon Blade now. He's got the Transcendence to contend with, though. Not quite, actually.
Singapore keeps going in on a lot of these plays. Self-destruct going to clear out the point for now. Junglinji still alive, but so many of the Team Canada players zoning them back off.
Yeah.
And it looks like it is not going to be a successful attack here. Singapore needs to back off and reset. Nano boost now available, but Singapore had some opportunities. They need to play around the Pharah a little bit better here, not overcommit where the Pharah can't provide additional damage.
There's no Zenyatta in the game. I have no idea where I even got that Transcendence from. It's on the brain.
We've seen it a lot this weekend.
Here we go, Singapore. Last-ditch effort defense coming in. XQC's got that Primal Rage, which is going to come in very handy. Popping it now. They've got the sound barrier again. Both sides popping that one. And Singapore just trying to push him back. But Sør-Korea draws first blood with that tag visor and second blood. Canada on a great start to full hold here. There's the self-destruct coming in, just zoning Singapore back a little bit more here. Rage of Tofu knocked out of the mech, and it looks like that will be that. Canada with the full hold here on Hollywood, and really only needing to get a little bit more than that first tick to take the map.
Yeah, that's going to be it. 47% is the number that they have to get to. And seeing Canada close that out pretty easy with the nano boost, attack visor, and the lack of defensive ultimates on the side of Singapore. But man, Singapore had two really good opportunities if they played a little bit further back, a little bit more patiently to force Canada to re-engage them on the point. They tried to push a 6v5 advantage a little bit too far, and that's where you can't get the help from the Pharah and Mercy, so you end up over-committing in some of these small little rooms where you're not going to get that same line of sight from the heroes that are supposed to be further back.
Yep. So Canada with a pretty easy task ahead of them to take Hollywood. We'll see what Singapore can do on the defense. They're going to have to dig deep if they want to stop Canada from getting just slightly over a tick. I believe, 47% was all that Singapore was able to achieve with their attack run.
We may be seeing an Orisa Torbjorn defense here coming through for Singapore.
Maybe.
That can be a very good defense if you can successfully fend off the first attack and get your ult charge up.
If you're going that far, man, just pull out the Symmetra. I think this is one of the few points where Symmetra is still like legit good.
Well, we've seen a lot in the past of the Torbjorn and Symmetra defenses, but this time it will be Orisa.
Okay.
And an attempt right here. It is a very snowbally defense. If it gets broken, if the Torbjorn dies without getting the Molten Core, can be a bit of a disaster. But if you get entrenched and if you can get the Orisa ultimate up as well and stagger that with the Molten Core on successive defensive rounds, you can be very powerful.
Yeah, we've seen the Orisa Torbjorn used from time to time in various pro matches. Even saw it pop up in Korea once in a while, and that right click for Orisa is so nice because you can pull people in front of the Torbjorn turret too. And you always get that shield back really fast. It can work.
Typically, we don't see it on top of the cafe, though. That's usually it's in one of the corners or playing far back on the point. So Mangachu is going to make a change, though, over to the Hanzo. So they are going to be lacking Team Canada a diva in this composition. He's going to see that and switch over.
Yeah, I think you probably want to go with the safer pick here. I mean, you could have tried maybe for a scatter arrow around the side of the shield. Sometimes you get lucky in that situation, but he's just going to swap right back.
Well, he's actually going to move over to the Pharah, so realizing that he's going to be able to spam down these barriers from a long way away, and Rolf will also move now to the Mercy to provide that damage boost. So this is interesting. Sør-Korea will be playing the Zarya as well, so a lot of free charge able to be gained, and you see them just trying to poke down this turret. They need to move that turret.
Oh, Sør-Korea got it, though. Turret's down. Singapore, now they need to move it because it doesn't exist anymore, and that's going to be the ticket for Mangachu to go in with the Pharah. Canada already on the point right now. Jungin-Ji striking back, but Canada looks like they may just be ready to take this one right here, right now. The fight's going pretty well so far, and Agility's getting a ton of picks in the back line.
And the Molten Core is there, but it's just not enough, Noah.
Time to emote.
That's going to be it. But credit to Canada. Those were some very good switches. You could see the communication crystal clear because they made the transition easily on the fly and had the game plan to go with it. So, especially because of the turret placement from Singapore on the high ground, it did leave them vulnerable to the Pharah because the Pharah could shoot from over the wall outside of the point, so it made it very easy and safe.
You can outrange that turret that way.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was surprising to see because not only do you leave yourself vulnerable to Pharah, but even just the standard dive now is actually pretty good at handling that type of thing when you put it on top of that cafe.
Yeah, I just didn't like the placement. It is possible to play that kind of defense on Hollywood, and we have seen teams do it, but I think when you have the turret out in the open like that, you're not doing yourself that many favors. Sometimes we see it in the back corner of the point.
I like to put it in the little corridor next to security. So sort of when you come in, it ends up being behind you. And when you put the Orisa shield in front of it that time, it's really hard to get back to it.
Yeah, over there, and like we've seen placements of it right next to the doors where the limousine leaves the point too.
From when you attack in to the right side in that hallway that leads past the doors. Yeah, that's a good place to put it too. But either way, Canada ahead. Attack Symmetra, please. I don't know. I don't know about that. Wait, I don't know. Symmetra on defense, but attack Symmetra, I question that sign. I'm sorry. I don't know if I can endorse that.
Who knows? We did see a lot of, nano boosted Symmetra at last year's Overwatch World Cup. So
we're not watching Korea right now, Monte Cristo, so we're probably going to have to wait.
Well, who knows what we'll see tomorrow, right?
Yep. That's right. Well, Sure4 played a little bit of the McCree this week already. Getting a lot of picks here. And Canada, if they can 4-0 this match here, certainly putting them in a great position to grab one of those, grab that top spot. And we talked about how important that top spot in Group F is, because if you're in second place, 99% sure you're going to be facing South Korea in the playoffs tomorrow, and you don't want to do that.
Right. And that's the danger here, too. And Singapore can certainly still play the spoiler in this scenario.
Sure.
Because any maps at all may be the difference between the Canada and Russia if they go through as we expect from seeing one day of this competition. But Singapore looking, I like some of their strategies today so far. I think they were very, very close to winning a couple of those team fights on that Hollywood point A. But Canada, their attack went much better than their defense, and I liked the quick switches and thought they did an intelligent job of adjusting their strategy on the fly.
I think Mangachu has been really fun to watch this weekend too. Coming into it, he was telling us how nervous he was, that he was kind of afraid of being on stage and kind of being up front with the lights on him and stuff like that. But I haven't really seen the nerves in his play. He's looked pretty comfortable in the game.
Well, especially in an off role too, where he's not accustomed to playing that diva, but he is accustomed to playing that Pharah. So when they can pull it out, they saw that opportunity, and I think that's where one of the reasons why they really shone in that last attack on Hollywood.
Well, his diva was looking pretty solid yesterday too.
Yeah, better than expected. That's for sure. Better than expected.
Well, here we go on to our control map. Lijiang Tower is the pick from Team Singapore. We're going to start things off on the night market. And here we go. Singapore actually deciding to go with the pharmacy.
Yeah, going to be using that again. And we'll see if they can get more purchase onto the points here than they were able to get in the last map.
Great zoning by XQC there. Good support from his team, too, to just push Singapore around the corner there.
Yeah, Sure4 actually gets Neon Tears. A little bit of help from Rolf, targeted around the corner, and this should be the cleanup right now.
Indeed.
Singapore needs to reset, fall off the map, and there they go.
Jin just backing off.
Yeah, had to. Especially once the Tracer went down, you're not going to be coming back from that fight very easily.
Yep.
And so now, Canada pushing a little bit further forward, trying to perch on this ledge.
Ninja perch. It's a little bit of damage in there. Ninja perch kind of sounds like I'm talking about a ninja fish as well. But talking about a ninja up on something high. Cup goes down early, so Singapore already in a little bit of trouble here. And there goes Neon Tears. So despite that kill on the Sure4, Singapore may need to back off here. They're trying. They've got the point halfway flip, so a little bit of back capping action going on, but Canada back there in time to push people away again.
Yeah, Singapore really separated on that attack, and that's not going to be long for Jen as he cut down XQC. He's going to be bouncing around right now, and it's a great timing there as the Primal Rage runs out, gets the jump reset.
Yep, doing his best Miro impression there. It's fun.
So switch now. So Jen is going to make a transition to a Zenyatta instead, but they're going to keep Jungle G because he is close to the barrage, but they were committing too many resources, I think, around the side right there. So they got caught in some 6-on-4s.
Dude, Agilities, you know, we've questioned his Dragon Blades for good reason, but man, he is wrecking people today.
Well, his Dragon Blades haven't been good, but everything else has been, right?
For sure.
And I think that's, again, mostly just a communication issue with this particular team, and with having a less experienced D.Va and Mangachu and a new teammate on XQC.
Well, you get really used to playing with Kareev and stuff like that on Immortals. Things are a bit different here. Sound barrier for Singapore as they try to survive it. Man, whoa, support strikes back. Cup coming in to save the Zenyatta at the very end here. Meanwhile, Mangachu having to deal with this primal raging Winston a little bit. Singapore trying to flip the point. They're on there. Canada, can they get back in time? Whoa, never mind.
Mangachu just chucked it back through the upper window.
From downtown.
Definitely from downtown. That was a Steph Curry three-point shot right there.
He's on fire for sure right now. All right, there's another self-destruct contained by the Winston shield, I believe, and Singapore nearly flips the point, but Canada has got it. And they're into OT. That is going to be it looks like. Yeah, Canada takes Night Market with some pretty stylish moves toward the end there.
Well, that self-destruct made sure Singapore didn't get that point, because Agilities, again, falls back and tries to go onto the supports, but with the sound barrier that had just been popped, no chance to get it. The Zenyatta, Jen just staying back on top of the Mega Health Pack made it easy for him and Cup to take down the ulting Genji. So another Dragon Blade that doesn't do a whole lot.
Hey, but when you got Mangachu just lobbing self-destructs in there, who cares, you know? Who needs it?
They have to stay on the point at that time, right? It's in overtime, so... but you got to make sure that you can step off for just a few moments, and that was another very close to one fight for Singapore.
Yeah. Well, you gotta say maybe you don't expect the exploding D.Va to come through the window like that, but gotta be careful.
It was a good shot.
You can self-destruct at any time. Here we go. We're on the control center. The action has begun. Singapore fighting for their lives. They force Sure4 back. Whoa, never mind. You don't want to chase Sure4 when he's got the flash grenade out. That flashbang does work, man.
Yeah, the flashbang really, you have to keep a careful track of that cooldown. Another reset from Singapore.
Yeah.
Mangachu actually
they're back to up already.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Come back and cap the points here. Get the first few % on the board for Team Canada.
So in that first fight, they already pushed Singapore all the way back to spawn. It's a rough start for Singapore.
Agilities. Very close to the Dragon Blade again, now 94.
Yep.
So this will be a quick ultimate for him.
Yeah, well, look at the ult charge for Canada already. They are way ahead of Singapore.
I mean, they won that fight handily.
Yeah. Hello. Dragon Blade time. Agility's coming out, trying to survive here.
Got booped.
Yeah, he's getting roasted. Booped away, too, by Cup. Doesn't get any kills with it, but they do manage to kind of zone Singapore out anyway. Operation Kill Cup has failed.
It's a little bit strange that Agilities is going in seemingly alone most
a little
times.
bit, yeah.
And yes, they do push them back, but now the re-engage coming through, that was a very early sound barrier from Singapore.
Yeah, well, they killed Mangachu too, so they know they've got the upper hand. Well, they did for a moment anyway. Canada keeping everybody up with the trance, yeah, and Agilities, he does not live, but Canada wins the fight anyway, so everything's just fine. XQC with the celebration primal rage at the end there, I suppose. Zest is on the point. Neon Tears is around too, but Canada still with the numbers advantage for the moment.
Yeah, everybody going to be respawning right now. Sure4 rolling back in on this McCree.
It's a Deadeye.
Yes, there is going to be a defense matrix in his face, though. Not going to get anything done at all. He's getting chased right now, but he actually interrupts the dash with the flashbang.
Yep. And look at that, the not going for the health pack right away, knowing he had the healing there, leaving it in case they need it for some other time. There's another kill for the self-destructive Mangachu, taking down Zest. And Junji can't survive too much longer than that. So we're up to nearly 90% for Canada already. This has been about as one-sided as it gets, unfortunately, for Singapore.
Yeah, but you realize when you take a look at Singapore that they have the right idea. It's just the execution is a bit off.
Sure. Well, it's Dragon Blade time. Cup does go down. Gets one. Sleep Dart doesn't connect. And he's going to get both supports with that ultimate. Meanwhile, on the point, Canada already doing pretty well in this fight. They do lose Rolf early on, but again, they've got that numbers advantage, which in the end really makes a pretty big difference.
Yeah, it's just a matter of getting Rage of Tofu down right now, getting that D.Va out, and overtime ticking out. Cup makes it back, but
Cup.
Sure4 dealing the damage.
OT ticking away, and Canada will take a pretty quick 2-0 in both the series and that map. Looking pretty grim for Singapore, isn't it?
It is, but you got to think at one point in time, one of these pushes that should be successful is going to work, because it's mostly been about timing errors for Singapore so far, because the concept is right. Like, they know when to go in, and they know how to go in, but like sometimes the sound barrier was really too early as they approach the point, and they need to make sure they keep better track of the ultimates available to Canada, so they're not instantly countered out by a Transcendence. It's been a bit rough, but I think they've been just really close a couple of times.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it too, Singapore, I don't know, it's just tough because they're doing things like handling Agility's Dragon Blade well. You know, they're falling back. We saw both supports combine, you know, kind of like a support Voltron to take down this ulting Genji, but, you know, beyond that, it's tough. So the core components are there, but the execution just isn't there. Let's throw it to the desk, or actually, let's take a quick break. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, 2 more maps, Singapore versus Canada. Don't go anywhere, guys.
We are hope.
We are honor.
We are courage.
We are justice.
We are compassion. We are determination.
We are harmony. We are Overwatch.
The Overwatch World Cup 2017 is brought to you by Omen by HP, T-Mobile, and Blizzard Entertainment.
Welcome back to the halftime show here, and guys, I mean, I have to say, pretty solid performance here from Canada. I got a big head, just so you guys are aware. But I mean, yeah, we'll just end it there because I have jokes. But anyway, Canada, not bad.
Not bad at all. And
We
I mean,
win.
I've been hammering onto Agilities and his Dragon Blades before the match began, and I'm not really taking it back because his Dragon Blades didn't really do too much. However, it didn't really matter that much because everything else he did was spot on. He really got a lot of pickups with the team. Also, XQC got a lot of great engagements on his Winston, and the supports really played well to like make it happen for him to actually create the space. So I'm overall just very happy with the performance from Canada.
Well, really, I just think the accuracy from Agilities onto Farah Mercy was just super impressive. I mean, Farah Mercy flying around in the air, and he's just hitting shurikens all over the place. So that was really impressive.
Yeah, and Canada, you know, able on Hollywood to get that full hold there. So interesting stuff there, and also Mangachu, you know, opting to, you know, just do him. Right, not really. You know, I mean, he had a pretty strong showing there. I think he had played. You had mentioned the Farah. You know, so that's good for Mangachu to be able to just show that flexibility. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, generally, like the team flexed really quickly there on their attack. They saw, okay, they have a reset, they have a Torbjorn, so they instantly switched Mangachu onto the Farah. Rolf went onto the Mercy. They took the turret out right away and were able to just go in there and get that first tick. Didn't take that much.
And James, when you're in that position, when you have to hold, it makes sense to go with very defensive type heroes here, especially Torbjorn and Orisa. I know Kiki's somewhere very happy that Orisa was used. So I want to get your thoughts on that, because it does seem like, again, this team, they strategize very well. They think about what they want to do, and at the very least, you have to give them credit for that.
Just one of the issues is that they were, between a rock and a hard place at that point. They had only established 47% around there, so they can't play far away. And once Canada was able to get on the point, they secured that tick, and that just, made it that much harder for them. It was just a really great swap-off, great decision-making coming out from Canada. And they saw the threat, they swapped off, and then from there, Torbrissa just doesn't work out for you.
Torbrissa.
He's pointing.
It just doesn't work out for you.
Good phrasing there.
Yeah, but Singapore has really been this sort of cheesy team throughout the tournament, bringing their own strategies and stuff. But if you played ranked the last month or so, I mean, you've played versus Torbrissa yourself, so kind of expected to see a pretty quick switch from the Hanzo on Mangashu over to the Pharah, and they dealt with it pretty easily.
Yeah, it's always good to see some flexibility out of him. Now let's talk about Li Jiang Tower. We started off in the night market here. There was a play in particular, Zoe, that you wanted to highlight.
I don't know if I should praise it now or like hammer on it. It was just like overall so funny to me when Mangachu got that self-destruct. I don't think the casters actually caught on to it. So he wanted to get the self-destruct through the window. However, he didn't quite manage, so the mech was just kind of like bumping off the window and fell down. However, Team Singapore thought it's going to come through the window, so they stepped outside, and that's why they even got caught in like in the first place.
Yeah, debated.
Yeah, debated.
They got
It was calculated. That was really amusing to me.
And it was like pretty funny to see the player cameras as well after the game, because Mangashu, he just realized that like,
He's
I
like,
got
oh.
killed as well. So he was sitting with his hands and like trying to explain to the team, kind of like, I threw the Diva ultimate and I got 2 kills, but I missed the window. So.
And if you talk to Doa and Monty, they're not fans of Diva's mech itself, so they probably were totally unaware, because they do believe that Diva's mech, realistically, in the context of the lore of Overwatch, doesn't make a lot of sense. Like the strongest weapon that the Diva mech has is to blow itself up. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
I think this is taken from the Animal Kingdom, where bees, for example, they can only sting once and then they die, so they need to choose their victim appropriately.
I didn't know that.
And there is a bee skin as well.
Oh,
so I'm just,
MG.
You are all welcome. Okay, I'm not sure if that's actually a bee or a wasp which dies. I think it's the bee which dies, right? It's the bee.
Well,
Let's go with bee.
one of the strongest systems is the zero system on the Diva mech, right? Sorry, that was a call out for Rachel. I got your Gundam Wing reference for you there. I mean, come on, how do you have like 10,000 APM with her defense pages? Because it's her individually shooting every projectile.
Yeah.
That's how it works somehow.
Yeah, and it makes sense because she.
Stop questioning her mech, please.
I tell you, even with that
Do I have
amazing.
to make more things up now for you?
Even with that amazing
Protect her?
revelation, Monty and Doa still are not fans of.
I'll
the
come
Diva
up with
mech.
more stuff. Give me an hour.
Give you an
I
hour.
want to do this.
Hit up your homie Jeff. Be like, hey yo,
No,
Jeff.
I can make this up myself.
Make it up
I don't
as
need
we
any
go.
help with that.
Well, I'm interested to hear the thoughts of Monte Cristo and Doa as we get ready for our next matchup here. Let's see if Singapore can get a win, or will Canada continue with their reign of dominance. Send it over to you boys.
Hello, Doa and Monte Cristo back once again for another couple maps between Canada and Singapore. And I just want to address the Diva's mech thing. I think it's cool. I think her mech is cool. I think it's costing the South Korean government quite a bit of money when she blows it up constantly. But hey, if they can afford that, if that's the way they've decided to fight in Overwatch, to fight big like mechs, is to just keep blowing theirs up over and over again and sending down new ones from space. The world just must be covered by orbiting Diva mechs. You realize that, right? Because theoretically it gets called down from orbit. So in order to have that many of them ready to go, there's got to be just like a huge halo of South Korean mechs just floating above the rest of the world.
I mean,
blotting out the sun.
And also, as we see Team Canada play on the moon, I guess they figured that that's a more efficient way than bombers or drones or something like that. Which you think if you want to make explosions, you just go that direction, right?
Nah. Look, we can see Diva's mechs from here. There they are. Wow. I actually don't see any. I'm so confused now.
Well, they got to get back in. Looks like
they do. Mangachu, hurry up. All right, there we go. Canada on the defense. Singapore coming out with Widowmaker Reaper actually on the offense. Neon Tears bringing out the Sombra. So, you know, one thing, like the desk mentioned, Singapore certainly has their interesting comps.
Jung-In-Ji waiting right here. Waiting for agilities. Trying to punish him for diving onto a Jen, and now gonna head straight back over onto the point. A clever strategy from Singapore.
Yeah, here we go. Jung-In-Ji coming in right now, a little bit late to the party though. His rest of his team could need him. Mangachu already with a kill on the Rage of Tofu, but Singapore striking back. Still, they need to back up for just a little bit here.
Yeah, but they do have access to these hacked health packs, and they do have the respawn advantage. So coming back in, this is a disciplined attack so far from Singapore.
Yeah.
Take the advantages that you have. Try and get some damage onto the point right now. Maybe a Jen, still trying to find those angles. Let's see if he can get any of these headshots in. Neon Tears has the EMP now.
Yeah, gotta be careful. Has that EMP. Canada, there we go, coming in. There's the EMP. Singapore diving in to try to get some kills afterwards. Jung-In-Ji gets one with the Reaper, but at least they've got Canada forced back. Meanwhile, nobody from Singapore really on the point, but they've definitively won the fight. So they should be able to get some good progress on the control meter here, if not just take it.
And that's the patience and execution that we wanted to see from Singapore earlier.
Not bad.
Actually showing up here. This time they waited for their teammates to come back through. They waited to use the EMP until they pushed them out into the side chamber with the Reaper. And that's where they target the EMP. That's where they get everybody clustered up and pick up the kills. So efficient attack from Singapore. Finally, the execution going their way.
It's a pretty good start. Jung-In-Ji does go down. It's a little bit too far forward maybe, but the rest of Singapore at least moving on to hack the health packs. They've got lots of time to work with here.
I think he needs to switch. I think Jen needs to get off of the Widowmaker right now. This is where you want the Soldier. This is where you want the Pharah, which we've seen Jung-In-Ji playing so far in this map. Coming back on this point.
If he wasn't so close to the Death Blossom, I think he'd probably swap, but even with that ultimate coming up, I think on this point, it's way too open. Yeah, you do switch to the Soldier here.
Unless something goes horribly wrong with Mangachu's defensive matrix, so you're not going to get it. But there's a punish on a Sure-4 who was chasing a Wraith Form Reaper.
I mean, the idea is that the EMP enables the Death Blossom, but they use the EMP for Neon Tears pretty early before Jung-In-Ji has his ult ready to go. So not sure what the plan is there. They're coming in anyway. There's the Death Blossom, takes out Mangachu after the Diva Suit's out. But beyond that, Canada in a pretty good position to strike back here, and it looks like they will be able to defend. So now we're going to see Jung-In-Ji probably change off that Reaper.
Or we
not, really?
I mean, they really want to keep using this Widowmaker and try and force the members of Canada to focus on the Reaper on the point. Maybe they stay onto it. They did get a tick. They got it up to 44.4%, but
the tough part though is that with this Reaper, the range is going to be so far that it's going to take you a really long time to build up that ultimate. And if you do want to do like the EMP into Death Blossom combo, it's going to take a while to get there. I suppose you can just EMP into just Reaper running in and shooting people, but it's interesting. We don't see that. We don't see this a whole lot on point B.
No, we don't. And they're not also finding those angles to the Widowmaker. Widow does have to get very close, and that's the danger, is that you get cut down by a Dragon Blade while you're inside this little room. And it doesn't do a whole lot of work, but it gets one, and it is going to repel Singapore, even after that EMP, which was very late indeed from Neon Tears.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they really want to accomplish with that EMP. I guess they do pop the Diva Mech out. Singapore, though, sound barrier both used by Canada and Singapore. Canada, though, they've got the respawns, and Singapore just isn't winning the fight hard enough to get a lot of momentum going on the point.
I think you just can't pop your EMP there. Yes, it comes up very quickly, unless you're going to switch off of the Sombra, but we're not seeing that, right?
Yeah.
Once Agility's already as your Widowmaker down, you're in a dicey 6v5 scenario, and it's a little bit too easy for Canada to clean that up and to focus down the targets that are actually on the point right there. And Agility's,
all right,
he's been great with not using Dragon Blade, and that continues here.
It's just been awkward from Singapore, you know, because they've had the components of a good fight, but they're just not using them correctly, you know?
And look how disciplined Canada is this time. Now, we criticized them yesterday for overcommitting to ults, and that time, though, they use basically just Joe Meister. Sure-4 swaps to Sombra right now so that they can start getting health pack control back and push out a little bit further forward, create some more space away from the point. Which I think is good, because that's where Singapore wants to fight with this composition.
Yeah.
You know, they want to fight on the point with Reapers. So the Sombra is able to push them back and not give them the optimal sort of death ball composition that they'd like to have.
Yeah, Singapore, or rather Canada, can just stay spread out too to avoid that danger from the EMP Death Blossom, which is available for Singapore now. They can even pair with the Nano Boost. So this push coming in, might get stuffed already as we got the Nano Blade coming in for Agilities, gets a couple kills already. Self-destruct used by Singapore, but no kills out of that. Meanwhile, Canada cleans up the fight, and ults were used. Singapore dedicated everything they had to that, and they got basically nothing.
Yeah, you have to be happy if Canada's using ult right now. You hadn't seen anything from them in a long time, so baiting them out had to be the gold. Canada, to their credit, finally gets the ult combo nailed down. There's the Nano Boost, there's the Dragon Blade, and finally there's an effective Dragon Blade that the rest of Team Canada is playing around instead of leaving Agilities out to dry.
True enough. Nano Boost available for Singapore, but not
nearly got another Dragon Blade already.
Yeah, nearly has it. Self-destruct for Canada, forcing Singapore back a little bit. Agilities does go down. Neon Tears finding one there, and Mangachu having to back off a bit here. Surefour's got the EMP though, so when they come in, like right about now, he's got that ready to go. Canada, some pretty easy targets after everybody gets hacked.
Mangachu going to clean up Zest as well, so that's going to be the point swept away from Singapore. They've got 46.6% fast initial attack, but they haven't made an excessive amount of progress here, and only 1:40 left to do it.
Yep.
So the switches come through, though. You know, I'm glad to see that we have Neon Tears over on the Genji and Jungleon on the Tracer now. Part of me still wishes we would see the Pharah on attack here, but...
Well, Cup's getting pretty close to his sound barrier, so they're going to have a little bit more to work with there. But Canada, pretty much all the ults in the world they need, and Surefour even for a little bit more safety over on that Soldier 76 now. It's going to be pretty tough to break Canada in the 1 minute that Singapore has remaining. Although now that I said that, I've jinxed them, and Singapore will crush them in the next fight. Sorry, Canada. Apologize. Singapore on the point right now. Here we go, time to break it down. Canada comes in with the sound barrier. XQC taking a nap in the back lines. He's awake now, and here comes the Nano Blade. Sound barrier nearly done for Singapore. Yep, good timing from Canada. And this is looking like the fight that they were looking for. Yep,
there you go. Canada finally gets it together on this map to play around Agilities and the timings that he wants to use. Looks like they took that halftime, talked about some of their shot calling, and agreed that somebody else was going to be calling for those Dragon Blades, and everybody needed to communicate when that all-in was going to come, because it has been much cleaner this time.
Yeah. So Singapore, 20 seconds left for a bit of a desperation push. They should have Dragon Blade. They might even have self-destruct, and they've got the pulse bomb. So a couple small tools to use, but again, Canada still way ahead in the ult department. And unless we see a pretty big mistake from Canada, I think they're going to defend here. We'll see. Surefour zoning a bit with that tac visor to start things off. Singapore just biding their time. That tac visor might have been a little bit early for Surefour.
Where is it? Neon Tears actually dies with the Dragon Blade. Mangachu finds him.
That is so rough for Singapore, and XQC just zoning out the rest of everybody if he's not stopping him flat with that Primal Rage, and self-destruct coming in for Rage of Tofu. No kills out of that one though, and it's just a matter of grinding down the remaining members of Singapore, and it looks like this push is going to stop right here, right now. 59%. Dragon Blade coming out the very end for Neon Tears, but it's a tough one to end with. They took point A pretty quickly, but point B didn't go quite as well.
He never had a good opportunity to use it because he found himself zoned into one of the small rooms approaching the point by Mangachu on the Diva. So unfortunately wasn't able to pull through with the Dragon Blade on that attack that they needed. They did get the percentage up to 59. So the last push was not all in vain. They got themselves a tiny amount more breathing room if they can have a long hold here on Horizon as we switch over to Team Canada as the attacking squad. And it looks like preliminarily, we might see a Mei defense here from Singapore, which they did run yesterday.
Yeah, and we've seen it work. I believe South Korea ran that today with Flower on the Mei, if I remember right, on defense on Lunar Colony.
Yeah, they got pushed through on that particular point.
Sure.
Well,
he ran it. I didn't see how well he did. He just ran it, man.
Well, yeah, and it seems like they may use Mei Reaper. So this would be the ultimate in terms of short-range compositions. But considering that Canada will know about the Mei from watching them play on Lunar Colony yesterday, I think they can assume that might be the pickup. And Mangachu, he really wants to play that Pharah. And he may get his wish this time. And having a Pharah soldier versus what Singapore's composition is bringing is basically going to be long-range death onto the point. And like, eventually somebody's going to go down. So Canada, all they have to do is poke from range, and then when somebody gets low, Agilities just zips in and finishes them off on the Tracer.
Yeah.
This is going to be very tough if Canada maintains this particular team composition.
As long as they approach cautiously, it should be a shooting gallery.
Yeah, really should be.
Yeah. Well, here we go. Canada coming out on the offense. Rolf boosting the damage from Mangachu's rockets on that Pharah. And
Reaper is actually up
got.
top right now, standing on one of the tires.
Okay.
So just some poking from the side right now. They have to be careful. There is going to be a player behind Mangachu. No, he's just going to poke from up top, play with the sight lines from the high ground. And oh, this is... all Canada has to do is be patient. There will be an opportunity to get a kill.
Suddenly things like Maywall aren't as good too, because you've got the Pharah on top just kind of flying over it. Oh, and Cup separated from the rest of his team, gets back just in time. It was a dangerous moment. Great angle for Mangachu, gets the kill onto Zest there, and this is what Canada's been waiting for. Again, the patience paying off.
He's already got Barrage too.
Yep.
And here it comes.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's rough, man. All right, Maywall comes in, doesn't block anything though. Sure forward with the cleanup. And it looks like it's going to be a pretty quick point A take for Canada.
Well, that was just a good read from Canada on their opponents from watching their defenses yesterday. And they had already engineered a great composition for countering it. And you could see that Agilities and Mangachu working well together. Basically, Agilities was mirroring the angles from Mangachu and making sure that he was going to be able to get the finishing blows on any of those eliminations. So Sherfor going to be with Attack Visor momentarily, and Jungajin now on the Pharah.
Yeah, I got to watch out on that Pharah too. Attack Visor is not something you want to run into, so if he's well protected, Sherfor already has a great answer to that Pharah on the side of Singapore, and he may not even need it. Ooh, nice shots, good tracking from Sherfor. Easy kill onto that Pharah, and now Canada, we'll see how aggressive they want to go.
On the hill station there, trying to get away
Serpentine
from the Winston. Serpentine in the same place.
That's right. All right, nano boosted Winston not doing a whole lot. Pops that primal rage at the end to stay alive, but Canada already with the big edge in this fight, and they're keeping everybody alive. Tempo res onto Agilities to completely disprove what I just said, but Canada's still looking good on this attack here.
Yeah,
and they are getting a lot of percent already.
Down. And it's going to be a boot back on Rage of Tofu, and just knocking him back off the point is enough for Canada.
What can you do?
Stare at the ground and run around in circles to prevent getting hit as old.
Duck and weave. He's pretty spry for an old man, isn't he? Feeling spry. All right, well, Canada with the 3-0 in this series so far, one more map. See if Canada can get that 4-0 or if Singapore will claim a map here in this series. Both of our groups kind of looking a little bit similar score-wise, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Look, I'm happy that we got to see Singapore have a well-executed attack on A because, again, the ideas have been good, the execution hasn't been there, but they brought the same style of composition to Horizon that they brought yesterday, and that proved to be their undoing as Canada sort of blind-picked a pretty hard counter composition into it. They were ready, they were researched, and they were prepared.
Yeah, I mean, that last round is just one of those things where it's like, you look at it and you're like, okay, I'm pretty sure I know how this one's going to go, just looking at the heroes.
It's just so tough, because if you lose point A that hard, and then you can't run Reaper May on the second point versus it, because it's going to be even worse for you on point 2 than it was on, or point B as it was on point A, because there's more open room, right?
Yeah.
So you definitely can't use the Reaper May again. And that means that you have to switch off, but you're already so far behind in ult economy from switching off onto those heroes that there's not a great chance for you to make the comeback, right?
Right. All right. Well, looking to see what the choice is. Looks like it's going to be Route 66 for Singapore. There's Rolf, the king in the north.
Randall Stark.
That's right, Randall Stark.
Still one of my favorite pro player names.
That's right, one of the lesser-known Starks. He's not on the show, but he's alive, so he's got that going for him.
That's probably why. That's probably why, Doa.
Yeah, that definitely helps out. Yeah. Although every time he dies, it's really hard to resist saying the Lannisters send their regards. It's tough.
That's what you want to yell every single time?
It's tough, yeah. I do.
Well, that'd be bad if the Lannisters got 2 Starks down, you know?
I know. Well, they got a lot more than that. Went pretty well. So here we go. I believe we're about to jump into Route 66. And we'll see if Canada can complete the 4-0. I've got a feeling it's possible.
I think it's, you know, we might see it here, but
I want to see Rolf play Sombra again.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. But this is a map that Rolf struggled on.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's the idea. I want to see Rolf play Sombra defense on this map because I want to see him improve. But it looks like we might see him on the Mercy, though. I don't know. We'll see if there's some changes here.
I think there's going to be some jumping off the map changes, agilities with the Orisa. Maybe a hint of what's to come. XQC on the Junkrat. I know, buddy. You want to do your best Flower impersonation right now, but you need every map. So, okay. So Singapore.
There we go. Well, they might stick with the Mercy though. On agilities, yeah, sure. He's going to be Pistol Mercy. Yeah.
Pistol Mercy.
Pistol Mercy. Yep.
The deadliest hero in Overwatch.
That's right. I remember early beta when everyone was super bad and you could kill people with Mercy's pistol. That was a fun time. Res also was like a 40-yard range in early beta, so you just res people from spawn.
Good times.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of things I'm glad they changed. And there we go. This is jumping off the edge together. A grim reality there.
Wow.
That's the shout out. That's the shout out to Agility's teammate there.
Joe Meister. Just waiting to speed all of his teammates back.
Okay, so we'll be Rolf on the Sombra. And Neon Tears also looking at a Sombra, but that's probably going to have to change as once you see that Sombra on defense, you're just basically never going to be able to hack either of the mega packs, and so you have to make a pretty quick transition. He's going to run over there and see if he can get it, but Mangachu is already there defending the pack.
Yeah, gets hacked, but he'll just hop away with that health pack ready. Whoa, Singapore going aggressive.
Wow.
You can see goes down early. They were not expecting Singapore to be quite that aggro.
Okay, so they are they are playing with Jungkook on the Reaper. So we've seen Reapers try and fight over that pack in the corridor on the left-hand side and be effective against these Sombra defenses, but they just rushed in and they took Canada completely by surprise.
Yeah, it really looks like Canada wasn't ready for Singapore to just dive in like that. The payload's moving.
Jungkook has to get back. He needs a tank in there if he's actually going to play on top of that health pack. And Rolf goes down as Neon Tears kills him after Rolf EMPs.
Wow. All right. Well, the Sombra not working out for Canada yet again. And Jungkook just untouchable here on this Reaper. Yeah, he got rid of the mech. That's enough. Joe Moister goes down. Sure, got the stick on that.
Moister. Joe Moister. he makes you very damp, doesn't he, Tom? I know how much you like good support players.
Not the Sombra, though. Not the Sombra. Only Zenyatta.
Oh, come on. You love some Lucio action.
I like a well-oiled machine, Monte Cristo. We're both fired at this point. We can, yeah. Well, Singapore keeps the payload moving.
Yeah, that's this has been good for Singapore so far. Another well-executed plan. They've been tracking the enemy Sombra. Sound barrier is going to come through. Neon Tears going to have to get out, and doesn't actually have the place to translocate.
It's one way to get out, I suppose. Sound barrier for Canada. Here comes the Transcendent. Singapore is going to keep trying to push it, despite the fact that they lost their Sombra. Going to go in. There's the EMP for Rolf. And immediately, Jungkook gets the first kill. Why is it the EMPs for Canada always results in kills for the other team?
Yeah, it's a very odd scenario when they're using this Sombra. And they're not even having to reset, though. That's the crazy thing, is they lost that fight. They didn't use ults, and Singapore is going to come back in with a lot of ults right now. They just used their EMP.
Wow. All right, well, Canada desperately trying to keep Singapore from getting point A, but it's not going too great.
Zez didn't pop his Primal Rage.
Yeah, wow, I was kind of expecting that there. Rage of Tofu coming in, and Canada, wow, have they actually stabilized?
Oh, man, that was a big mistake. If he had had that Primal Rage, he would have been able to push people off the cart and get it the just tiny amount of the way to the next point, or at least buy time for his teammates to come back in.
Yeah.
Now, it's not the end of the world because they will have some more ultimates, although Death Blossom not that useful right now. Maybe if he can get a very good angle, Jungkook can find some kills.
Yeah, we'll see. Got to get back to the payload before he can do that. And Sure4 is going to make it as hard as possible. There's the Dragon Blade coming in for agility. Jungkook has the sound barrier to keep him up. And that Genji's vulnerable, taken down. Meanwhile, Rolf does take out Neon Tears. So kills coming in.
Now they can use the Death Blossom.
Yep. Well, Can they? I mean, they've lost a few people. I don't know if you use it now.
Well,
Give
they
the
did
app to back up and reset.
demech the Diva, but it looks like Mangachu not going to be able to remech.
Well, it's just like Jurassic Park, Monte Cristo. Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Yep.
We don't want to repeat those mistakes from Jurassic Park.
That's right.
Hubris.
I try to hold myself back today. The world's not ready.
For Doha's dinosaur clones.
No. I would totally be a great owner of a dinosaur park, though. You know it. Spared no expense. Now Singapore with one last effort to try to push the payload here. They've got some ults to work with, but they've only got 10 seconds. They need to get in there. Primal Rage for XQC when he wants to use it. Pulse Bomb not getting a whole lot, but Singapore grinding their way forward here. No Diva, though. Jungin G may have...
Oh,
there we go.
That
Two
might
kills.
be the clutch pulse bomb that turns this around and causes Canada to hold.
Certainly might be. The payload moved back quite far, actually, during all of that. And Canada slowly finishing off the members of Singapore. Overtime ticking away, and what a tragic moment for Singapore. Man, they were so close to taking that point.
I think they were like half a meter.
They were super close, dude.
From taking that point. And again, there's little things going wrong. And Canada, in spite of looking sort of shockingly weak on Route 66 over the last 2 days, manages to pull out a hold before point A.
Yeah.
But still,
Man, that hurts.
like Canada didn't give up a point, but if you're a Team Canada fan, I would still be quite worried by what I'm seeing compared to the crisp dive play that we've seen from Russia, because these EMPs and whatever's going on with their Sombra communication is looking pretty shaky.
That's right. You're just trying to put more pressure on the Canada team, huh? Telling the fans what to think. If you're a Team Canada fan, you should be ashamed of the way they're winning these games.
Well, it's just surprising because we know the caliber individually of all these players, but at least we're seeing the better ults and coordination and agility. So that's that's a positive sign.
And Rolf, pulled it together a little bit with the Sombra towards the end. A little bit.
Yeah, I was just surprised at how effective Singapore's rush into that tunnel was.
Yeah.
So definitely some aggressive planning from Singapore, and now Neon Tears coming back on the Sombra yet again, and they may be running that Reaper. Is Canada going to run Pharah? Because that would be another opportunity for them to deal some pretty serious damage.
Now Mangachu might just run that Hanzo. Who knows?
Who knows?
We've seen a lot of Hanzo on attack on this map, actually.
He did at least take a look at running the Hanzo on Hollywood when we started off this 4-game set.
True. I doubt he will, but a man can dream. The dream of Hanzo.
All right, so this held back is going to be the focus of this match right here. This is where Singapore is going to play. They want to just make sure they can dominate this with the Reaper and play a very aggressive style of defense because they know they can't give up a single point.
Here we go, Canada moving out. Singapore has to make something happen fast, and look at this. Mangachu, indeed, running the Hanzo for the moment. Anyway.
They don't know the Reapers are there.
He's got the scatter arrow ready to go. Doesn't find any kills with it, though. Winston Shield came down just in time, I believe. He's getting some shots in there, though. It's a dangerous hallway to be in right now.
It is a dangerous hallway, but they're going to have to bypass it somehow or they're going to get cut out. That was an effective use of the scatter arrow to take out the mech, but it's not really getting them a lot of ground. You can see the payload moving right now, but they're going to have to stop when they get over unless that happens.
That health pack is not just hacked, it's trapped by scatter arrows as well.
Rolf just kills both DPSs, no problem.
Yeah, man, why
Gets
not?
the Tracer as well. So
a well-oiled machine.
The picks work out, and Canada uses that poke through the tunnel to make the difference. And now they've got 3 minutes, and the payload just rolls unhindered past the point where Singapore really wanted to defend.
One last effort for Singapore with the defense. There comes the Dragon Strike, though, and that is going to be rough, man. Rage of Tofu going down already, and Mangachu storming forward with the Hanzo.
Mangachu just punched everybody to death. Melee on top of the card, and that's just going to be it.
It's Legolas, man. Legolas style. You hit him. You get him with the melee attack.
Melee arrows?
That's right. Wow. Well, Canada takes the 4-0 for the series. Singapore, unfortunately, going to be 0-8 right now, but we'll see what happens as we move forward.
Canada reacted well to that scenario.
Sure.
And once they saw the Reaper, they backed off and just started going for the picks. And particularly the most important part was when that scatter arrow desuited the D.Va. Because when that D.Va's gone, a lot of your protection and ability to brawl in that tiny corridor goes away. You don't have the defensive matrix to stop more scatter arrows from just one-shotting you in the hallway. So it was a little bit rough there, just because of the way that the kills went and the first pickoff went onto the mech.
All right. Man, I just got to say real quick, I love watching Rolf play Zenyatta.
It's pretty great, isn't it?
That's just about it. Yep, that's right. And so, I believe we've actually got XQC on the side here ready to chat with Malik about that series. And we'll check that out. At some point.
I don't see Malik, though. I think you were just lying to us. Look at him. XQC standing right there.
All right, yeah, never mind. He's not in two places at once. It's hard to hear sometimes. We'll get there eventually. Malik spoiler.
We'll get there together, though. You just spoiled the interview on the stream, but I know everybody really wanted to be surprised by that.
Send their regards.
Gotta shake some hands first and show the sportsmanship, as it were.
Well, if you're known for anything, Monte Cristo, it's kindness and sportsmanship.
Hey, my sportsmanship has never been in question.
Your sportsmanship is good. That's true. Kindness.
My kindness is definitely in question.
That is true, I suppose. Pretty solid 4-0 for Canada. And I believe now, guess what, guys? This may come as a shock, but we have an interview with Malik down on the stage.
XQC, congratulations on that clean 4-0. That puts you at a clean 8-0 now. Now, tell me, how are you feeling now that you got that perfect record?
4 more games to go. That's all we got to do. I'm super proud of us. I mean, we've been playing pretty clean and super impressed.
All right. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room. That is South Korea. It's pretty important for you guys, I would imagine, to get first place so you don't end up having to face South Korea. Are you feeling pretty confident going up against Russia tomorrow? And what do you think you need to do to get over that hump?
Obviously, they have like star players, Shadowburn and Mistakes. Mistakes going to look for me, so I'll have to be careful about that. I think we'll still do well, and I think we're going to get them.
So now, the next match that Russia has is up against Turkey. You faced Turkey yesterday. What do you think Turkey needs to do to take a map or two off of Russia?
They need to step it up a little bit. They're very good players, but Russia is very strong, and with the new additions that they put, with the new roster, they have to pull off a big, maybe like a miracle.
All right, I'll give you a chance to just give them some feedback so you guys can get that first place spot. All right, man. Well, congratulations on the victory. Thank you so much. And on that note, we're going to go ahead and send it back to the desk. Take it away, boys.
Thank you so much, Malik, for that one. Always good to hear from XQC. What a character that kid is. It's been pretty fun to meet him. He apparently posted a picture on Twitter where he was smushing my head. Yeah, you know how like you do that thing where it's like, oh, I squish your head, you know, like that. I just did it right now. I was so pleased with myself. Yeah, he did that. It was received well. You know, I'm glad. No qualms. Thanks for following up with me here, guys.
I got you.
Yeah, I know you did. Yeah, you did. He's European.
I just let it happen. Like it's
you're just to get deadpan face.
I can't just count.
So Canadian. I just realized it's so Canadian of him. Kids in the Hall. That's a Canadian show.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I used to love that show.
Yeah.
Yes, they have no.
I don't know. So what is going on?
Let's talk movements or something. Like, they don't know that.
Wait, what? What? I don't even. Okay.
I'm very isolated.
I'm
a pro gamer.
Why are you Scandinavian?
Can we talk about Overwatch? I know Overwatch. Let's talk some Overwatch. First, let's talk about Map 3 Horizon. This was Singapore's pick going into this here. You know, not bad. They were just Singapore just struggled to be able to find James. You know, the windows of opportunity that they were looking for, despite some of the errors that Canada was putting forward.
Yeah, you know, you have to realize that Singapore is a mishmash of a lot of different teams, Elvalon, Avalon, and Chaos Theory coming in together. And so when they tried to like flex off onto these different things, when they try to bring out the Sombra, Neon Tears, we see had to swap off. Agen would then pick up Widowmaker or some other DPS so that, you know, they had the Sombra still playing like a support style. And it's just the difficulty of trying to find an identity as a team at that point, especially when
like I had mentioned earlier, you only have these 3 days to try and find it.
I mean, they started out pretty good with the Reaper, the Sombra, and the Widow pick. They got the first point pretty quickly on the attack side of things. But then later on, when Canada plays this passive, just sitting back on the second point, you can't really reach them when you're playing that Reaper. You can't really get those clean engages, and Canada just good re-engages from them overall. So when they force Singapore onto the Genji themselves, I mean, Singapore not really known for their good dives, comparing them to the good teams here in Katowice. So they just struggled.
Yeah, it's very clear that Singapore can't quite wrap their head around the dive completely here, which is, you know, it's disappointing, but at the same time, though, I hope they have learned and they have gained from this experience, because there are a lot of fantastic teams here who excel at the dive composition, you know, with the Winston and the Genji and the Diva and so on and so forth. So now let's talk about Canada, though, Zoe, because they are still, despite whatever small errors, quote unquote, they may have, they're still playing incredibly well and lights out Overwatch.
Yeah, I mean, what really just went to show how experienced those guys are is they're going up against Singapore being the underdog. So a lot of other teams would have maybe overstepped a little bit and not played so passively, being a bit more bold in their moves, in their positioning, in their engagements. However, Canada didn't underestimate Singapore by any chance, not at all. They did play more back, and they didn't actually allow for mistakes to happen or for Singapore to actually being able to exploit any mistakes which they might do. I know the castles have still been picking a little bit on the Sombra plays we've seen. Rolf still didn't look super confident on it, so that's definitely something they need to work on, or at least around it somehow.
Especially with Russia on the horizon.
Exactly, with Russia it's going to be tough, because Russia will exploit every little weakness. That was really funny. Yeah, that was really
It's funny because I don't think the Diva knew that, I don't think that Rage knew that he was trying to do for the emote or for the spray that was on the wall there.
No, but Canada still look good. I mean, they had 2 full holds now. I don't know. Well, they did look very strong. Agility really showed up today, and I really felt like as the day progressed, again, he got better and better, and I hope that tomorrow we see him on his final form.
Yeah, I think Agility really stepped it up on that prize on Lunar Colony when they paired it up with the Ana and the Nano Boost. Yeah. Because when you're using Dragon Blade and you're using it without the Nano Boost, it's very dependent on the Winston, how much space the Winston creates for you as the Genji. But when you're using the Nano Blade, you have a lot more room to work with yourself, and you can decide, when do I want my Nano Blade? And it was pretty obvious that Rolf sat back with the Nano, and Agility just called for the Nano Boost when he wanted to go. And it looked a lot more clean when he pulled out those Nano Boosts.
Their synergy was definitely apparent there. Another thing that I just want to point out here was Mangachu and the diversity, because, you know, diversity is not just a ship that sailed in the Revolution.
No, it's not.
Know about that. But it was very impressive. Great Hanzo play from him as well.
I hoped we never have to say this on this list, but yeah, no, he did in fact get those pickups with the Hanzo.
I mean,
and in general, also I think confirmed. It's confirmed. No, but also the way he played on Farah, and also them seeing when you can play Farah. They just didn't randomly pick it. It was a purposeful Farah pick into something, and that's really what makes a big difference.
Yeah, well, Mangachu's hero pool is a bit weird, okay? Because he's really good at Farah and he's really good at Hanzo, but Hanzo and Farah, I mean, they don't really work together in a role, so it's...
Well, it works here.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, he was really... Well, it's pretty obvious, you know. He's sent here to play Diva, and then he's like, oh, I don't feel that confident on my Diva play, I don't know, you know. So when he sees an opportunity to play that Farah or Hanzo, he's just like, yeah, let's go for it. Let's go. Put me in, go, boys.
No, but I like that the team allows to play around it, you know, they do listen to Mangachu's, maybe communicating with them, hey, maybe, you know, maybe I shouldn't be playing Diva, and they do make the adjustments within the team, and I do like that.
Yeah, we saw that with Spain, right? Just play towards your strengths there. They didn't play that 2-2-2 dive back in Sydney. Instead, they went for a triple DPS, and that caught a lot of people off guard. And with Mangachu on the squad, they can go for a triple DPS themselves.
Yeah, nearly beat Sweden. So I hear you. You know, the Swedish couldn't contend.
Who beat Sweden?
The Spanish.
Who? You blacked that out.
You talking trash dog?
I'm going to keep doing it. All right, guys. Well, we are going to go to a break, but it will be our final matchup of the day. It will be the squad from Turkey, facing off against the Russians. to close us out here. Let's see if Russia can also end with an 8-0 or will Turkey shock us all. Don't go anywhere.
Always remember that power is a double-edged blade. One side light, the other dark. It calls to you when you are most desperate. When victory seems worth any sacrifice. There is a price to be paid for such a gift. And many eagerly accept the bargain. The righteous and the meek may recoil at its cost. But they have no vision. Alone is not to be feared. Fear instead those who wield it.
The Overwatch World Cup 2017 is brought to you by Omen by HP, T-Mobile, and Blizzard Entertainment.
Well, welcome back, everyone, to the 2017 Overwatch World Cup Katowice group stage here as we get ready for our final matchup of the day. It will be Russia facing off against Turkey to close us out here, and Russia is looking for a potential 8-0 in their group, joining their Canadian brethren. But for Turkey, it's a big opportunity for them to upset Russia and potentially disrupt this group. Remember, this group is about the battle for first place because South Korea waits on the other side here, and we just have to say it. We just have to be honest, and that is the nature of the situation.
I respect that.
These are in here,
yeah.
You know. Now, looking at this game here, James, Turkey, you know, they had a tough run against Canada yesterday.